hair stand on end. The soldier subconsciously retreated. The next step, I threw the soldier in my hand a few meters away like trash. I stepped towards him. Many soldiers seemed to see the god of death walking towards him. In fear, he backed away. His legs went soft and he fell to the ground. As I approached, he felt the cold aura around me. He trembled and opened his mouth. "What do you want to do?" The other soldiers beside him didn't dare to breathe loudly. The aura I emitted made them feel cold all over. At this moment, all the soldiers were doubtful. Just someone to give them a lecture. The War Department could have sent anyone. Why did they have to send a being like me? Was this special training for them? Or was it to play them to death? Just as some soldiers were doubting their existence, the tall soldier on the ground had already pissed himself in fear. "Don't come any closer. If you come any closer, ill. I stopped in my tracks. I looked at him and raised an eyebrow. "Are you ordering me?" The tall soldier panted. "No. Absolutely not." I saw his timid appearance. I nodded in satisfaction. Then my unquestionable voice rang out again. "From today, for the next 10 days. What I say, what I do. I don't want anyone to say the word no to me. Understand?" The tall soldier heard this. He nodded without hesitation. "Understood." I glanced at him blandly. I turned my head to look at the others. "And you?" Everyone felt my gaze and came to their senses at the same time. They replied in unison. "Understood." My eyes swept over everyone. Then I looked at Gumunya. "What about you?" Gumunya didn't dare to say a single word of refusal. She quickly opened her mouth. "Listen to you." I nodded. I looked at the thinnest and smallest person among the team members. "You just said 12 sentences at most. Run 120 laps around the training ground. You can rest when you're done running." As soon as I finished speaking, gasps were heard all around. After running 120 laps, they'll probably be crippled after running. I looked at the skinny soldier who was frozen in place. "Is there a problem?" The skinny soldier wanted to say there was a problem, but as soon as he met my gaze, he nodded without thinking. "No problem." After that, I looked at the others. I pointed at them one by one. "You, 110 laps. You, 100 laps." I pointed to the last person. "You, 50 laps." The handsome-looking soldier said innocently, "Instructor, I didn't say anything disrespectful to you just now." He was glad he hadn't run his mouth. But he didn't think I'd have to run too. I said blandly, 60 laps. The handsome soldier was stunned. He spoke without thinking. "No. 70 laps." The handsome soldier didn't dare say another word. The other soldiers saw his tragic plight. They deeply understood the meaning of my words. They all warned themselves in their hearts. From now on, whatever I said, goes. There must be absolutely no opposition. Gumunya looked at the tragic scene of everyone. Luckily, she only complained a few sentences in her head. She didn't say it out loud, but before she could be happy for a few seconds, my gaze fell on her. "You, 200 laps." My words were like a thunderclap from the ninth heaven. It struck her head hard. Gumunya froze on the spot, but with the handsome soldier's precedent, she didn't dare to ask why. She dared even less to bargain. Gumunya had never been so aggrieved in her life. She hoped her boyfriend would come and save her soon. At the same time, a slightly chubby figure stepped into the training ground gate. It was Gumunya's boyfriend, Lin Weichin. Lin Weichin saw me and Gumunya standing face to face. Anger rose in his heart. He cursed, "You turtle, trying to steal my girlfriend. Are you tired of living?" As soon as he finished speaking, all the soldiers looked over. Then, the 9 of them looked stunned. Gumunya saw Lin Weichin. Her heart was filled with wild joy. She didn't think Lin Weichin would arrive so quickly. Thinking she had someone to back her up, she raised her head and puffed out her chest. She looked at me smugly. Her future father-in-law, Lin Weichin's father, within 10 years. He would very likely be promoted to Grand Commander. Thinking that I was about to face a great disaster, Gumunya's thoughts were surging when Lin Weichin brought the Lin family's butler and bodyguards. He quickly walked over. I watched as Lin Weichin quickly approached. My face showed no emotion. Until Lin Weichin was about to reach me, I lightly curled the corners of my lips. "What did you call me?" Lin Weichin raised his chin. He sneered, "Turtle. You want to steal my girlfriend too? What? Is there a problem with me calling you that?" The 9 soldiers heard this. They looked at Lin Weichin with admiration in their eyes. Actually, they wanted to call him that too. It's a pity they didn't dare. They praised him in their hearts. A true hero. Gumunya also looked proud. I heard what Lin Weichin said. I nodded with an unwavering expression. Then I walked towards Lin Weichin. Lin Weichin looked at me. He sneered. "What? Want to apologize to me? Fine. Kneel before me and kowtow 3 times. I won't pursue this, the responsibility for seducing the girlfriend of the son of a 3-star senior commander of the War Department. Otherwise, it'll make it impossible for you to stay in the War Department." The 9 soldiers heard Lin Weichin speak. They all sucked in a cold breath. They didn't expect that this person was the son of a 3-star senior commander of the War Department. Instantly, they all looked at me with pity in their eyes, even if my strength was decent. but because of my age, and the fact that I was sent to give them special training. At most, I was only an intermediate commander, perhaps even just a junior commander. A rank like that, in front of the son of a 3-star senior commander, he had no status at all. Gu Munya glanced at the expressions of the soldiers. She sneered inwardly. Under everyone's expectant gaze, I nodded at Lin Weichen. I uttered the word okay. The soldiers and Gu Munya heard me speak. Their faces showed no surprise. In the end, no one thought I would dare to be so presumptuous in front of the son of a 3-star senior commander. However, the next moment, everyone's eyes widened as if they'd seen a ghost. It was because I suddenly raised my foot and kicked towards Lin Weichen's knee. Lin Weichen screamed miserably. He cried out as his knees went weak. With a thud, he knelt before me. Everyone turned to stone. I said coldly, 3 kowtows. Do it. Lin Weichen raised his head. He looked at me in disbelief. Are you crazy? My father is a 3-star senior commander of the War Department. How dare you do this to me? What Lin Weichen didn't expect was that, after hearing his words, I remained completely calm. You just said 3 kowtows. Will you do it yourself? Or should I help you? As soon as my words fell, a dead silence fell around us. Everyone thought I was crazy. Lin Weichen stared at me blankly. An inexplicable fear arose. The next moment, he snapped back to his senses. He turned his head to look at the butler and bodyguards who were still in a daze. Seeing their dazed appearances, he was instantly enraged. Are you all dead? Get him! All of you! I want this turtle dead! Their eyes turned cold. They rushed towards me at the same time. The next second, only a blur was seen flashing past. Everyone who came fell to the ground. The 9 soldiers were extremely lucky. Because of the aura around me earlier, they hadn't stood up to oppose my decision. Otherwise, the Lin family's bodyguards on the ground now would be their fate. As for Gu Munya, her attitude towards me also changed. My strength was terrifyingly beyond her comprehension. The Lin family's butler immediately came to his senses. He hurriedly took a few steps back. He quickly took out his communication device. For Lin Weichen's father, who was also Commander Lin, he sent a message, telling him to come quickly. I glanced at him. My gaze fell back on Lin Weichen's face. Will you do it yourself? Or should I help you? Lin Weichen looked at me. He felt my slightly cold gaze. He subconsciously turned his head to look around. He saw Gu Munya standing frozen on the spot. His eyes lit up, as if grasping a life-saving straw. He shouted, Munya, save me. Gu Munya heard this. She immediately stiffened like a log. At this moment, she wanted to run over and cover Lin Weichen's mouth. Save him? How could she? The strength of the Lin family's bodyguards was no less than hers. They were all killed on the spot in an instant. Even if she rushed up, she would just be cannon fodder. Lin Weichen saw Gu Munya's reaction. He was completely desperate. Seeing this, I smiled blandly. How about you come and help him? Lin Weichen and Gu Munya were both embarrassed at the same time. The next moment, they both reacted. I said help him. It wasn't telling Gu Munya to help Lin Weichen deal with me. It was to help Lin Weichen kowtow 3 times. Lin Weichen clenched his fists. My father is a 3-star senior commander of the War Department. Are you tired of living? However, I didn't even look at him. I just said to Gu Munya, come here. Gu Munya heard my unquestionable voice. She was close to tears. Previously, she thought that once Lin Weichen's father arrived, I would be finished. But now, looking at me before her, she was actually a little scared. She was trembling so much she didn't know what to say. I spoke coldly. I don't want to say it a second time. Gu Munya trembled. She looked at me. Then she looked at Lin Weichen. Her face was full of struggle. If she chose to obey me today, it meant abandoning Lin Weichen, abandoning the status of the future daughter-in-law of a 3-star senior commander. In the War Department, she would no longer receive any special treatment. She looked at my calm eyes. Then she thought of Jiang Siqi's attitude towards me, and my terrifying strength that took down the bodyguards in an instant. She was suddenly startled. Maybe I wasn't what she had previously thought. Through special means, he obtained the position of a 2-star senior commander. A 19-year-old, relying only on himself, to become a senior commander of 2 stars or more. His future achievements couldn't be bad. The possibility of becoming a grand commander was perhaps even greater than Lin Weichen's father. Thinking of this, Gu Munya took a cold breath. I saw that she hadn't acted for a long time. I was gradually losing patience. Next, a countdown with a strong sense of compulsion entered the ears of everyone at the scene. 3, 2, 1. Before I finished counting, Gu Munya suddenly closed her eyes. She shouted loudly, "Ill help!" Immediately after, under the disbelieving eyes of Lin Weichen, she walked heavily in front of me. She looked at Lin Weichen with a complicated expression. She blamed herself. "Weichen, I'm sorry." Lin Weichen was stunned. He shook his head. "Munya, didn't you say you loved me? You can't do something that lets me down." Before Lin Weichen could finish, Gu Munya spoke again. Her voice carried a sense of finality. "I am sorry." She walked behind Lin Weichen. She had just bent down, one hand pressed on Lin Weichen's shoulder. The other hand pressed on his head. Then, with a burst of strength, she directly pressed his forehead to the ground. The sound of a forehead hitting the ground was heard. Lin Weichen was forced to kowtow to me for the first time. After his forehead touched the ground, he immediately struggled to sit up straight. At the same time, he looked angrily at Gu Munya. Then he looked straight at me. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes. I, Lin Weichen, swear, when my father arrives, I will definitely make sure you die a horrible death. Just as his words fell, Grand Commander Feng Shen's ice-cold and extremely authoritative voice came from afar. Who did you say you wanted to leave this world? Everyone heard the unexpected voice. They all looked in the direction of the sound. When they saw Feng Shen, Gu Munya, Lin Weichen, and the 9 soldiers were all embarrassed. Feng Shen was the highest spokesman for the entire War Department. Almost all the people of the Shan nation recognized him. Gu Munya and the 9 soldiers came to their senses at the same time. They subconsciously saluted Feng Shen. At the same time, they shouted solemnly, Grand Commander. Gu Munya and the 9 soldiers looked at Feng Shen with doubt. A big shot like Feng Shen. Why did he suddenly appear here? Normally, they were not qualified to meet Feng Shen, but now Feng Shen appeared before them. What was he here for? Some of them thought about the question Feng Shen had just asked. Who do you want to leave this world? They could roughly guess that he wasn't here for Lin Weichen. Then they all glanced at me at the same time. Could it be? This top Grand Commander of the Shia Nation's War Department came looking for me. Thinking of this, the 10 of them gasped. The Grand Commander came specifically to find me. What an honor this was. Unlike Gu Munya and the 9 soldiers, Lin Weichen felt Feng Shen's attention on him. His face showed joy. He shouted towards Feng Shen, Grand Commander. My father is the 3-star senior commander of the War Department, Lin Chuan. Please save me quickly. Feng Shen heard this. His face immediately showed understanding. So it's Lin Chuan's son. Lin Weichen nodded hurriedly. Grand Commander, he was disrespectful to the family of a superior, according to the rules of the War Department. How should this be handled? Gu Munya and the 9 soldiers were embarrassed. The War Department did seem to have a rule regarding the punishment for subordinates beating up or insulting the family of a superior, if they remembered correctly. According to the rules, the lightest punishment was 100 war lashes. For serious cases, one could even be imprisoned in the War Department's dungeon for a year of reflection. Thinking of this, Gu Munya and the 9 soldiers looked at me. It was a bit complicated. The rules of the War Department are greater than the heavens. Even if Feng Shen was the Grand Commander of the War Department, he had to follow the rules. I had someone forcibly control Lin Weichen to kowtow to me. This definitely constituted an insult. According to the War Department's rules, I would be beaten at least 100 war lashes. Thinking of this, everyone's eyes showed expectation. However, Feng Shen heard what Lin Weichen said. He just smiled blandly. Who said he is your father's subordinate? As soon as Feng Shen's words fell, the 9 soldiers were stunned. Not a subordinate. What does that mean? Not just the 9 of them. Even Gu Munya was stunned, although she had secretly guessed before that I might be a 3-star senior commander. But now, hearing Feng Shen say it with her own ears, it was still a little hard to believe. After all, in the entire Xia Nation's War Department, there were over 100 2-star senior commanders, but there were less than 10 senior commanders of 3 stars or more. They only accounted for a small fraction of the total number of soldiers in the Shia Nation's War Department, 1/3,000,000th. And at this moment, Lin Weichen was as if struck by lightning. The youngest senior commander of the Xia Nation's War Department, Jiang Siki, was only a 1-star senior commander. And now, Feng Shen said, I was a senior commander of 3 stars or more. Lin Weichen opened his mouth. Grand Commander, please don't joke. He's not even as old as me. Even if he joined the War Department from his mother's womb, he couldn't climb to the position of a senior commander of 3 stars or more. Feng Shen's expression darkened. Lin Weichen suddenly felt a heavy pressure. Feng Shen said coldly, You think I would lie to you, a little brat? Lin Weichen was stunned. It took him a few breaths to find his voice. He stared blankly at Feng Shen. He asked, How old is he? Feng Shen said, You are not qualified to know. Just now, you were the one who said you wanted to make him die a horrible death. Lin Weichen's heart trembled. He suddenly thought, if I were a 3-star senior commander, then his declaration of wanting to kill me would be suspected of plotting to kill a senior commander of the War Department. If that conclusion was really reached, his life would be over. Thinking of this, Lin Weichen's lips turned pale. He said to Feng Shen, I was just kidding. However, Feng Shen still looked at him coldly. His cold face showed no softness. The words you've spoken, no one cares if you were threatening or joking. You are an adult, so you should bear the consequences for your words and your actions. After speaking, he directly looked at the 2 soldiers he brought. Escort him to Yun City Prison, then wait for the results of the War Department's court. The 2 of them nodded. Lin Weichen watched the 2 soldiers approach. He subconsciously backed away. At the same time, he clenched his fists and looked at Feng Shen's face, full of anger and resentment. Grand Commander, you can't do this to me. My father has fought and bled for the Xia Nation on the battlefield for over 20 years, to be promoted to senior commander. After speaking, he suddenly raised his hand and pointed at me. And him? What has he done for the Sai nation? Doing this will make my father's heart grow cold. It might even cause instability in the Asian nation's War Department. Feng Shen never thought he would one day be lectured by a brat, pointed at his nose. His expression grew increasingly ugly. In the end, he laughed out of anger. Then I'd like to see if you have such great ability. If Lin Xuan has this ability. Initially, he treated Lin Weichen like this, mainly to put on a show for me. After all, he wanted me to agree to become a Grand Commander. First, he had to let me see his sincerity. After a while, he would release Lin Weichen. That would also be giving Lin Xuan some face, but Lin Weichen was so tactless, he could only act according to the War Department's rules. The two soldiers stepped forward and grabbed Lin Weichen's shoulder. However, just as Lin Weichen was about to be taken away, a middle-aged man with a resolute face quickly walked in. When he saw the scene before him, he couldn't help but be embarrassed. Lin Weichen saw him. He quickly shouted, "Dad, save me." The person who arrived was Lin Weichen's father, the 3-star senior commander of the D-City War Zone, Lin Xuan. He quickly walked up to Lin Weichen. He carefully asked Feng Shen, "Grand Commander, what is this about?" At this time, Feng Shen's expression was still gloomy. He looked at Lin Xuan blandly. "Your good son is preparing to assassinate a 3-star senior commander of the War Department. I am arresting him according to the regulations. Does Commander Lin have any objections?" Lin Xuan was embarrassed. He hurriedly said, "Grand Commander, although my son is lawless, but he would never do anything that violates the law and discipline." "Grand Commander, is there some misunderstanding here?" Lin Weichen saw his father protecting him. He felt wronged. "Dad, this is not my fault. He wants to steal Munya from me, and to increase his chances of getting close to Munya, he forced Munya to be a military training officer at the Imperial Capital Academy. I came to reason with him. I said I didn't agree with Munya being here. He kicked me. He told me to kneel before him and kowtow 3 times. I wouldn't kowtow, so he had someone press me down. Forcing me to kowtow, he insulted me." After speaking, Lin Weichen struggled again. Seeing this, Lin Xuan gasped. At the same time, he was furious, but he didn't dare to vent his anger at Feng Shen. He could only look at me and ask Feng Shen, "Grand Commander, may I ask who this is?" "Who is he?" "Because I joined the War Department. I went abroad after a few days. I just came back a few days ago. Moreover, to prevent domestic and foreign forces from harming me, my documents have a security level no less than Feng Shen's. So even as a 3-star senior commander, Lin Xuan didn't know about my legendary existence in the War Department. With just one look, Feng Shen saw that Lin Xuan believed Lin Weichen's demonic words. His eyes showed a hint of disappointment. As a high-ranking member of the War Department, you easily believe the words of your relatives. Lin Xuan, you have really been too comfortable for too long." Lin Xuan was embarrassed. He looked at Lin Weichen with suspicion. Feng Shen had no need to lie to him. Could it be that his son was really lying? Lin Weichen hurriedly said, "Dad, the person in charge of military training in D-City are all junior commanders who have been demoted. Munya is an intermediate commander. She can't proactively request to participate in military training. He did this to pursue Munya. I was forced to the ground by him to kowtow. I only said I wouldn't let him go because I was angry. Dad, I was just talking big. I definitely wouldn't dare to actually do it. Dad, help me plead with the Grand Commander. Tell him to let me go, okay?" Lin Xuan looked at Feng Shen's increasingly gloomy face. He hesitated for a moment. He opened his mouth. "Grand Commander, Weichen is still young. He's ignorant, and this commander has already punished him. Why don't we just stop here for today?" Feng Shen suddenly laughed. "Being young allows him to insult a commander of the same rank as you, and even threaten him." I didn't want to waste any more words with Lin Xuan. I directly gave an order to the soldier controlling Lin Weichen. "Take him away." Lin Xuan subconsciously raised his leg to block the 2 soldiers. He looked at Feng Shen in shock. "Grand Commander, you said he is a soldier of the same rank as me." Feng Shen nodded slightly. "Is there a problem?" Hearing this, Lin Xuan looked at Feng Shen. The respect in his eyes diminished somewhat. He looked directly at Feng Shen and asked, "May I ask, Great Commander, how did he become a 3-star high-ranking commander?" Lin Xuan fought and bathed in blood on the battlefield for 20 years. To complete missions, he almost died on the battlefield. A severe injury caused him, after having Wei Shen, to lose his ability to have more children. But even so, he only became a 3-star high-ranking commander at the age of 42. But now Feng Shen is telling him, "I am his equal." Feng Shen said coldly, "How he became a 3-star high-ranking commander is not your concern. You just need to know, his contribution to the Xi nation is something even 100 of you combined could not achieve." Lin Xuan heard Feng Shen's words and was stunned. Not just Lin Xuan. Everyone at the scene was stunned. Lin Xuan thought Feng Shen had gone senile. The disappointment in his eyes grew thicker. He took a deep breath, calming his turbulent emotions. Then, with a serious expression, he looked at Feng Shen and asked, "Great Commander, let's not talk about his contribution to the Xi nation being comparable to 100. Me, I am just saying if he's really that amazing. What kind of man would he want? He wouldn't lack any. So why would he fight with my son over a woman? Just as Lin Chuan finished speaking, I suddenly sneered contemptuously. Your son is blind. That doesn't mean I am blind too. You, a 3-star high-ranking commander, don't even have the most basic judgment. You're wasting the position you hold. After speaking, I looked at the blushing Lin Chuan. My voice grew colder. First, I looked down on her. Second, my maternal grandfather is Gu Mu Ya's paternal grandfather. Even if I were lacking women, I would not do something so incestuous. Lin Chuan looked at Gu Mu Ya and asked, Gu Mu Ya, is he telling the truth? Gu Mu Ye came to her senses. Yes, he is my maternal aunt's son. Just now, Wei Shen was too agitated. In his state, he wouldn't have believed my explanation at all. So I didn't mention this point. Lin Wei Shen's eyes widened as he muttered, how can this be? Then my coming here. What was the point of all this suffering? Feng Shen glanced coldly at Lin Wei Shen and said to the soldiers holding him down, take him away. However, Lin Chuan didn't have any intention of making way. He glanced at me, full of unwillingness, and said, Great Commander, I, Lin Chuan, have served the Xi Nation's military for nearly 30 years, completed 1 S-rank mission, 3 A-rank missions, countless B-rank missions. He's just a kid who hasn't even fully grown up. What has he done for the military? So what if my son was disrespectful to him? He's someone who used connections to get his high-ranking commander position. He doesn't deserve the respect of anyone in the military. As soon as Lin Chuan finished speaking, Gu Muye and the 9 soldiers all gasped. They looked at Lin Chuan's face with respect. As members of the military, they naturally knew how terrifyingly difficult S-rank missions were. Every person who completed an S-rank mission was a great hero worthy of being recorded in the history of the Xia Nation's military, and the person before them, Lin Chuan, was one of them. How honored they were to witness such a great figure with their own eyes. Quickly, the 10 of them recovered from their shock and looked at me. The injustice in their eyes grew stronger. Lin Wei Shen collected himself and said with a cold laugh, That's right. He's a kid who's a few years younger than me. What does he have to compare with my father? Someone like him isn't even worthy of carrying my father's shoes. Feng Shen looked at Lin Wei Shen. Then his gaze slowly swept over everyone at the scene. Finally, he looked at Lin Chuan and smiled. Since you think so, you want to know why? Fine. I'll tell you now. After speaking, Feng Shen took from the soldier behind him a golden military book. He opened the book. He stood up a bit straighter. Next, in a solemn and dignified voice, he read, Soldier Gu Chen, for the safety of the nation. Fighting on the Outer Realm battlefield, struggled. And during that time completed 5 top-secret SSS rank missions, 18 SS rank missions, nearly 100 S rank missions, making enormous contributions to the Xia Nation. By the decision of the Xia Nation's Military General Council, Gu Chen is promoted to the 4th Great Commander of the Xia Nation's military. His authority is equivalent to the other 3 Great Commanders of the military, and holds the highest decision-making power in the Xia Nation's military. Feng Shen's voice trailed off, but the echo still resounded in everyone's ears. At this moment, everyone was stunned. They all stared intently at the golden book in Feng Shen's hand. Only one thought was in their minds. How? How is this possible? Is this something a human can even do? They felt like they were dreaming, but no one doubted the authenticity of this information, because what Feng Shen was holding was the military book, which was like a sacred decree in the military. No one would dare to forge something like this. Lin Wei Shen stared blankly at the military book. At this moment, he wanted to find a hole to crawl into. The words he had just said were like a series of heavy slaps to his face. Beside him, Lin Chuan's shock was no less than Lin Wei Shen's. As one of the few in the military who had completed an S-rank mission, no one knew better than him the difficulty of missions S-rank and above. Back then, to complete that S-rank mission, he nearly died. If he hadn't been lucky, he wouldn't be alive. But I had completed nearly 100 S-rank missions. Not only that, I had also completed 18 SS rank missions and 5 SSS rank missions. The most terrifying thing was, I joined the military when I was only 14 years old, and all these missions were completed within 5 years. He looked at me, wondering what kind of monster I was. After an unknown amount of time, Lin Chuan finally came to his senses. Great Commander, However, Feng Shen didn't look at him. He went directly to me. He seriously handed the book to me with both hands. Commander Gu, please accept the book. I glanced at it but didn't take it. I gave Feng Shen a faint smile. Great Commander, you and this promotion book appeared at just the right time. Not early, not late. You only came when I was being troubled. Furthermore, Feng Shen was standing up for me now. Even the military book promoting me to Great Commander was already prepared. If I refused again, it would seem like I was being ungrateful. Feng Shen saw that I wasn't angry. A smile appeared on his face. I heard you found that person in your family, so I rushed over immediately. It's all just a coincidence. As long as you accept this book, how you want to deal with them is completely up to you. Lin Chuan and Lin Wei Shen heard Feng Shen's words, and their eyes widened instantly. The surrounding soldiers were also startled. No one thought a figure like Feng Shen would say to me that I could deal with a 3-star high-ranking commander and his family as I pleased. Words like that. I ignored everyone's stares and reminded Feng Shen, great commander, don't break the military's rules because of me. How they should be dealt with should be according to military regulations. However, Feng Shen shook his head. He looked at me extremely seriously. I am not breaking the rules. It's that you deserve it. I looked indifferently at the determined old man before me. Suddenly, I smiled. It's fine if you want me to accept this position. I don't want to go to the Outer Realm battlefield for the next year. And don't give me any overly complicated work. The soldiers were all embarrassed when they heard what I said. One must know that it has been nearly 10 years for the military since a new great commander was born. And once a new great commander takes office, the whole country would surely rejoice, not to mention the immense power of becoming a great commander. Just the fame that resounds throughout the Exia nation. This point alone was irresistible. But now, the position they dreamed of and yearned for was presented before me by Feng Shen. Not only did I not accept it with the most excited and humble attitude, but I even made conditions with Feng Shen, and such unreasonable conditions at that. Everyone stared at Feng Shen's expression, as if expecting to see Feng Shen coldly reprimand me. However, they never would have dreamed. Feng Shen heard me, and he breathed a sigh of relief. He smiled and nodded without hesitation. These are all small matters, as long as you agree to accept the position of great commander. Everything is negotiable. Everyone was stunned. Why? They had the feeling that Feng Shen was begging me to take the promotion. I saw Feng Shen's fox-like smile. I raised an eyebrow. How come I didn't know? When did the great commander become so easy to talk to? Feng Shen's face turned serious. He said seriously, I just said it. You deserve it. If not for you, the Exia nation wouldn't have its current status as the world's #1 superpower. Forget being the #1 superpower. It would probably be difficult to even maintain our previous 4th-place position in the world. Everyone around gasped, including Lin Chuan. Everyone was shaken. For the Shy nation to become the current #1 superpower in the world was all thanks to a kid who wasn't even 20. Everyone was still doubtful. Feng Shen's next words struck them like a bolt of lightning. Commander Gu, you've only been away from the Outer Realm battlefield for 3 days. Before, the Tianlang troop, under your direct command, seems to have lost its leader. They had never failed before. Recently, they lost 2 battles in a row. The foreign nations are pressing their advantage. If the situation doesn't improve soon, at best, the Shia nation's elite forces will be forced to weaken. At worst, the Shia nation's status as the #1 superpower will be severely damaged. As soon as Feng Shen finished speaking, everyone was shocked and froze in place. At this moment, the way everyone looked at me changed. It's no exaggeration to say that the Exia nation's current world status, more than half of its achievements belong to the Tianlang troop. For the safety of the Tianlang troop's members, the file of each member is a top secret in the entire Shia nation's military. Few people know who the members of the Tianlang troop are, and even fewer know about the most legendary leader of the Tianlang troop. What kind of brave and skilled legendary figure he is. Now, Feng Shen was telling them that I was the leader of the Tianlang troop. They finally understood why I could become a great commander at this age. Feng Shen said, he was right. Without me, there would be no modern Exia nation. The position of great commander, I deserved it. At this moment, even Lin Chuan's eyes were full of respect when he looked at me, but my face turned cold. I've been focused on finding my little baby recently. I haven't paid attention to the situation on the Outer Realm battlefield. I didn't think I had only been away from the Tianlang troop for a few days, that those people's morale would drop to such an extent. Immediately after, I took out my special phone and sent a message. After sending it, I no longer hesitated. I raised my hand and accepted the promotion book. I looked at Feng Shen seriously. This position of great commander, I accept. I will also shoulder the corresponding responsibilities. As long as I am in the Shai nation's military for a single day, the Exia nation will not fall from its position as the world's #1 superpower. Down. Feng Shen heard my arrogant promise. His old face revealed a comforting smile. The future of the military is the world of young people like you. In the future, you will definitely become a more outstanding great commander than me. I smiled faintly. You haven't retired yet. You handle most of the military's affairs first. Wait until you can't move anymore. Then think about throwing this mess to me. Everyone was already numb. Hearing me describe the Exia nation's military as a mess, they felt no great fluctuations in their hearts. Feng Shen heard me. He said nothing. He turned and instructed a soldier, relay the order. Announce on the front page of all national news tomorrow. The 4th great commander of the Exia nation has been born. However, before the soldier could respond, I suddenly opened my mouth. Wait, I still have to return to the Outer Realm battlefield in a while. It's not suitable for me to appear in the public eye right now. Feng Shen hesitated for a moment, then nodded. All right, the news will not contain any of your personal information, but this news must be released. Otherwise, when you appear in the public eye later, it will be unjustifiable. Seeing that I didn't refuse, Feng Shen said, in a few days, I will organize an upper-class party in D City. At that time, I will let you enter the sights of the entire upper class of D City. and all the high-level officials of the military. I want those in the military who are biased against you to see clearly the gap between you and them." I nodded. "You arrange it. I will try my best to cooperate." Feng Shen saw me nod. He breathed a sigh of relief. Then, he turned to look at the surrounding soldiers and the members of the Gu family. "I will draft a confidentiality agreement later. You will sign it. I hope what happened here today can rot in your stomachs forever, if any of you leaks Commander Gus information. Not only will you lose your lives, your relatives within 3 generations will all be implicated because of you." Feng Shen's voice wasn't loud, but everyone felt a chill in their hearts. They all responded at once. At this moment, they all understood my importance to the Shai nation. No one doubted the truth of Feng Shen's words anymore. Half an hour later, everyone finished signing. Lin Chuan hesitated for a moment. Then, with a repentant look, he said to me, "Commander Gu, today I offended you. It was I, Lin, who was blind. I hope you won't hold it against me." I looked at him indifferently. "I can forgive you." Immediately after, I raised my hand and pointed at Lin Wei-shen, but he must be dealt with according to the laws of the Xi nation. Lin Chuan seemed to age 10 years in an instant. He paused and said, "Commander Gu, I am willing to resign from all my positions in the military, in exchange for my son avoiding imprisonment. I hope Commander Jiu will grant my request." I glanced at Lin Wei-shen. At this moment, Lin Wei-shen was also looking at me. His eyes were full of fear and regret. I turned to look at Lin Chuan. I said indifferently, "You've thought it through." Lin Chuan gave a bitter smile. One must always pay the price for one's mistakes. Wei Shen was indeed spoiled by me. I nodded. "All right." Lin Chuan respectfully cupped his fists at me. "Thank you, Commander Gu." After speaking, he directly pulled up Lin Wei Shen, who had collapsed to the ground, and walked in the direction they came from. Then, Feng Shen and the others also left one by one. Soon, only I, Go Mu Ya, and the 9 soldiers were left on the training ground. The way Gu Mu Ya and the 9 soldiers looked at me had changed completely. They never would have dreamed that the instructor who came to give them special training was a legendary figure of the entire Xia nation, the leader of the Tian Lang troop, and also a supreme being who had just been promoted to great commander. How honored they were to be personally trained by a figure of my level. However, a few days later, the soldiers undergoing high-intensity training found it completely unbearable. And I was a demon. Soon, it was the last day. It was also the day before the academy's military training began. Gu Mu Ya was sure I was no longer scolding them and breathed a sigh of relief. Crazy. That man is really crazy. The soldier next to him exclaimed. I understand why the Tian Lang troop is so amazing. With this kind of demon as an instructor, if their strength still can't improve, then they're truly useless. The dark-skinned soldier beside him sighed. We're not members of the Tian Lang troop, to put it bluntly. We're already cripples. He just needed to teach us a little about military training methods, but he tortured us for nearly 10 days. Was it necessary to waste each other's time? The other 8 soldiers fell silent upon hearing this. They were all cripples. Even if they tried hard, it was useless. The special training made their old injuries flare up. If this continued, not only would they not be able to go to the battlefield, their bodies would also be completely ruined. Before anyone could say anything, the sound of footsteps suddenly rang out. The soldiers' bodies stiffened. They stiffly turned their heads and saw me. Everyone almost instinctively stood up. Then they quickly lined up, standing before me in the most standard posture. I looked indifferently at the soldiers before me, wasting each other's time. The soldiers' hearts trembled. My eyes were cold. Words like that, I don't want to hear them a second time. 300 sets of combat training, finish in 3 hours. Everyone replied yes. 3 hours later, the training ended. Except for Gu Mu Ya, every soldier's face was pale. They felt like they could faint at any moment, but they still stood straight. I nodded at them. Your progress barely meets my expectations. It's passable. When the soldiers heard this, their drowsy minds immediately cleared up. At this moment, they all thought these hard days were worth it. Even if they had to leave the military today, they wouldn't have too many regrets. I smiled faintly. These people are all trainable talents. They are worthy of my time to teach. I took out a porcelain bottle. Hey Bao, distribute the pills in this bottle. The 9 of you. 1 pill each. Hai Bao hurried forward to receive it. He distributed the pills to the others. I ordered, take it. The 9 soldiers followed without hesitation. After taking the pills, they felt a warmth spread through their bodies. The injuries on their bodies, under the effect of that medicine, were slowly recovering. Realizing this, the soldiers all froze. The next moment, their faces were ecstatic. The progress of these 10 days made them believe that if not for the injuries on their bodies, their progress could have been even greater. But now, because of the pill I gave them, they saw hope. If this pill could heal their injuries, then I would be no different from their second parents. Gu Muya turned to look at me. She saw that they were eating good stuff. Why didn't she get any? Was she not worthy? She looked at me with a bit of resentment. I didn't even give her a glance. Focusing on the 9 soldiers, from the change in their complexions, I was sure that 1 pill could heal their injuries. 10 minutes later, He Bao suddenly knelt before me. He looked at me gratefully. Thank you, Commander Gu. The other 8 people saw this, and also knelt before me. Thank you, Commander Gu. Now they understood that I was training them. I looked at everyone indifferently. You should thank your own perseverance and effort. If even one of you had given up halfway, I wouldn't have stayed here this long, let alone give you this medicine. Everyone took a cold breath. They knew the medicine I gave them was not ordinary, but they didn't know it could bring someone back from the brink of death. It was no different from me giving them a new life. Haibao came to his senses and hurriedly opened his mouth. We will definitely not let down the great commander's training. The other 8 repeated after him. They swore in their hearts. As long as they were alive, they would definitely not disappoint my expectations. I nodded lightly. All of you, stand up. For the rest of today, rest well. After the military training, I will arrange new training missions for you. I hope you won't disappoint me. The 9 people hurriedly and respectfully responded. We understand. I nodded lightly and turned to walk towards the main gate. Gu Muya hesitated for a moment, then chased after me. Commander Gu, where are you going? I'll take you. I didn't refuse. However, after I left, the soldiers continued to train in the same spot. An hour later, everyone laid down on the ground again. This time, they felt unprecedentedly refreshed. They discussed waiting for the military training to begin, wanting to be a demon instructor like me. They already imagined the terrified and trembling appearance of the students. Speaking of this, everyone looked forward to tomorrow's military training even more. On the other side, the address where Shai Qingming and I agreed to meet. Half an hour later, Gu Muya drove me to a villa area in the center of D City. She parked in front of the main gate. After I got out of the car, Gu Muya also chased after me. I haven't seen Auntie in a long time. I haven't seen her since Wanwan was born. Since I came with Commander Jiu today, I might as well see her. I didn't refuse. I stepped into the villa area. At this moment, Lin Weishen walked over from the opposite direction. Seeing me and Go Muya, he was embarrassed. The 4 people next to him didn't know that the relationship between Gu Muya and Lin Weishen had broken down. They sized me and Gu Muya up, their faces showing suspicion and scrutiny. Gu Muya looked at Lin Weishen, her face also a little embarrassed. Thinking of that day, she forced Lin Weishen to kowtow to me. She felt a little remorseful. So when she saw Lin Weishen, she subconsciously took a step back. Those 4 people already suspected that she and I had an illicit relationship. Seeing this, their faces all darkened. One of the male students stared at Gu Muya and questioned, Gu Muya, who is he? Lin Weishen hurriedly pulled him. And Shen, Gu Muya and I have already broken up. Let's go quickly. And Shen heard this. His face showed doubt. Broken up? The 3 people next to him also found it hard to believe. You two have always had a good relationship. How could you just break up like that? Lin Weishen didn't dare to look at me. He hurriedly said, we just felt we weren't compatible, so we broke up. Let's go quickly. However, when the 4 saw this, the suspicion on their faces grew stronger. And Shen said with a serious face, Weishen, tell me, did Gu Muya do something to wrong you? Lin Weishen was about to collapse. No. If you want to know, I'll tell you in detail later. Can we leave here first? His father had gone through so much trouble to protect him. He was really afraid that I would cause trouble for him again. But whatever you fear comes true. The thought had just popped into Lin Weishen's head. My voice was a little cold. Please make way. Lin Weishen's heart skipped a beat. He subconsciously wanted to pull the 4 away. The 4 of them didn't move. And Shen looked at me contemptuously. Weishen broke up with Gu Muya. Did some bastard steal his girlfriend? Gu Muya, you left Weishen for this kind of trash? Are you blind? The other 3 also reacted, looking at Gu Muya with dissatisfaction. But before they could open their mouths, Lin Weishen slapped and Shen. If you don't know how to speak, then shut up. Gu Chen is handsome and elegant. Which of your eyes saw him as a bastard? Even if he really likes Go Muya, that's also him acknowledging my taste in women. It's my honor. As soon as Lin Weishen finished speaking, the 4 of them were all stunned. They suspected Lin Weishen was possessed. Soon, and Shen came to his senses. He looked at Lin Weishen in astonishment. Lin Weishen, you hit me? For a man like that, you hit me. Lin Weishen hurriedly said, what do you mean? A man like that, Shen. Hurry up and apologize to this gentleman. And Shen saw his clenched fists. His voice was resolute. Lin Weishen, I am breaking off my friendship with you. After speaking, he turned and left. Anxiety rose in Lin Weishen's heart, but he didn't dare to leave directly. Instead, he bowed to me. Sorry. Seeing my unchanging expression, he then chased after them. The other 3 glanced at me and also chased after them. Just then, my phone suddenly rang. I answered it. Xia Qingming's voice came from the other side. Hearing her voice, I hooked my lips into a smile. All right. I am coming over now. I hung up. I then saw Gu Muya's complicated expression. She swore she had never thought in her life that my face could reveal such a smile. 5 minutes later, I arrived at the sales office. As soon as I entered the hall, I saw Xiao Yunqi. He was talking to a middle-aged woman. That person might be the only great figure the Xia nation has produced in 10 years. Born to be a great commander, giving him such an ordinary villa, would he even like it? Xiao Yun Qi's mother, Song Shuling, heard this. She shook her head. This villa is just a token. What mom really wants to give, naturally won't be on the surface. Xiao Yun Qi seemed to think of something. His eyes widened. You're not planning to give. Song Shuiling interrupted him. All right. Let's choose the villa first. Xiao Yun Qi nodded seriously. Just as Xiao Yun Qi was about to choose, his gaze suddenly fell on me. He subconsciously clenched his fists. The pain from his arm shot through, making him think of the humiliation at the Gu family's banquet. A look of disgust appeared on his face. Song Shuiling saw this and couldn't help but ask, Yun Qi, who is this? Xiao Yun Qi replied, someone who should have stayed in his place as a lowlife, but relied on stealing other people's girlfriends to climb up, a despicable commoner. Hearing this, my steps halted, and an icy aura pressed down. Before I could do anything, Xia Qingming and my mother happened to come out of the VIP room. Xiao Yun Qi saw Xia Qingming and Mother Gu. A look of understanding appeared on his face. He looked at me with contempt, thinking that I had begged Xia Qingming to come and buy a house for me. Clearly doesn't have that kind of background, but still wants to be a freeloader. Song Shuiling saw Xia Qingming. Surprise, the girl from the Xie family. Xiao Yun Qi's face showed doubt. His mother knew Xia Qingming. How did he not know? Song Shuiling withdrew her gaze and explained, your great-uncle has 2 daughters in total. One is your future wife candidate, Xia Zexi. The other is this Xia Qingming. Xiao Yun Qi froze. The first time he met Xia Qingming, he had investigated her background, but he never found anything. He didn't think Xia Qingming was a side-branch child of the Xia family. I heard she was a weak, good-for-nothing. Song Shuiling nodded. That's right. At first, she was a useless ado. The Xia family hid her well, afraid she would bring them shame. But half a year ago, there was an accident. After that, she seemed like a different person. I originally planned to let you two meet after today's party. See if you like Xia Shai, or if you like Xia Qingming more. Meet both, then you can decide who to marry. But I didn't think you two would meet beforehand. Xiao Yunqi was ecstatic. He thought heaven was helping him. He also didn't think that one of the marriage candidates his mother found for him was Xia Qingming. The surprise was too sudden. Xiao Yunqi quickly calmed down and asked, Mom, what do you think of Xia Qingming? Song Shuiling thought for a moment, then slowly opened her mouth. Speaking of the Xia Qingming from half a year ago, she was mud that couldn't support a wall. But the her now. Speaking of this, her tone became serious. Her future is limitless. Xiao Yunqi didn't think that his mother would have such a high evaluation of Xia Qingming. Xiao Yunqi hurriedly said to Song Shuiling, Mom, I have something to tell you. Song Shuling's face showed a slight smile. You're not planning to tell me you fell in love with this girl at first sight. Xiao Yunqi nodded. Seeing this, Song Shuling smiled. Song Shuling patted his shoulder. Go. Let's go, take a look. After she finished speaking, she walked towards Xia Qingming. Xiao Yunqi looked at me proudly. This commoner dares to fight with him. Xiao Yunqi, over a woman. He doesn't even look to see if he's worthy. Song Shuling walked up to Xia Qingming and took the initiative to smile and speak. Niece, Xia Qingming. What a coincidence. Xia Qingming's expression was indifferent. Aunt Xiao. I was a little surprised to hear this, although I had never met Song Shuiling. I knew this person was the matriarch of the Xiao family, but I didn't think Xia Qingming would call Song Shuiling aunt. Doesn't this make it clear? Xia Qingming is very likely a member of the Xia family. After all, the Xia family is one of the 5 great families. I immediately had an epiphany. No wonder Di Qing couldn't find any information on Xia Qingming. If she's from the Xia family, then it's not strange. Just as my thoughts were wavering, Song Xuling suddenly smiled and looked at me. Young man, you are, I replied, my name is Gu Chen. Song Xuling's face showed confusion. The Gu family. She seemed to be thinking about how many Gu families there are in D City. Seeing this, Xiao Yunqi directly spoke up. Mom, of all the families surnamed Gu in D City, there's only one minor, second-rate family. At tonight's banquet, the Gu family doesn't even have the qualifications to enter the outer hall. Song Xuling nodded in understanding. She seemed to think of something, looking at Xia Qingming. Niece, the evening banquet is extraordinary. If you don't have a male companion, you might be laughed at. After saying that, she looked at Xiao Yunqi beside her. The hint was very clear. Hearing this, I raised an eyebrow and looked at Xia Qingming. A banquet. Xia Qingming nodded lightly. To celebrate the appearance of the 4th great commander of Xia country. Commander Feng is hosting the banquet. It's not easy to refuse. It just occurred to me. 10 days ago, Feng Shen said he wanted to throw a promotion party for me. I just didn't think this banquet was about to start. But Feng Shen still hasn't notified me. As the man himself, I opened my mouth. I'll go with you. As soon as I finished speaking, Xiao Yunqi chuckled. You'll go with her? Do you know what level of banquet that is? Let's not even mention an insignificant junior from the Gu family like you. Even if you were the head of the Gu family, you wouldn't have the qualifications to attend. Song Exuling also shook her head, as expected of someone from a small family. He can't make it to the big stage. Just when Xiao Yunqi and Song Exuling thought Ye Qingming would react to this, and her expression would change. They didn't expect Xie Qingming to just smile faintly. She nodded at me and said, "I'll have someone make an invitation for you." I shook my head again. "Someone from the War Department will give it to me." As soon as I finished speaking, the way Song Exuling looked at me completely changed, and she became even more disappointed with Xie Qingming's taste in men. Xiao Yunqi looked at me as if I were an idiot. "Someone from the War Department will personally invite you? If such an idiot really exists in the War Department, it would be a disgrace to the War Department. Someone like you should get out of the Exia country's War Department as soon as possible." As soon as Xiao Yunqi finished speaking, the phone in my pocket suddenly rang. I took out my phone and looked. The caller ID clearly showed Feng Shen. I glanced at the phone screen, then looked at Xiao Yunqi. Xiao Yunqi felt my gaze. An uneasy feeling inexplicably rose in his heart. Before he could speak, I pressed the answer button and put the phone to my ear. I said faintly, "Great Commander." Hearing this, Xiao Yunqi and Song Exuling were both stunned. They thought they had misheard. How could the Great Commander possibly call me? Someone spoke on the other end of the line. I chuckled. "You've already arranged everything, and you're only asking me now. If I were to refuse, where would you hide your old face?" The person on the other end said something again. My smile deepened. "I know you have good intentions. I'll be there tonight." Hearing this, Feng Shen on the other side was finally relieved. Just as he was about to hang up, I suddenly said, "Wait." I looked at Zhao Yunqi. He still had a doubtful expression. I said faintly, the words, "Say what you just said one more time." Xiao Yunqi's heart tightened, but he quickly burst out laughing. He suddenly raised his hands and applauded me. His face showed admiration as he praised. "Impressive. The acting is really too good. If I didn't know your lowly status, perhaps even I would have been deceived by you." Xiao Yunqi looked at me mockingly. "You think just by answering a phone call, you can make us believe that the Great Commander personally called to invite you to the banquet? Do you really take everyone for an idiot?" Hearing this, my face turned cold. "I told you to repeat what you said before. Where did all this nonsense come from?" Xiao Yunqi's anger flared up. He ignored Xie Qingming and Song Exuling beside him, and directly shouted at me, "Who the hell do you think you are? What right do you have to order me around?" I gave him a faint glance. Then I said to Feng Shen on the phone, "Xiao Yunqi of the Xiao family. Since he's an invited guest at the banquet, I won't touch him for now. Wait until after the banquet and deal with him yourself." Hearing this, Feng Shen's face turned cold. He had roughly guessed what happened. He had gone to great lengths to invite me to be the Great Commander. Yet Xiao Yunqi dared to speak to me like that. Truly audacious. Feng Shen coldly said the word "all right" to me and hung up. Seeing me put down the phone, Xiao Yunqi sneered. "Done with your act? Daring to make up stories about knowing the Great Commander to fool people? Do you know what crime this is?" Hearing this, I didn't even look at him. I turned directly to my mother. "Mom, have you found a house you like?" Mom asked me, a bit surprised. "A Chen. The Great Commander you were just talking about. Is he the one that everyone in Xia country knows?" Just as Mother Go spoke, Xiao Yunqi had a sudden idea. He took out his phone and pressed the record button. I heard my mother's words and nodded lightly. "It's him." I noticed Xiao Yunqi's action but didn't stop him. I was actually a little curious about what he could do. As for my mother, seeing me nod, she was even more surprised. "Son, how did you get to know a figure like Commander Feng?" I said with a smile. "When I was 17, I completed a very important mission for Xi country. To commend me, Feng Shen personally awarded me a medal. That was the first time I met him." Hearing this, Xiao Yunqi was stunned. The next moment, a look of joy appeared on his face. He suddenly thought. His action of recording was extremely clever. Xia country takes military merits and medals very seriously. If I had only exaggerated and said, "I knew Feng Shen," even if it's a crime, the maximum sentence would only be 2 years. But now, I'm saying I achieved a great merit at 17. And even that Feng Shen personally awarded me a medal. For Feng Shen to personally award a medal, it must be at least a first-class merit or higher. The laws of Xia country stipulate that War Department personnel who fabricate a first-class merit or higher will be sentenced to over 10 years in prison. Non-War Department personnel would get at least 10 years. In serious cases, it's life imprisonment. The recording on his phone is the evidence, enough to send me to prison for life. Hearing this, Xia Qingming also looked at me in surprise. She roughly understood why she couldn't find any information about me. I no longer paid any attention to Xiao Yunqi and decided on a villa with my mother. The adjacent villa was bought by Song Shuling. She wants to give it as a gift to the newly appointed Great Commander tonight. The procedures were quickly completed. Xiao Yunqi whispered to Song Exuling, "I wonder if that new commander will move in. If he moves in, and sees neighbors like that, will it give him a bad impression of you, Mom? Hearing this, Song Shuling suddenly stopped in her tracks. Her face also showed worry. Xiao Yunqi couldn't help but laugh and said, Mom, I am just joking with you. Whether that great commander will move in or not, I don't know. But speaking of which, Xiao Yunqi raised his hand and pointed at me. Then he said, but I can be sure that he won't have the chance to move in. If tonight I can really get Xie Qingming to take me into the banquet, I will publicly play this recording, making him lose all face, making the head of the Xie family utterly disappointed, and have him sent to prison, never to see the light of day again. And I will be by Xie Qingming's side. Thinking of this, Xiao Yunqi turned to look at Song Xuling. He said, Mom, is it very likely that Xie Qingming will take him to the banquet? Song Xuling pondered. Tonight's banquet concerns the division of Xie country's 9 great war zones. It's extremely important. A banquet of this scale. He won't be able to enter the inner hall. Hearing this, Xiao Yunqi was a little disappointed, but he quickly thought of something. A smile curled up at the corner of his lips. He didn't want the good show to lack a main actor. In that case, he didn't mind giving me a hand, and at the same time, pile on my crimes, making it impossible for me to ever recover. On the other side, we walked out of the real estate sales hall. However, just as Xie Qingming and I walked out the main door, a male student rushed straight towards Xie Qingming. Seeing that he was about to collide with her, Xie Qingming quietly shifted towards me. The next moment, Xia Qingming seemed to have been bumped by that person. She lost her footing and suddenly fell towards me. I immediately caught her in my arms. The figure who had rushed at Xie Qingming missed and fell flat on his face. I didn't even look at him. I checked Xie Qingming from head to toe, confirming there were no major issues. I still asked with some concern, "Are you okay?" Xie Qingming's eyes glanced at Chen Weiner in the distance. Then she rubbed her own arm. She frowned. "It hurts a little." The young assistant behind them was extremely embarrassed. When her young miss first started combat training, her whole body was injured, but her expression never changed. Now, just a touch from a man makes it hurt. I checked Xie Qingming's arm. Although I didn't see any problem, I didn't rush to a conclusion. Instead, I played along with her. It doesn't look like a big problem, but it could be an internal injury. After speaking, I comfortingly kissed Xia Qingming. "It'll stop hurting soon. Be good and bear with it for a moment." Xia Qingming nodded. She tried to leave my arms, but she couldn't stand firm. Her body suddenly swayed. I quickly held her tighter. Xia Qingming looked at me with a pitiful expression. "It still hurts." The little assistant didn't think her young miss would even pretend to be weak. White Lotus. Behind us, Xiao Yunqi's footsteps froze in place, and in the distance, Chen Weiner also froze like an ice sculpture. Just as the two were stunned by this scene, they didn't expect Xie Qingming to reach a new level of acting. Xia Qingming looked at me. The aggrieved look on her face deepened, but she said nothing. She just stubbornly supported her body, silently protesting my heartlessness. I quietly watched Xie Qingming's actions until the force with which she leaned on me lightened. I smiled and pressed her back. However, this time, Xia Qingming was determined to leave my arms. She looked at Chen Weiner not far away, then back at me, feigning worry. She asked, "Are you secretly seeing another woman?" Chen Weiner looked at this act of Xie Qingming's. Her expression began to crack. At this moment, she suddenly understood why she had lost so miserably in her previous life. She never would have dreamed that a woman like Xie Qingming, to win my love, could lower herself to this extent. Xiao Yunqi also felt that his worldview was about to collapse. The goddess-like cold woman in his heart was now acting aggrieved. Xie Qingming saw that I wasn't speaking. Her voice was extremely soft, but carried a threatening tone. "Why aren't you talking?" I smiled faintly. "It depends on your performance." Hearing this, Xia Qingming frowned even tighter, clearly dissatisfied with my answer. Before she could protest, I directly kissed the corner of her lips. Xia Qingming immediately swallowed the words she was about to say. I looked at her and smiled faintly. "Feeling better now?" Xia Qingming reluctantly opened her mouth. "A little." Xia Qingming put on an "I am very weak right now, and I am very unhappy with your answer" expression. "If you tease me again, it'll die for you to see." With that attitude, I had no choice but to kiss her again. This dramatic personality of my baby. I don't know when it'll ever change, but it's a good thing that she met me. Just then, Xie Qingming's phone suddenly rang. Xia Qingming was about to pull me in to deepen the kiss, but was interrupted by the ringing. She frowned. She originally wanted to ignore the phone and move closer to me. However, before she could act, I poked her shoulder with my finger. "Answer the phone." Although reluctant, Xia Qingming still complied. She pressed the answer button. Her voice was extremely cold. "If you have something to say, say it quickly." I heard this and immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Good. Her little miss is only abnormal when she's with me. I can reluctantly accept that. A moment later, Xia Qingming hung up the phone with a very bad expression. Seeing this, I guess she had to leave. I smiled lightly. "If you have something to do, go take care of it." Seeing that I showed no sign of reluctance, Xi Qingming suddenly felt a little annoyed, but thinking about the long future ahead, she felt at ease. She seriously promised me, soon, no one will be able to separate us. I hummed lightly in agreement. Xia Qingming kissed the corner of my lips, then said, see you tonight. After she finished speaking, she didn't even look at anyone else. She got directly into her stretch Lincoln, until the car completely disappeared from sight. Only then did Xiao Yunqi come back to his senses. He looked at me with jealousy. Then he looked at the male student who had bumped into Xia Qingming earlier. His eyes were sinister. I glanced at him, then directly took my mother's arm. Mom, let's go. Just as we were leaving, a tragic scream suddenly came from behind. After that, I showed my mother the new villa, then returned to Chen Weiner's villa. We packed our luggage and took Yuan to the new villa. Before leaving, while Chen Weiner wasn't looking, I placed a bank card with no password on the living room coffee table, as compensation for bothering her these past few days. At 6 p.m., I prepared to go to the hotel where the banquet was being held. However, just as I walked out the main door, a white envelope flew to my feet. I looked around and smiled meaningfully. I bent down and picked up the envelope. I opened it to see an invitation. The signature was Fang Shen's. A smile curled up at the corners of my lips. My eyes were cold. I put the invitation back into the envelope and put it in my pocket. An hour later, I took a taxi that stopped in front of the hotel's main entrance. Before arriving, I had intentionally bought a formal suit to change into. I just got out of the car. A line of people walked over from the distance. They whispered, I heard the newly appointed Great Commander is someone who isn't even 20 years old. Do you guys think this is reliable? Someone else said, you already said it's just a rumor. I wouldn't even believe a 20-year-old becoming a high-level commander, let alone a great commander. Unless the 3 old great commanders have gone blind. Everyone was discussing. A few people's gazes fell on me. I was standing alone, which was very conspicuous. They hadn't seen me before. They were a bit curious about my identity. I ignored them directly and stepped through the door. As soon as I entered the hotel, the receptionist smiled and came up to me. Hello, please present your invitation. I handed the invitation I had just picked up to the receptionist. Will this do? The receptionist saw the invitation and didn't even open it. She immediately made a welcoming gesture to me. Please proceed. She didn't check if the invitation was real or fake. She didn't believe anyone would dare to fake it. I nodded at her. I took back the invitation and entered the elevator to the banquet hall on the top floor. Just as I stepped into the elevator, a group of people followed me in. Among them, a girl near me took the initiative to ask, what's your name? I said in a faint voice. Gu Chen. Everyone in the elevator was taken aback. An old man said in surprise, are you from the Gu family of the Imperial City? I gave a perfunctory reply, but hearing this, everyone looked at me with even more doubt. Just as they were about to ask something, the elevator reached the top floor. The doors opened. I walked straight out of the elevator. I originally wanted to find Feng Shen, but I hadn't taken more than a few steps when my gaze was attracted by the cakes not far away. Just as I went to get some cake, the people in the elevator were discussing. They thought the Gu family was just a second-rate family. Feng Shen couldn't possibly have invited me. I must have come to pick up girls. After their discussion, they walked towards me. I took a few pieces of cake and sat down. A gentle-looking young woman sat opposite me. She smiled elegantly and asked, Mr. Gu, do you mind if I sit here? I looked up and glanced at the young woman. Her style was a bit like Chen Weiner's, but she was far less beautiful than Chen Weiner. I said coldly, whether I let you sit or not, you're already sitting. Seeing that, I was so disrespectful. The gentle young woman's face stiffened. Her look towards me became completely cold. She didn't want to waste any more time. She went straight to the point. Mr. Gu, may I be so bold as to ask, where did you get your invitation? I frowned at her. What does that have to do with you? Hearing this, the gentle young woman suddenly smiled, but her voice was bone-chillingly cold. I've met many men like you, but one with guts as big as yours. This is the first time I've met one. I really don't know who gave you the courage, for a man like you, to risk your life and appear here. To put it bluntly, a person like you. Even if you begged me to spend a night with you, I wouldn't be interested. As soon as she finished speaking, a mocking voice chimed in. Xiao Yunqi said with a bitter smile, Miss Jiang, for you to speak with this kind of lowly person is to think too highly of him. The gentle young woman was a direct descendant of the Jiang family, Jiang Yunru. She heard the voice and looked over. Xiao Yunqi was slowly walking over. Jiang Yunru saw Xiao Yunqi immediately. A flash of amazement passed through her eyes. She had never met a man with such an outstanding temperament. Xiao Yunqi slowly came before her. He looked at me coldly. His voice held no room for doubt. Hand over the invitation. I didn't give him a single glance. I finished the last piece of cake and wanted to go to the commander's lounge. However, I had just stood up. Xiao Yunqi directly blocked my way. Didn't you hear what I said? Only then did I glance at him and smile lightly. I didn't hear a person's words, but I heard a dog's bark clearly. Jiang Yunru was extremely embarrassed. This man dared to say that her male god's words were dog's bark. Anger rose in her heart. She suddenly took a step forward, wanting to push me away from in front of Xiao Yunqi. But just as she raised her hand, Xiao Yunqi raised his uninjured left hand and slapped towards my face. Just as his hand was about to touch my face, a loud slap rang out. I sent Xiao Yunqi flying with a single slap. Xiao Yunqi's body crashed into a dining table. The table shattered into pieces. The wooden frame broke. A few bloody scrapes appeared on Xiao Yunqi's body. Fresh blood flowed from the wounds, immediately staining his white vest red. Xiao Yunqi went from a cold male god to a miserable wretch. The commotion here was a bit loud. The surrounding gazes quickly turned this way. Not a few women saw Xiao Yunqi and had looks of pity on their faces. Although Xiao Yunqi looked pathetic, that handsome face was impeccable. As for this feeling, Jiang Yunro was only stunned for a moment. Then she ran to Xiao Yunqi's side, wanting to help him up. But Xiao Yunqi kept staring intently at me. His entire being was sunk in shock and defeat. Previously, he had been slapped twice in a row by me. He had only thought he was being careless. But my slap just now made him understand. My strength was above his. Xiao Yunqi looked at me with venom in his eyes. No one can be stronger than him. If there is, then destroy him. At this moment, a middle-aged woman walked over. She looked at Xiao Yunqi and Jiang Yunro and asked, "What's going on?" Seeing the newcomer, Jiang Yunru was delighted. This person might be her older sister's friend. Like her sister, she was a one-star high-level commander. She wanted this lowly commoner who snuck in, for insulting her male god, to pay the price. Jiang Yunro glared at me. Then she turned to the middle-aged woman, Commander Shen. "We just reasonably suspected his invitation was fake. We wanted to ask him to show it to us. But he got angry and directly hit someone." The so-called Commander Shen frowned. Her gaze, slightly cold, landed on me. "Is that true?" I gave Xiao Yunqi a faint glance, then said to Commander Shen, "Get Great Commander Feng Shen here." Hearing this, Commander Shen, his eyes turned cold. "Insolent, is Great Commander Feng someone you can meet just because you want to?" Seeing that Commander Shen was being impartial and professional, I didn't hold her disrespect towards me against her. Instead, I took a step back. "You can take me to find him as well." Hearing this, Commander Shen's face grew colder. Her tone also became a bit harsh. "The place where Commander Feng is not a place someone like you can just enter. Show me your invitation." Immediately, I saw her tone left no room for negotiation. I no longer insisted on finding Feng Shen, but honestly said, "Commander Feng called and told me to come. He didn't give me an invitation." The surrounding guests were stunned. They looked at me as if I were an idiot. They thought I didn't even have the qualifications to enter this banquet, and yet I had the gall to say I was invited by Feng Shen. Hearing the discussions around him, Xiao Yunqi looked at me with even more disdain. "So what if I am a little stronger than him? My background is lowly. It's destined that in this life, I am not even worthy of carrying his shoes." And Jiang Yunro looked at me as if she were looking at a clown. In Jiang Yunro's eyes, a man like me who would ruin his future just to show off was truly pitiful and ridiculous. Commander Shen had no interest in wasting words. She turned directly to two soldiers not far away. "Men, arrest this man and take him to the Imperial City's Supervision Department for me." The two soldiers replied, "Yes." But as soon as they spoke, gasps came from the crowd. Then, two beautiful women walked in from the entrance. The appearance of the two immediately attracted everyone's attention. Someone gasped, "I know the one on the left. She's the eldest young miss of the Xia family. She is Ixi. The one on the right, I've seen once. She's the younger, young miss of the Xia family. Xia Qingming." Hearing this, everyone looked at Xia Qingming with even more fervor. How can such a perfect woman exist in this world? But soon, someone said, "Xia Qingming is a good-for-nothing. The Xia family keeps her hidden because they're afraid she'll bring them shame." But some also thought that face is enough to make up for any shortcomings. However, the crowd's discussions quickly died down. They saw Xia Qingming walking towards Xiao Yunqi. Soon, she stopped in front of Xiao Yunqi. Everyone immediately held their breath. Could it be that this Xia Qingming really likes Xiao Yunqi? However, Xia Qingming slightly bowed her head and looked down at Xiao Yunqi, as if looking at a dead man. "Last time, I broke one of your wrists. Still haven't learned your lesson." Xia Qingming's voice wasn't loud, but everyone present heard it. For a moment, everyone was stunned. She broke Xiao Yunqi's wrist last time. Didn't they say Xia Qingming was a good-for-nothing? Could a good-for-nothing say something like that? It must all be rumors. Everyone looked at Xia Qingming with fanaticism. Even Xiao Yunqi isn't worthy of a woman like this. She should be a goddess high above. No man is qualified to touch her. Jiang Yunro, who had just been taught a lesson by Xia Qingming, hearing this now, although furious, only dared to weakly explain, "Today's matter is not his fault." Xia Qingming's gaze fell on Jiang Yunro. Jiang Yunru instinctively felt a surge of fear. In order to protect Xiao Yunqi, she immediately raised her hand and pointed at me. "Everything today is because of this lowly commoner. This lowly commoner snuck into the banquet to pick up girls. He snuck in with a fake invitation. Xiao Yunqi and I exposed him. He got angry and started hitting people. Yunqi was caught off guard and hit by him with one slap. Everything today happened because of this lowly commoner. It has nothing to do with me and Yunqi." But Jiang Yunru didn't expect that. After hearing her words, Xia Qingming suddenly smiled. A lowly commoner seducing women? Watched by Xia Qingming's pressuring gaze, Jiang Yunru hurriedly nodded. Yes, this kind of man from a small family comes in, precisely to seduce those of us from great families, wanting to be a freeloader, fantasizing that he can marry into a wealthy family. As soon as Jiang Yunru finished speaking, Xia Qingming suddenly laughed, and the words from her mouth stunned Jiang Yunru and everyone around. Xia Qingming sneered contemptuously. Seduce you? Are you even worthy? As soon as Xia Qingming finished speaking, everyone was stunned. The men in the imperial city who wanted to marry Jiang Yunru could form a line that would stretch out of the city. Yet, Xia Qingming said, she wasn't worthy of being actively seduced by a lowly commoner like me. Jiang Yunru became even angrier. Xia Qingming, I admit your strength is not bad, but you don't need to humiliate me for this lowly commoner. Before Jiang Yunru finished speaking, her stomach was suddenly hit hard, kicking her away. The crowd hadn't yet recovered from their shock. Hearing this, they were even more stunned. The younger young miss of the Shai family actually hit Miss Zhang for a man. Jiang Yunru was also extremely stunned. She stared blankly at Xia Qingming. You hit me. Xia Qingming's eyes were cold. If I hear you humiliate him again, it won't be as simple as just a kick. As soon as Xia Qingming finished speaking, the entire hall fell even more silent. At this moment, all the men looked at me with jealousy, wondering what virtues or abilities I had to make Xia Qingming stand up for me. Jiang Yunru understood even less. Xia Qingming, last time I provoked you. You hit me. I deserved it. I accept that. But for you to hit me here for this man, aren't you afraid Commander Feng will hold you responsible? Aren't you afraid of offending the new great commander because of this? Xia Qingming frowned. That's my business. It's not your place to worry. Jiang Yunru was furious. You, Xia Qingming, are impressive. But for you to protect such a lowly commoner, be careful. You won't even find a place to cry later. I know the tricks of this kind of man. Once he latches onto you, unless you kill him, don't expect to have a single good day. Hearing this, everyone around was taken aback. Soon after, some men shook their heads, finding it a bit ridiculous. Latch onto Xia Qingming? Unless I am crazy. However, the next moment, they were all stunned, because I walked up to Xia Qingming's side and intertwined my fingers with hers. It was as if everyone's minds instantly exploded. Only one thought remained in their hearts. Their goddess has been violated, defiled by an extremely unruly man. They looked at me, as if they wanted to skin me alive. But they thought that Xia Qingming, being taken advantage of by me, would surely make me die a miserable death. However, they waited for a long time, but didn't see Xia Qingming throw me off. Instead, it felt like Xia Qingming held my hand even tighter. The men who were originally extremely confident all had their faces stiffen. Jiang Yunru also had a look of shock. She remembered Xia Qingming was a serious germaphobe. According to her level of germophobia, shouldn't she have thrown me away immediately, and then chopped off my hand? Seeing this, I curled my lip. A man like me is precisely the type who wants to seduce the kind of woman you all think I am unworthy of. What? Do you have an opinion? Suddenly, a man stood up and looked at me angrily. How do you have the face to ask such a thing? The faces of the other men also became unsightly. If you weren't pestering Miss Feng, Miss Xia would be too polite to throw you out. You think you can just take advantage of her? Don't think that just because Miss Shai has a good temper, you can do whatever you want with her. Let her go right now. As these words fell, many people had an epiphany. Previously, there were rumors that Xia Qingming was a good-for-nothing. It's probably because her temper is too good. She can't bear to refuse people. A goddess like Xia Qingming could never like someone like me with no looks and no background. I looked at these men and suddenly found it interesting. I raised my hand holding Xia Qingming's and squeezed it twice. I smiled faintly and said, "Let go?" This hand is not only beautiful, it's also comfortable to hold. Why should I let go? All the men around gasped in unison. A mouthful of old blood was about to be spat out. How can such a thick-skinned and shameless man exist in this world? Just a few breaths. A man suppressed the urge to kill me. He stared at me. Jianming, he warned, don't push your luck. After speaking, he quickly looked at Xia Qingming. Miss Xia, this man is not worthy of you. He's just taking advantage of your kindness. That's why he dares to be so unrestrained. You should get rid of him quickly. Otherwise, he'll take a mile if you give him an inch. However, no one expected it. They tried so hard to persuade her. Xia Qingming acted as if she didn't hear them. She had no intention of pushing me away. She raised an eyebrow again. Take a mile if I give him an inch. What exactly does that mean? After saying that, I suddenly moved closer to Xia Qingming. I planted a kiss on her red lips. Every man around immediately wanted to kill me. Just then, an ice-cold shout, "That's enough?" suddenly rang out. Xiao Yun Qi's mother, Song Xueling, strode over. Feeling her authoritative aura that commanded respect without anger, everyone couldn't help but take a few steps back. Song Xueling stood firmly in front of Xia Qingming. She looked coldly at Xia Qingming. Qingming, Yun Qi was initially smitten with you. Even though I saw you being ambiguous with this man before, I was still willing to approve your marriage. After all, you're young. Who doesn't want to have a little fun while they're young? But your behavior tonight has truly disappointed me. Xiao Yun Qi, who had been silent on the ground for a long time, spoke with a desperate expression. Mother, I prefer XYZXI. XYZXI. Not far away, heard them talking. A look of ecstasy flashed across her face. She had mentioned it to her mother many times recently. She wanted a marriage alliance with Xiao Yun Qi, but it was always put on hold. She understood. Her mother wanted to pave the way for Xie Qingming. She was about to give up competing with Xie Qingming. She never thought Song Shui Ling would be disappointed in Xia Qingming. And Xiao Yun Qi even publicly confessed his feelings for her. Happiness came so suddenly. CSIXI turned to glance at Qingming. A cold smile on her face. She walked to Xiao Yun Qi's side. A worried look on her face. Yun Qi, how are you? Xiao Yun Qi slowly extended his hand to her. Seeing this, Xia Ziji quickly grabbed his hand and helped him up. Xiao Yun Qi felt the touch on his hand and instinctively felt disgusted. But thinking about how Xia Qingming had hurt him, he tried his best to suppress the revulsion in his heart. He turned his head to look at the commander. Commander, this man not only used a fake invitation to sneak into the banquet, he also spread rumors that the great commander personally invited him. He claimed the great commander personally awarded him a medal. Here is the proof. After saying that, he handed his phone to the commander to play a recording. The commander carefully took it. The words I had said to my mother 2 hours ago came from the phone. Everyone looked at me as if I were a dead man. They thought I was a madman. Just these 3 crimes of mine would probably land me in prison for life. Xia Ci looked at Xia Qingming with pity. At this moment, she was certain. Xia Qingming no longer had the right to compete with her for the position of family head. Xia Zixi had a gloating expression. The commander looked at 2 soldiers and ordered, "Take this man to the Imperial City prison for me, awaiting judgment." The 2 soldiers said, "Yes, ma'am." However, the next moment, Fang Shen's solemn voice rang out. "I'd like to see who dares." Everyone followed the voice and saw Fang Shen with a gloomy face, striding over quickly. Everyone was subdued by the solemn aura emanating from her. Fang Shen stopped in front of the commander. Her face was ice cold as she asked, "What are you doing?" The commander nervously lowered her head. "Great commander, I failed to manage the banquet properly. This is my dereliction of duty. Please, great commander, punish me." The pressure from Fang Shen intensified. "Failed to manage the banquet properly? Your mistake is not just about failing to manage the banquet." Hearing this, the commander's forehead broke out in a cold sweat. She truly didn't understand what other mistakes she had made besides letting me in. Fang Shen said coldly, "Men, take the commander away from me. Tell her to reflect in the military prison. When she figures it out, she can come out." Jiang Yunru immediately became anxious. She quickly spoke to Fang Shen. "Great commander, the commander was just following the rules. The main responsibility still lies with that man. But today's banquet is to celebrate the appointment of the 4th great commander. Making a big scene wouldn't be good. How about we just kick him out now and let the banquet continue? What do you think?" However, before Fang Shen could speak, Xiao Yun Qi frowned. No way. He didn't just use a fake invitation to get in. He also claimed the great commander personally invited him. Most importantly, he dared to spread rumors that he received a medal personally from the great commander. If he's just kicked out of the banquet, what credibility would the laws of Xia country have left? Hearing this, everyone nodded in agreement. Fang Shen looked at me doubtfully. "Used a fake invitation to get in?" I smiled faintly. I took out my phone and tapped it a few times. A video appeared on the phones of everyone present. After watching the video, everyone looked at Xiao Yun Qi in shock. No one would have thought that the male god in their hearts, in order to frame a man from a second-rate family, would resort to such despicable means. Xiao Yun Qi was completely frozen on the spot. His eyes were filled with disbelief. He didn't understand how I managed in such a short time to obtain the surveillance video from the villa area before Xiao Yun Qi could recover. I said coldly, "Great commander, arbitrarily forging your invitation. How should that be dealt with?" Xiao Yun Qi's heart suddenly tightened, but the next moment, he looked at me furiously. His image in the upper echelons of D City was directly destroyed by me, with the mentality that, even if he died, he would definitely drag me down with him. Xiao Yun Qi suddenly laughed. "So what if I was the one who gave you the invitation? If you didn't want to sneak into the banquet, even if I placed a fake invitation in front of you, you wouldn't have come. In the end, a man like you is still just a small fry, trying to climb into high society." Hearing this, Fang Shen chuckled and shook her head, unable to integrate into high society. "Young man, do you know who is standing in front of you?" As soon as Fang Shen's words fell, the surroundings fell silent. Everyone looked at Fang Shen in astonishment, thinking I had some extraordinary identity. Xiao Yun Qi was instantly flustered. A bad feeling rose in his heart. The commander asked nervously, "Great commander, this gentleman is..." Fang Shen didn't answer directly. Instead, she met my gaze and said to everyone, "You all know. The purpose of me organizing this banquet today but the new great commander wants to rest for a while, having just returned from the Outer Realm battlefield. If he were to reveal himself to everyone at this time, there would only be endless trouble. Therefore, he couldn't come in person today, but he sent a trusted aide to thank all of you for coming to congratulate him. As soon as Feng Shen's words fell, the way everyone looked at me changed. They all understood. Feng Shen was saying that I was the great commander's trusted aide. Xiao Yunqi stared at me blankly. He couldn't help but mutter, how is this possible? If Gu Chen is the trusted aide of that great commander, then everything he said before was true. At this moment, he suddenly felt embarrassed. The most terrifying thing was, he had even said in front of Feng Shen, Gu Chen can never enter high society. Xiao Yunqi felt like he had become a joke. Hearing this, Xia Xi was completely stunned. She thought I was just from an ordinary background, but wanted to live off a woman and climb the social ladder. She never thought I would become the trusted aide of the new great commander. This way, Xia Qingming was already more capable than her. Now, she had found a man valued by the new great commander. So, what chance did she have to become the future head of the Xia family? Xi felt a wave of defeat. Xiao Yunqi's mother, Song Xiuling, was also shocked. A bad feeling arose in her heart. Zhang Yunru frowned. Looking at me, she said, the new great commander's trusted aide. Her brother is a one-star senior commander. So, whose rank is higher, her brother's or this man's? Before Jiang Yunro could figure it out, the commander had already walked up to me and saluted me with utmost seriousness. Before, I didn't understand the truth and jumped to conclusions. Commander Gu, my apologies. I was too abrupt. I smiled faintly. You were just doing your job impartially. I turned my head to look at Feng Shen. Great commander. Nothing major happened today. The commander was acting according to the rules. There's no need to send her to the military prison to reflect. Feng Shen nodded slightly. She looked at the commander. Aren't you going to thank Commander Gu? The commander's expression was solemn. She looked at me seriously. Thank you, Commander Gu. Seeing this, Feng Shen said nothing more. Instead, she looked at the crowd. Everyone. Today's banquet. Besides celebrating the appointment of Xia country's fourth great commander, there is also an important matter to announce. Everyone snapped to attention at once. Feng Shen spoke with a solemn expression. After discussions between myself and the other two commanders, the authority of Xia country's new great commander has been determined. Hearing this, everyone's expression turned serious. From today onwards, the new great commander will take over the two major war zones of D City and Yun City. He will command all matters, big and small, within the war zones, and have the highest decision-making authority in the war zones. As soon as the words fell, the scene suddenly fell silent. No one expected that Feng Shen would want me to manage two major war zones. Even Feng Shen and the other two great commanders, each only managed one war zone. Before everyone could think deeply about it, Song Shuai-ling suddenly spoke up. Great commander. To have the new great commander directly manage two major war zones, isn't that a bit too radical? The Xiao family, as one of the five great families, their foundation was built on commanding the D-City war zone. She knew that standing up now would displease Feng Shen, and even offend the new great commander, but it concerned the core interests of the Xiao family. She had to fight for it. A family head who had a close relationship with the Xiao family chimed in. Head of the Xiao family is right. Two major war zones are enough to affect the national strength of Xia country. I hope the great commander will reconsider. Seeing this, several other family heads also stood up. Please, great commander, reconsider. Hearing this, Feng Shen showed little surprise on her face. She just smiled and spoke. Don't be hasty. I haven't finished speaking. In the next half-month, the new great commander will, within the two major war zones, select the 100 most outstanding soldiers. After undergoing direct training from the new great commander, the survivors from these 100 people will be directly promoted to senior commander and earn the qualification to be challenged to enter the new Mang main city. As soon as Feng Shen finished speaking, everyone gasped. They looked at Feng Shen with longing. The new Mang main city. That's a place every citizen of Xi country dreams of entering. The first family head who had stood up to support Song Shuiling asked cautiously, Great commander, I wonder what the selection criteria are for that 100-man troop. Feng Shen smiled faintly. She turned to look at me. You'll have to ask this gentleman. I looked at Feng Shen blandly. I might not know. When did I agree to what she said? Last time. She forced me into it. Making me agree to become a great commander was one thing. This time, she's doing it again. Feng Shen felt my gaze and became even more flustered. She showed a pleading expression. I saw Feng Shen's look and finally sighed. I gave her a look that said, not again. I turned to look at everyone and slowly said, in the next half-month, I will select 100 soldiers to form the 100-man troop. If any of the esteemed family heads present have suitable candidates, you can directly give me the information of your nominees. Hearing this, everyone enthusiastically fawned over me. Xiao Yunqi even squeezed his way in front of me, offering with both hands the gift he had originally prepared for the new great commander. Song Shuai-ling watched everyone flock towards me, her face showing defeat and despair. It wouldn't be long Before the Xiao family might no longer exist in the imperial city, Xiao Yunqi looked at me, his fists clenched tightly, wondering why I stole the woman he liked, and also became the center of attention. Facing the overly enthusiastic crowd, my voice was cold and deep. I came to attend the banquet, not to receive gifts. Esteemed family heads, please take your things back. Everyone continuously praised me. Next, they introduced their children and grandchildren to me. They even wanted to set me up on blind dates. I instantly got a headache. I stiffly turned my head to look at Xia Qingming. Xia Qingming suddenly smiled. It was beautiful, but without warmth. Commander Gu, you're certainly surrounded by a lot of people. I wonder if there's a spot for me in that 100-man troop. Hearing this, everyone froze. Shocked by Xia Qingming's directness, the head of the Sai family also hurried out from the crowd. He looked at me with a gentle voice. Commander Gu, my daughter speaks frankly. If you feel offended, I hope you won't take it to heart. But with her abilities, she should be qualified to join the 100-man troop. I hope you can consider it. The head of the Xia family looked anxious, full of expectation. I was feeling extremely conflicted. If I dared to disagree, my baby would probably explode on the spot. D City Military Department. I looked at the head of the Xia family and nodded slightly. Xia Qingming's abilities are indeed not bad. Of course, there is a place for her in the 100-man troop. The people around were all embarrassed to see this. The first spot in the 100-man troop was decided so easily, but they thought it wasn't that Xia Qingming's skills were not bad, but that her looks were not bad, which is why she could join the troop. The next moment, everyone started introducing their beautiful younger family members to me. Commander Gu, my granddaughter is the hottest big celebrity right now. Many male students say she is the most beautiful starlet. This is her photo. Have a look. I saw my baby's face getting darker and darker. I quickly looked at everyone and said, if you all just tell me like this, I won't know who you're recommending. How about this? Each family gets 3 nomination spots. Go back and choose 3 suitable candidates. In 10 days, bring them to the D-City War Zone, along with the elites of the 2 major war zones, to compete for a spot in the 100-man troop. Everyone's face lit up with joy. Each family has 3 nomination spots, and it seems it's not even limited to one's own family. This is a huge blessing. They thank me. In that case, we thank you here, Commander Gu. Under the watchful eyes of everyone around, I didn't dare to look at Xia Qingming. I turned to look at Xiao Yunqi. Xiao Yunqi was also staring at me, filled with unbearable resentment and jealousy. He would definitely find a chance to make me understand the consequences of offending him. Before Xiao Yunqi could think, Song Xue Ling pulled his arm. She looked at Feng Shen and forced a smile. Great Commander, I have some matters at home. I'll be leaving first. Feng Shen nodded slightly. Take this to your father on your way out. After speaking, she threw an envelope to Song Xue Ling. Song Xue Ling immediately had a bad feeling, but she still bent down to pick it up. She nodded at Feng Shen as a sign of acknowledgement, and then led Xiao Yunqi away. I took out my phone, wanting to order my men to eliminate Xiao Yunqi, pulling out the problem by the roots. But before I could send the message, Feng Shen pressed my arm. She used a voice only we could hear. The old master of the Xiao family, 4-star senior commander Xiao Rongguang, is already near retirement age. As long as he doesn't commit a major crime like treason, I wouldn't touch him. Unfortunately, the Xiao family offended you. I have now dismissed him from the military department. Without him, the Xiao family is now like a grasshopper in late autumn. They won't be jumping around for much longer. For Xiao Yunqi to become a high-level warrior at his age, he might be a talent worth cultivating. Once the Xiao family is at a dead end, he should be brought into the military department to contribute to Xia country's strength. For the sake of the country, spare his life. My finger, about to send the message, paused. I didn't think Feng Shen would go to such lengths for me, yet she only made a simple request. If I still refused, it would be too heartless. I looked up at Feng Shen. All right, I agree with you. But if he dares to cross me again in the future, don't blame me for being ruthless. Seeing this, Feng Shen suddenly laughed. Of course. After that, I said goodbye to everyone and left directly with Xia Qingming. After leaving the hotel, I went to pull Xia Qingming's hand. Xia Qingming tried to dodge but couldn't. I grabbed it, and she couldn't break free even when she struggled. She stopped walking. Her slightly cold eyes stared at me. Let go of me. I tilted my head and smiled at her. Jealous? Xia Qingming shot me a cold glare. Jealous? Who would I be jealous of? Who could possibly make me jealous? I explained with a smile in my eyes. Those people recommending some big celebrity, I haven't even met her. Besides, I already have you. I don't even look at other women. However, after I spoke, the air around us grew even colder. Xia Qingming sneered. Haven't met, but you remembered their profession after hearing it just once. I opened my mouth. I was born with a good memory. What can I do about it? Xia Qingming snorted coldly. You make it sound so nice. In the end, you still gave them a chance. I chuckled and asked, didn't you say you weren't jealous? Xia Qingming said angrily, let go of me. I have to go back. I leaned in slightly. Xia Qingming tilted her head as if to avoid me. Too bad she was too slow. I kissed the corner of her lips. She acted as if she had been violated. She wiped the corner of her lips in disgust. You're already organizing a harem troop. Why are you still bothering me? I was a bit speechless. The great commander told me to train the 100-man troop. How did it become a harem troop? Xia Qingming's face grew colder. Very good. You're not even refuting it. It seems you really do want to treat the 100-man troop as a harem troop. From now on, just have your harem troop accompany you. I won't be by your side getting in the way. After speaking, Xia Qingming wanted to pull her hand away. However, just then, Chen Wan'er suddenly walked towards us. I voluntarily let go of Xia Qingming's hand and smiled. I feel like the first member of the harem troop, besides you, has been decided. What do you think, baby? Xia Qingming gave a smile, devoid of warmth. Then I must congratulate you. After speaking, Xia Qingming directly turned to leave. Just as she turned, I grabbed her left hand. With a pull, I brought her body directly towards me. I seized the opportunity and kissed her thin lips. Before Xia Qingming could resist, I leaned in and whispered in her ear, Baby, no matter how good other women are, none of them are as gentle, generous, beautiful, and elegant as you. In my eyes, all the women in the world combined are not worth even one of your fingers. Xia Qingming, who was about to push me away, paused. A faint smile tugged at the corners of her lips. But quickly, she put on a serious, cold face and snorted. You think a little casual flattery can make today's matter go away? I kissed her again. Don't be angry anymore. Xia Qingming unconsciously wanted to reply, I am not angry, but realizing those words weren't convincing, she glared at me. I said flattery won't work. Go be with the first member of your harem. After saying that, she turned and walked away without any hesitation. Her little assistant, who had been watching for a long time, saw this and hurried after her. He said, his young lady can't just forgive that man so quickly. But why? Why does he feel like his young lady is walking slower and slower? I stood on the spot, watching Xia Qingming's slow walking pace. I laughed. In this world, how can there be a girl as cute as my baby? She's basically writing the words, hurry up and chase me all over her face. Chen Wan'er had already walked to my side. She asked with a complex expression, you're not going after her? I retracted my gaze and didn't answer. I asked back, do you need something? Chen Wan'er smiled. Today, I came across the freshman timetable. I thought you might be able to use it. Since I had nothing else to do, I brought it for you. Chen Wan'er handed me a stack of papers. I gave her a polite smile. Thank you for your kind intentions, but after the military training, I probably won't be able to attend classes according to the academy's schedule. You should give this schedule to a freshman who needs it. It's getting late. I'll head back to the academy first. After I spoke, I glanced at Xia Qingming, standing stiffly in front of the Bentley, and turned to walk back to the academy. Chen Wan'er watched my retreating back. Her eyes showed a hint of loneliness. Just then, the sound of a car door slamming shut rang out. Inside the car, Xia Qingming was exuding a cold aura. The little assistant was so scared he was trembling. He hesitated for a moment and braced himself to speak. Young lady, didn't your man refuse to interact with that Chen Wan'er? He didn't even accept the thing she gave him, so why are you? However, before he could finish, Xia Qingming shot him a look. The little assistant immediately shut his mouth. Xia Qingming asked coldly, you think the most important thing is whether he interacts with those women or whether he accepts their things? The little assistant said carefully. Isn't it? Xia Qingming sneered. How did he find such a stupid assistant? He'll have to be replaced sooner or later. Suddenly feeling that the little assistant was even dumber, she didn't want to say anything more. She directly ordered, back to the residence. The little assistant felt it was a pity. He said, young lady, you went through so much trouble to get 2 days off, and now you're just going back? Xia Qingming asked back. What else? The little assistant felt that his young lady was a bit resentful. Before he could think it through, Xia Qingming instructed, remember, no matter how much you like a man, if you see him do something wrong, you must punish him severely. Otherwise, hell becomes spoiled and arrogant, thinking that, without him, you can't live. The little assistant's eyes suddenly lit up. So, young lady, how do you plan to punish that man? Xia Qingming suddenly fell silent. A struggle flashed in her eyes. Finally, she spoke with cold indifference. Tomorrow, I won't go to the academy to deliver breakfast to him. I want him to taste the fear of losing me at any moment. The little assistant was speechless. Just then, the phone's message notification suddenly sounded. Xia Qingming stared at the phone screen for nearly half a minute. She snorted coldly. Only thinking of showing weakness to me now? It's too late. The next morning, the little assistant was awakened by the noise in the kitchen. He ran to the kitchen door and saw Xia Qingming busy. He stood frozen on the spot, staring blankly at Xia Qingming, and asked, didn't you say you wanted to severely punish your man? Aren't you delivering breakfast to him today? Xia Qingming said, matter-of-factly. Who said? I was delivering it to him. The little assistant was confused. Not delivering it to him, then this is. Xia Qingming cut him off directly. You deliver it. The little assistant pointed to himself. Unbelievable. 7 a.m. The military training instructors appeared on the academy's field. They looked at the surrounding students with interest. Not far away, a female student saw Gomuya and subconsciously called out, "Sister." This person was Gu Jing, Gumuya's younger sister. The tall female student next to Gu Jing heard this and asked, a bit surprised, "Gu Jing, your sister is an instructor for this military training?" Gu Jing nodded. The tall female student was slightly intrigued. Just then, she suddenly received a message from her boyfriend. "And Chen, babe, remember the day before yesterday? The guy named Gu Chen who caused me to be beaten up by Lin Wei Chen? I found out which dorm he's in." The tall female student, who was Xiao Ran, glanced at Gomuya. She quickly replied to the message that Gu Chen is a freshman, right? "I just found out. My friend's sister is an instructor for this military training. Send me his dorm building number. I'll go over with you. If he doesn't apologize to you today, I'll have my friend's sister, the instructor's sister, train him to death." A middle-aged woman walked into the academy. The headmaster followed her in a wheelchair. "Your Excellency, Commander, you've come so suddenly. Is it because?" The middle-aged woman said, "Commander Feng told me to assist the new great commander in creating the 100-man troop. I came to see if there are any good prospects here." The headmaster nodded and bowed. "I'll show you around." I finished changing into my military uniform and walked out of the dorm with Luo Bai and Tang Ba Shan. But we hadn't taken more than a few steps before we heard whispers around us. Tang Ba Shan walked up to a male student. His expression was ice cold. "Say what you just said one more time." That male student was clearly not someone to be trifled with. Hearing this, he chuckled lightly. "I said this lowly peasant dared to harass Her Highness Chen Wan. We should have the headmaster expel him." Before the student could finish, a slap landed across his face. Tang Ba Shan's voice was icy. "From now on, if I see anyone disrespecting my friend Gu Chen, I, Tang Ba Shan, will be your sworn enemy." Hearing this, everyone looked shocked, thinking Tang Ba Shan was crazy to protect a country bumpkin like me. Before everyone could recover, and Chen's mocking voice was heard. "Young Master Tang, you really have a grand presence." Seeing in Chen, everyone felt a sense of relief. Tang Ba Shan sneered. "Young Master An, your presence is probably no less grand than mine." And Chen glanced at him blandly. Then, with a cold expression, he stared at me and said, "If you don't want me to reveal your messy affairs with Lin Wei Chen's ex-girlfriend, then get the hell out of D-City for me right now." Hearing this, all the students' eyes widened. They didn't expect that I not only harassed Chen Wan, but also had an ambiguous relationship with Lin Wei Chen's girlfriend. I stared coldly at Chen. "I'd like to know, what messy affairs do I have with Gu Muya?" And Chen looked at me gloomily. "So, you don't want to leave with your dignity intact?" Before I could speak, the tall female student next to him suddenly spoke up. "You don't want to leave? That's fine. But I must kindly remind you, during the Academy's annual military training, there are always a few freshmen who get trained into the hospital. In the upcoming military training, my friend's sister is one of the instructors for this military training. If you don't want to be sent to the hospital during military training, then immediately kneel before my boyfriend right now and apologize to him." Hearing this, everyone was filled with schadenfreude in everyone's eyes. As long as I wanted to get through the military training safely and stay at the Imperial City Academy, kneeling today was unavoidable. But I wasn't the least bit flustered. I calmly focused my attention on the tall female student and asked, "Which instructor is your friend's sister?" The tall female student was a bit surprised to hear that. She didn't expect that not only was I not afraid, but I would also ask such a question. She smiled ambiguously. "What, if I tell you who it is? Are you going to go look for her or something?" Everyone immediately burst into laughter. In their eyes, my face didn't have what it takes to attract women. Even if there really were students who seduced instructors to reduce their military training workload, it was a big taboo. If I wanted to do something with the instructor, I would probably die a miserable death. I looked at the tall female student again and asked, "Just tell me who she is first. Then I'll carefully consider your proposal." The tall female student saw my persistence and assumed that I didn't believe her sister was one of the military training instructors this time. She sneered. "Truly, you won't cry until you see the coffin. Among the instructors, this time, there's one, surnamed Gu. I wonder if you know her." I looked at her calmly. "All right, I'll tell her to take good care of you." The moment I finished speaking, the surrounding atmosphere fell silent. The next moment, the laughter grew louder. "Xiao Ran, did you hear that? Not only is he not afraid of your threat, he even wants to turn it back on you, telling your sister to take good care of you. You'd better be careful." Xiao Ran heard the instigations from the crowd. She sneered disdainfully. Xiao Ran looked at me like I was an idiot. She was no longer interested in wasting her breath on me. She said coldly, "I'll give you 10 seconds to consider. After 10 seconds, if you still haven't knelt and apologized to my boyfriend, you can just quietly wait for death." After speaking, she started counting down. 10, 9. Before Xiao Ran could continue counting, I suddenly spoke up, interrupting her. "No need," I said flatly. "You don't need to give me this chance." Hearing this, everyone around me stared at me, stunned. They thought I really didn't want to stay at the academy anymore. I continued. I look down on this so-called chance of yours, but I can give you a chance. I don't care if you're a new student or an old one. You will definitely be in the upcoming military training. If you can't take it, you can. In front of all the students, kneel before me and apologize. If I am in a good mood, I might forgive you. Hearing this, everyone was immediately dumbfounded. They thought I was committing suicide. They looked at me with schadenfreude, eagerly anticipating me making a fool of myself during military training. Xiao Ran wasn't angry. Instead, she laughed. All right, then we'll just have to wait and see. After speaking, she directly pulled Chen away, and Chen tilted his head to look at me. His smile was profound and meaningful. He knew I was talking about Gu Muye. He wanted me to be completely ruined and discredited, then be kicked out of the academy and the military department. Xiao Ran and Chen left. The crowd didn't. They were curious where I got my arrogant attitude from. A stern voice suddenly rang out. Everyone looked over at the sound. A student immediately gasped, Director Chen. If I remember correctly, Director Chen is the person in charge of this military training. I heard Director Chen has a good relationship with Commander Jiang Siki. If anyone offends him, their future could be ruined. Amidst the crowd's discussions, Director Chen came before us. His cold gaze swept across the students. Finally, it landed on Yang Li. He had just been slapped by Tang Beishan. Yang Li hurriedly took a few steps forward. He pointed at me and Tang Beishan, Director. I was just talking with a few friends. Everything was fine. Then they suddenly slapped me. Director Chen's face was gloomy. He turned his head to question me. You casually hit a fellow student on campus, but before I could open my mouth to reply, Tang Beishan immediately said indignantly, Director Chen, it's these upperclassmen who heard Chen Weiner likes Gu Chen. They were jealous of him and came looking for trouble with him. Director Chen was a bit surprised to hear that. He remembered that his son also likes Chen Weiner, but he was always rejected by Chen Weiner. It turned out to be because of me. Director Chen looked at me. A trace of doubt flashed in his eyes. Chen Weiner would like such an ordinary boy. Yang Li hurriedly spoke up, Director Chen. I think as long as someone is a normal person, they wouldn't believe Chen Weiner would like him. We haven't sunk so low as to be jealous of this kind of man. Everyone nodded in agreement. That's right, Director. Her Highness Chen Weiner even rejected the principal's son. How could she possibly like this kind of man? Wang Boshen was so angry he was about to vomit blood. He took a deep breath. What proof do you have to prove? That the one Chen Weiner likes isn't Gu Chen? Yang Li sneered. Of course we have proof. After speaking, he turned to look at Luo Bai. Luo Bai, the one Chen Weiner likes isn't he? Your country bumpkin roommate. It's you. Isn't it? Hearing this, the surrounding crowd's eyes lit up. Everyone knew. Luo Bai and I both had feelings for Chen Weiner, and Luo Bai was a big celebrity. I was just a country bumpkin from a small city. No matter who Chen Weiner liked, Luo Bai could only say that Chen Weiner liked him. However, Luo Bai looked helplessly at Yang Li. Senior Yang Li, I can't do it. I really can't do it. Everyone was immediately stunned. Luo Bai feigned helplessness. He sighed. Director Chen, these upperclassmen. It's true that they were jealous because Chen Weiner likes Gu Chen. They took the initiative to cause trouble for Chen. I really don't know what Gu Chen did wrong. He's so kind and handsome. Is it so unusual that Chen Weiner likes him? The surrounding crowd was completely petrified. Luo Bai is actually helping his love rival speak. Yang Li was also stunned. Doesn't Luo Bai like Chen Weiner? How could he be speaking up for me? Before Yang Li and the others could recover, Luo Bai spoke to Director Chen again. Director, it was these upperclassmen who initiated the provocation. They were also the ones who started the fight. Gu Chen and Tang Beishan were just defending themselves. I hope you can follow the academy's regulations and punish them. Hearing this, everyone became a little restless. Yang Li asked Luo Bai to be a witness, but Luo Bai turned on them instead. Whatever they said now would be wrong. Director Chen's face was ice cold. I don't care about the reason. Initiating a fight violates the academy's regulations. He raised his hand and pointed at me and Tang Beishan. You and you'll each receive a major demerit. And later, at the military training opening ceremony, you will publicly repent for the crime of disrespecting your seniors. After speaking, he turned his head to look at Luo Bai. He continued, although you didn't fight, you're an accomplice. Go write a 3,000-word self-criticism. Submit it to my office by 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Chen Weiner was the future daughter-in-law he had his eyes on. He wanted all the male students to understand the consequences of fantasizing about Chen Weiner. During the upcoming military training, he would also speak to Jiang Siki, telling her to take good care of the three of us. He wanted us to regret competing with his son for a woman. The crowd was stunned. Soon after, their faces lit up with glee. Director Chen is wise. Having such an excellent administrator like Director Chen is an honor for the entire D-City Academy. Being praised, Director Chen felt pleased. He turned to look at us. What I just said, did you hear me? Tang Beishan opened his mouth angrily. Why you? But before he could continue, I pulled his arm. What if I say no? Hearing that, Director Chen suddenly laughed. He looked at me mockingly. If you don't comply, then get the hell out of D City Academy. Hearing that, I nodded. Then get out. Director Chen was stunned. What did you say? The surrounding students also couldn't believe their ears. I smiled, raised my hand, and took out a golden badge, the one the old headmaster gave me, and threw it in Director Chen's face. My voice was cold. Di Cheng, Academy doesn't need trash like you. You can pack your things and leave. The surroundings fell deathly silent. No one thought that I would be audacious enough to throw something in Director Chen's face. Even less did they think I would dare call Director Chen trash and tell him to pack his things and get lost. Director Chen was stunned for a moment before he recovered, but he wasn't angry. Instead, he bent down to pick up the badge from the ground. He couldn't help but gasp. He raised his head sharply to look at me. Staring intently, he questioned, "Where did you get this badge?" Hearing this, the surrounding crowd simultaneously looked at the headmaster's badge in his hand. Everyone immediately gasped. No one thought that what I had just thrown in Director Chen's face was actually the headmaster's badge. In that case, Director Chen might really have to pack up and leave. I smiled lightly. Where did I get it? What do you think? Hearing this, Director Chen gave me a cold look. You dare to steal the headmaster's badge? Do you have a death wish? Everyone was stunned. The next moment, they looked at me coldly. If it was stolen, then that explains it. Director Chen looked at me with cold eyes. I am going to find the headmaster to verify this right now. If I can prove that you obtained this badge through illicit means, you will face consequences you cannot bear. I looked at him flatly. If you can't prove that I stole this badge, then you won't just be leaving. It's not that simple. Director Chen snorted coldly. He walked towards the headmaster's office. Everyone was about to follow. But then they saw Chen Weiner approaching. A male student suddenly stood up. Your Highness Chen. Many in the academy say you like Go Chen. Is this true? Chen Weiner was flustered upon hearing this. Was her affection that obvious? Chen Weiner's reaction was no different from an admission. Everyone looked at me with jealousy. But Chen Weiner paid them no mind. She walked up to me, preparing to give me breakfast. At this moment, Xia Qingming's little assistant trotted over. Mr. Gu, this is from me. The little assistant unconsciously wanted to say the words, my young miss. But thinking of her young miss instructions, she immediately corrected herself. Mr. Gu, this is the breakfast I bought for you. I hope you don't mind. Hearing this, everyone gloated. They thought I was too timing and about to crash and burn. Chen Weiner would probably be very disappointed in me. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Chen Weiner looked at the little assistant and forced a smile. She silently withdrew her hand and quickly turned to leave. Everyone looked at Chen Weiner's retreating back, feeling pity for her, while also gloating over my misfortune. They thought I was too timing. Chen Weiner must feel disgusted just looking at me now. I brought this all upon myself. This little beauty who brought me breakfast probably wants to dump me too. Hearing this, the little assistant was a bit confused. I smiled faintly. Help me thank your young miss. The little assistant was flustered again. She had clearly said she bought it. Why was I thanking her young miss? I took the breakfast from the little assistant's hands. But I saw in the bag, there was enough breakfast for 3 people. The corner of my mouth twitched slightly. Does my baby think I am a pig? I divided the breakfast into 3 portions. I gave 2 portions to Luo Bai and Tang Beishan. The 2 of them looked at me in surprise and thanked me. We ate as we walked towards the school field. The little assistant looked at our retreating backs in shock. She felt like dying. Her young miss had spent the whole morning personally making that breakfast, and I had shared it with others. If her young miss found out, she would definitely be furious. We arrived at the school field just as we finished breakfast. Luo Bai threw the packaging into the trash can and said to me, I always thought Her Highness Feng was a cold ice mountain. I never thought she'd know to send someone to buy you breakfast. He had met the little assistant before and knew she was Xie Qingming's assistant, so he didn't misunderstand my relationship with the little assistant. Tang Beishan also nodded upon hearing this. I didn't think so either, that a steel-straight woman like Her Highness Feng could be so thoughtful. This breakfast is also too delicious. Brother Gu, when you go back, help me ask her where she bought it. I raised an eyebrow. Ask a steel-straight woman if she knows how to make breakfast? Luo Bei and Tang Beishan were completely stunned. The 2 of them widened their eyes. Brother Gu, this breakfast wasn't handmade by Xie Qingming, was it? I naturally nodded. Yes. In my previous life, I had eaten breakfast made by Xie Qingming many times. I could tell it was her handiwork with just one glance. Luo Bai and Tang Beishan had complicated expressions. They also really wanted a girlfriend like that. But they weren't jealous for long. Suddenly, they saw a figure. Tang Beishan asked doubtfully. Director Chen? Didn't he go to the headmaster's office? Why did he appear there? Luo Bai frowned. Right, that is Director Chen, the person next to him. Judging by the uniform, it's the chief instructor for this military training. Hearing that, I looked over. At this time, Jiang Siki heard Director Chen's request, her face showing doubt. There's a student who proactively requested to increase the training difficulty. Director Chen hurriedly nodded. The military department, aren't they selecting for the 100-man troop? That student has ideas about a spot in the 100-man troop. If it weren't for the academy's requirement that all new students must participate in military training, he would have found a place to train on his own. Jiang Siki was still doubtful. Why didn't you have him come tell me himself? Director Chen said. He said he wants to rely on his own ability to get into the 100-man troop. He was worried that if someone saw him interacting with you, they would think he's using connections. To avoid suspicion, that's why he entrusted me to come. After Jiang Siki heard this, she still frowned deeply. Director Chen was also anxious. He didn't go find the headmaster just now. He believed the headmaster had given me the badge willingly. Now, the only way he could stay at the academy was to have Jiang Siki train me to death, to have me sent to the hospital, or even kill me directly. Only then could he escape this predicament. Before Jiang Siki could reply, He Bao ran over. Commander Jiang. This year's student representative, Gu Jing, suddenly looked for Gu Mue. He told Gu Mui to give a male student surnamed Gu an increased training workload. Jiang Siki turned to look at Director Chen. Although Director Chen was surprised, he still nodded. That's right. The one who requested to increase the training intensity is this student Gu. He also looks down on the instructors a bit. He said you all are wounded and crippled soldiers. He thinks people like you, training him, a future member of the 100-man troop, is an insult to him. If it weren't for the academy, requiring him to participate in military training, he wouldn't even want to look at you. He Bao coldly interrupted him. Audacious. His face was so dark he looked like he wanted to kill someone. He turned his head to look at Jiang Siki and said, Commander Jiang, we must teach that student a lesson. Let him understand how high the sky is and how thick the earth is. Otherwise, this kind of person will definitely become the scum of society in the future. Jiang Siki was initially a bit hesitant. Now she also believed Director Chen's words. She nodded at He Bao. All right. The class that student Gu is in. I'll leave it to you to train. 10 minutes later, the opening ceremony for the military training began on time. The new student representative, Gu Jing, gave a speech. After that, Director Chen went up to the high platform. He looked down at the new students. Hello everyone, I am Director Chen, the person in charge of this military training. Here, I must praise one student. This student proactively requested to increase the intensity of the training. His courage is commendable. As the instructor team leader, He Bao, because of him, has chosen his class to conduct high-intensity training with the entire class. Everyone here, please give him a round of applause as encouragement. The moment Director Chen finished speaking, all the students froze. As for my class, every single person's face was filled with rage. They wanted to find the culprit and slice him into 1,000 pieces. He Bao looked at the ugly expressions of my classmates. A sense of satisfaction welled up in his heart. He took a step forward. His voice was cold and serious. This student Gu, I greatly admire your courage that comes from not knowing your place. Now, please step forward. Let all the new students get to know you, and let them supervise you as you complete the upcoming 10-fold military training tasks. The moment He Bao's words fell, a figure was seen stepping out. Seeing my figure, he didn't react in time. His mind roared. It went completely blank. Jiang Siki and the other 9 military training instructors also froze on the spot. Jiang Siki looked at me. Her entire being was in chaos. She knew I was a new student at Daicheng Academy. She also knew I would be participating in the military training, but she never thought that the student surnamed Gu would be me. Jiang Siki looked at Director Chen beside her. Her gaze was like a knife. She wanted to slice Director Chen into 1,000 pieces. The other 9 military training instructors were stunned for a moment. They all looked at He Bao with pity. He Bao came to his senses. He looked at my figure below. He wanted to slap himself a few times. The students didn't see the instructor's expressions. They looked at my back, their eyes filled with ridicule and contempt, thinking I was trying to get attention in front of everyone, and would surely pay a heavy price. My gaze swept over He Bao. Finally, it landed on Director Chen. This Director Chen, the student Gu you spoke of, should be me. The surrounding students were stunned again. They clearly felt that I was committing suicide. They knew Director Chen had an excellent relationship with Jiang Siki, yet I dared to use this tone to speak to Director Chen. Did I not want to stay at the academy anymore? He Bao unconsciously wanted to deny it on behalf of Director Chen. However, before he could speak, Director Chen snorted coldly. He said, An hour ago, you told me yourself that to enter the newly formed Great Commander's 100-man troop, you wanted to increase the training difficulty 10-fold. What? Could it be that student Go wants to regret it? If you regret it, withdraw from D City Academy right now. The academy doesn't accept students who go back on their word like you. The moment Director Chen finished speaking, everyone looked at me with ridicule. They whispered, a 10-fold workload. When today's military training is over, it's hard to say if he'll even be able to walk off the field. I ignored them. My eyes were fixed on Director Chen. After class tonight, come with me to the headmaster's office. Otherwise, you'll bear the consequences yourself. The old headmaster was absent from the military training opening ceremony. Even if I took out the headmaster's badge now, it wouldn't be of much use. It would be better to take Director Chen there directly tonight and make him take responsibility. The students didn't understand when they heard this. This fool went to the headmaster to apply for a scholarship and now thinks he's close to the headmaster. His telling Director Chen to go with him to the headmaster's office is just humiliating himself. They had already decided to follow me to the headmaster's office to watch the show. When Director Chen heard this, his expression suddenly stiffened. He clenched his fists. After class, he couldn't risk meeting the headmaster with me, so he absolutely could not let me leave the field standing. Director Chen turned to look at He Bao. The voice from his mouth faintly reached everyone's ears. Instructor A. Bao. This student is insubordinate. In the following military training, I hope you will give him special attention. Strive to make him correct his mistakes and become a new man. Hearing this, the students looked at me with schadenfreude. Indeed, one shouldn't be too reckless. Otherwise, one careless move could lead to suicide. Everyone looked at me, eagerly anticipating me being as tired as a dog after the military training and being carried like a chick by Director Chen to the headmaster's office. But when Jiang Siqi and the other instructors heard Director Chen's words, their foreheads immediately broke out in a cold sweat. The 9 instructors turned to look at He Bao. He Bao stared at Director Chen, truly wanting to kill him. Director Chen felt He Bao's gaze and spoke with confusion. Instructor He Bao. But He Bao was furious. He couldn't, on this occasion, send a fist flying at Director Chen. The students looked at He Bao, thinking he was considering how to teach me a lesson. They looked at me with pity. But He Bao spoke, trembling with anger. Director Chen, the military training procedures are all clearly regulated. Earlier, I said I wanted to increase this student's workload. That was because you said he requested it himself. But your words now are asking me to disregard the regulations and be harsh on a student. If I do as you say, and something happens, can you bear the responsibility? The students were all stunned to hear this. Why is this instructor He Bao agreeing and is instead confronting Director Chen? Director Chen was also completely stunned. After a moment, he finally managed to force a smile. In that case, Instructor He Bao, just follow the regulations and arrange the tenfold workload he requested himself. He Bao shot him a cold glance. He said nothing, but great waves were already surging in his heart. The thought of facing me soon made his scalp tingle. He immediately wanted to slap himself even more. Seeing that He Bao didn't refute him, Director Chen secretly sighed in relief. He looked at the crowd below and announced, I now declare, for the 88th class of new students of Daicheng Academy, the military training now begins. The moment his words fell, applause immediately erupted from below. The teachers and instructors on the stage descended. He Bao looked at the few instructors beside him. Finally, he locked his eyes on Gumui. He hurriedly approached her. He whispered, Comrade Gumui, I heard that you and that male god. I've heard you have a blood relationship with Commander Ju. To improve your relationship, I'll assign his class too. But before He Bao could finish, Gumui cut him off. Team leader He Bao, I've already chosen my sister's class. It's set and can't be changed. Besides, such a great opportunity, how could I be so shameless as to fight you for it? Before He Bao could reply, Gu Muye seemed to see something and hurriedly said, Ah, no more talking. It looks like my cousin is calling me. I am going over first. After speaking, Gu Muye ran off. He Bao turned to look at the few people beside him, but before he could open his mouth, those few people also ran off. He Bao looked like he wanted to cry but had no tears. He stood in place, took a few deep breaths, then walked towards my class. I have returned to my class 6. Just as I stood firm, a sarcastic voice rang out. A tenfold workload. Student Gu really has courage. I tilted my head and saw Xiao Ran looking at me with a fake smile. I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. I hadn't even had someone drag her to military training, and she had already come running. Just as Xiao Ran finished speaking, everyone in the class looked at me with hostility. What courage? He's just committing suicide. A tenfold workload. It's fine if he wants to kill himself, but he wants to drag us down with him. Everyone looked at me with hostility, then looked hopefully at Xiao Ran. Teaching assistant Xiao, can we change classes? Xiao Ran just smiled and shook her head. Classes were assigned before enrollment. They can't be easily changed. Disappointment flashed in everyone's eyes. But quickly, Xiao Ran's voice rang out again. You can't change classes, but that doesn't mean you can't drop out. During today's military training, you all should persuade him. Tell him to voluntarily withdraw from the academy. If he drops out, it'll be beneficial for both himself and for all of you. The students were stunned. Soon, some of them looked at me, meaningfully. I just glanced at everyone flatly, then fixed my cold gaze on Xiao Ran, and said, this tenfold workload. You have a part in this. Xiao Ran laughed contemptuously. Student Gu, I don't understand what you mean. That tenfold workload. Didn't you request it yourself? What does it have to do with me? I acted as if I didn't hear her denial and said flatly, since you're the one who requested the tenfold workload increase, then you will complete these tasks yourself. Xiao Ran was stunned. She looked like she had heard a joke and laughed out loud. I'll complete it? Fine by me, but you'll have to ask if Instructor He Bao agrees. The students looked at me like I was an idiot. Instructor He Bao isn't stupid. How could he agree to this kind of request from me? If I voluntarily drop out now, I can still leave without embarrassment. I scanned the crowd and asked unhurriedly, "You want me to leave that badly?" When the class heard this, their expressions suddenly turned cold. Before they could speak, Xiao Ran was the first to speak. "You don't have to leave, but as long as Instructor He Bao can let you walk off this field standing today, then he can stop being an instructor." The moment she finished speaking, everyone saw He Bao stop not far away. He Bao looked at Xiao Ran as if he could kill her. The students looked at He Bao, all stunned. Soon they looked back at me, thinking this idiot would probably really be trained to death on the training grounds today. Xiao Ran looked at He Bao, then sneered at me. "I am kindly reminding you. Either withdraw from the academy, or kneel down to Instructor He Bao right now and beg for mercy. You better choose one." When the class heard this, they all sighed inwardly. Xiao Ran is still too kind. They were really looking forward to seeing me tortured by He Bao until I begged for mercy. However, He Bao sent a fist flying into Xiao Ran's face. The great force made Xiao Ran stumble back. Everyone froze on the spot. Xiao Ran staggered to regain her balance. She unconsciously covered her punched left cheek, her face full of shock and disbelief. "Instructor, you." He Bao looked straight at her. He couldn't touch Director Chen, but that doesn't mean this ordinary student. Xiao Ran, he can't touch either. He Bao looked at Xiao Ran and spoke slowly. "I heard you say, as long as I agree, you can participate in the military training and accept the tenfold workload. This punch of mine was to test your physical condition. I was worried you'd be too weak to withstand the high-intensity training. But it's good. You didn't disappoint me. Now I can seriously tell you, your request to train in Student Gus place. I agree." Everyone's minds couldn't quite keep up. What is this situation? Before everyone could figure it out, Xiao Ran stared blankly at He Bao and said, "Instructor He Bao, are you mistaken?" He Bao suddenly laughed. "Mistaken? Weren't you the one who just said that, as long as I agree, you would accept the tenfold workload?" Xiao Ran was at a loss for words. She stubbornly explained, "Instructor, I was just kidding." Before Xiao Ran could finish, He Bao directly interrupted her. "Your director Chen just said, Dicheng Academy doesn't need students who say one thing and do another. You can regret it now, but you will be expelled from the academy." Xiao Ran suddenly thought at this moment that she deserved that punch from He Bao. She even wanted to slap herself twice. The surrounding students watched, but no one dared to speak up for her. They only looked at me with more hostility. Because I had proposed the tenfold workload increase, they had to endure intensified training. While I could let Xiao Ran complete it for me, everyone felt it was unfair. Before long, they heard He Bao's words. He Bao said, "This student Gus' courage is commendable. I declare that from now on, Student Ju will be the class monitor during the military training. His words are equivalent to my commands. If anyone dares to disobey, it is a provocation to the instructor, and they will be expelled from Dicheng Academy." Instantly, everyone was completely dumbfounded. Just now on the stage, Instructor He Bao even said, "I don't know my place, trying to train me to death? It's only been a little while." He Bao praised my courage. How fickle. The ones who mocked me clearly look pale. They are also worried I will take revenge. Xiao Ran suddenly looked at He Bao and said, "Instructor, some instructors will appoint a student in the class as the class monitor, but usually, the class monitor assists the instructor in training the students. I've never heard of it. The class monitor's authority can be equal to the instructor's. You're giving him so much power. It's not good for him, or for all the students in the class. It will only make him disrespect you. Hell, even walk all over you. I hope you can think thrice before making a decision." Hearing this, the students' eyes lit up. They hurriedly nodded in agreement. He Bao shouted coldly, "All of you, shut up." The students were stunned. He Bao's gaze swept over everyone. The students all shivered. He Bao stared fixedly at everyone in the class. His voice was stern. "My word is an order. Your job is not to question, but to obey. From now on, I don't want to hear from anyone's mouth the word no. Otherwise, get the hell out of this class." The students couldn't help but shiver. They looked at He Bao with reverence. He Bao, with a cold and stern face, asked, "My words, did you all hear me?" The students unconsciously stood up straight. In unison, they shouted, "Heard you." Seeing everyone's obedience, He Bao nodded in satisfaction. He turned to look at me, his face showing a hint of flattery. "Friend Gu, let's begin the training." My gaze shifted from He Bao to the students in the class. I said, 10 laps. Finish in 2 hours, if you can't finish. At that, I curled the corner of my lips. You can try and see. What will happen if you don't finish? The students all gasped. They felt that I was a bit terrifying at this moment. But the next moment, a doubtful voice suddenly rang out. 2 hours for 10 laps. Everyone immediately reacted. 2 hours for 10 laps. Is he kidding? Some people looked at me mockingly. They can try. What will happen if they don't finish? Let's try then. It's not like I can kill them. No one noticed the pitying look on He Bao's face. Next, I turned to look at Xiao Ran. They get 10 laps. You get 100 laps. Same. Finish in 2 hours. If you don't finish, the punishment will be based on the number of laps you're short, Xiao Ren sneered. Without speaking, she looked at me as if I were a jumping clown. Hey Bao, in his heart, held a moment of silence for her and the students in the class. I suddenly turned to look at him. As the instructor, you must set the highest standard. So, your task is the same as Xiao Ran's. Also 100 laps. Hey Bao's smile froze on his face. The surroundings fell silent. Everyone looked at me as if I were crazy. Instructor Hey Bao only told me to be the class monitor. Yet I dare to train Hai Bao in return. Instructor. Everyone thought Hey Bao would strip me of my class monitor title, then tell me to get lost. However, Hey Bao's words made everyone freeze on the spot. Hey Bao weakly reminded me, Friend Gu, did you forget something? What? I am the instructor now. You're the student. The students were all stunned to hear this. I looked at Hai Bao with a faint expression and asked, this military training lasts for 10 days. Do you want to waste these 10 days? I originally planned to leave right after the opening ceremony. The reason I stayed was to help Hai Bao and the others' strength take a qualitative leap. Hai Bao subconsciously shook his head. No. He then asked carefully, it's just, can the number of laps be a little less? The students were even more shocked. They didn't understand. I was appointed class monitor by Hai Bao. Now I want to act tyrannically over Hai Bao. Not only was he not angry, but he even tried to bargain with me. Before everyone could figure it out, I looked at Hai Bao and spoke unhurriedly. Do you have an opinion on my arrangements? Hai Bao subconsciously stood up straight. He raised his head, puffed out his chest, and replied, no opinion. I nodded slightly. Then I turned to look at the students. Does anyone else have an opinion? The answer was silence. I took it as everyone's tacit agreement. No opinions. I nodded lightly. I took out my phone and opened the stopwatch. 2 hours. Timing starts now. As soon as I finished speaking, Hai Bao immediately dashed out. Xiao Ran and the other students looked at Hai Bao's retreating figure. Their expressions were complicated. Then, some students quickly followed. However, many students started jogging leisurely. A few male students didn't even run. I only glanced at everyone's actions. I didn't say anything. Meanwhile, the commotion in my class quickly attracted the attention of other classes. They started whispering, curious why I wasn't the one running. Hearing their instructors shout, the students immediately shut up and looked straight ahead. They didn't notice. Their instructors all glanced at Hai Bao with schadenfreude. I stood on the spot. My gaze swept over the students. I switched my phone to the WeChat interface. I sent a message to Xie Qingming. On the other end of the phone, Xie Qingming saw my message. She couldn't help but curl the corner of her lips. But the next moment, I don't know what she thought of, but she snorted coldly. Then she sent an emoji that said I have approved. I looked at the emoji on the screen and smiled faintly. Cute. Xie Qingming looked at that cold emoji. She couldn't see anything cute about it at all, but seeing that I was praising her, she still reluctantly asked me, aren't you in military training? How do you have time to look at your phone? I smiled faintly. Military training isn't as important as you. Do you miss me? Do you want to come to the academy to find me? However, before I could see Xia Qingming's reply, a cold shout suddenly rang out. What is that student over there doing? I turned my head and saw Jiang Siqi. Jiang Siqi saw me immediately. She froze. She didn't expect the one she shouted at was me. Just as Jiang Siqi was about to pretend she didn't see me and turn to leave, Director Chen saw this. His face turned cold. He immediately looked at me and shouted coldly, not completing your 10 times larger task, and you dare to play on your phone here? A piece of trash like you still dreams of getting into the new Grand Commander's 100-man troop that's about to be formed. I think you're just daydreaming. Jiang Siqi heard Director Chen's words. She looked at him as if he were an idiot. Does Commander Jiu need to join? If it weren't for me, there would be no 100-man troop. Director Chen didn't notice Jiang Siqi's look. He stared at me coldly. According to the Academy's regulations, the rules during military training are implemented according to the War Department's regulations. Commander Jiang, according to the War Department's regulations, he disobeyed the instructor's orders during training and played on his phone during training time. How should this be handled? Hearing this, Jiang Siqi's face immediately stiffened. Director Chen couldn't help but frown. He sighed and said, it seems Commander Jiang thinks he is not a member of the War Department and is worried he can't handle the punishment. Then how about this? Personally supervise him to complete 10 times the normal military training task. When that time comes, if he can become a member of the 100-man troop, he will definitely remember your kindness. When that new Grand Commander finds out about this, perhaps he will even commend you for your contribution. Jiang Siqi felt that the new Grand Commander would not. Director Chen couldn't hear Jiang Siqi's inner thoughts. He stared intently at me, thinking that as long as I was hospitalized during military training, there would be no way for me to take him to the principal's office. Director Chen looked at Jiang Siqi, a smile on his face as he spoke. Commander Jiang, I'll leave this delinquent student to you. Feel free to train him. If anything goes wrong during the training, the academy will take responsibility for you. Jiang Ziqi really wanted to hit someone right now. At this moment, I spoke coldly. This Director Chen, previously. Because you are a high-level academy official. I didn't want to ruin D City Academy's reputation because of you, so I was prepared to wait until after school tonight to take you to the principal's office for a good talk. But now, I might have to collect some interest first. Before Director Chen could react, I jutted my chin towards Jiang Ziqi. Director Chen was a bit stunned. He sneered. If he didn't know that I only came from Yun City to see you, he might actually be scared, as if I could order Jiang Ziqi to do anything to him. Just as he was thinking, Director Chen felt a huge force hit his stomach. His whole body stumbled back before he stabilized himself. His face was contorted in pain. He looked at Jiang Ziqi in shock. Commander Jiang, you. Before he could finish, Jiang Ziqi's figure approached again. A fist slammed into Director Chen's face. Director Chen was punched, his head snapping to the side. At the same time, his body lost its balance and fell to the ground. The commotion here was not small. It immediately attracted the attention of the students in the nearby squads. They saw Director Chen fall to the ground. They were all completely stunned. Director Chen was hit by Commander Jiang. How is that possible? Didn't they say that Commander Jiang and Director Chen had a very good relationship? Gu Muye looked at Director Chen on the ground. A cold smile on her face. She really admired it. This guy's ability to court death. He deserves to be killed. I walked to Director Chen's side. I looked down at Director Chen from above. Then I slowly raised my foot and stomped on his right hand. Director Chen's eyes widened. What do you want to do? I am a high-level academy official. You're just a student. You dare to touch me. At the very least, you'll be expelled from the academy. I smiled lightly. I didn't say anything. I just increased the pressure from my foot. The continuous sound of breaking fingers rang out. Along with it came Director Chen's blood-curdling screams. The students who saw this all gasped. They looked at me in shock. He actually hit Director Chen. Director Chen is a high-level academy official. Doing this, he won't just be expelled from the academy. He might even go to jail. I looked down at Director Chen with a faint gaze. Seeing him regain some consciousness from the extreme pain, I spoke unhurriedly. This hand is a small lesson. If there's a next time, it won't be as simple as just one hand. The surrounding students were even more astonished to hear this. They didn't think there was a man so unafraid of death like me. Director Chen subconsciously clenched his uninjured left hand. He looked at me furiously. Find the principal. Didn't you want to find the principal? Come with me to find the principal now. My movement to turn and leave stopped. I tilted my head to look at him and suddenly smiled. I looked at Director Chen and spoke. Originally, after I crippled this hand of yours, as long as you behaved, after school, I might not have taken you to the principal's office. But since you requested it yourself, if I don't agree, it might seem a bit inhumane. Wait for me at the entrance to the principal's office after school. However, just as I finished speaking, Director Chen furiously ordered me, go now. I glanced at him faintly. I am busy now. After speaking, I didn't look at Director Chen anymore. I walked directly towards the edge of the school grounds. Director Chen looked at my back. He shouted coldly, stop. I had no intention of stopping. Director Chen continued to shout, stop for me. But it was still useless. Director Chen's face was flushed with anger. Go Muya reminded him. Don't shout anymore. If you anger him, you really won't just lose a hand. Director Chen turned his head sharply. Gu Muya walked to his side and said faintly, out of respect for the old man of the Chen family, who helped the Gu family in the past, I am kindly reminding you, don't provoke him, or no one will be able to save you. Director Chen gave Gu Muya a deep look. He clutched his right hand with his left and staggered up from the ground. With a grim face, he looked at my back. After school, at the entrance to the principal's office. I'll be waiting for you. Not caring whether I heard him or not, he left for the infirmary. Gu Muya looked at Director Chen and couldn't help but shake her head. The students from other classes all looked at me with suspicion. Could it be that I really have some kind of backing? No one noticed that in Shen, acting as the teaching assistant for Gu Muya's class, had recorded the entire process of what just happened. He dares to openly assault a high-level academy official. That's equivalent to blatantly challenging the academy's regulations. No one can save him. Gu Muya just spoke up to help me warn Director Chen. He could also spin a story about it. This shameless pair, neither of them will have a good end. Thinking of this, the corner of his lips curled into an extremely cold arc. Jiang Ziqi gave Gu Muya a look that said, control yourself. Then she walked towards me. 2 hours later, He Bao finished 16 laps and stopped in front of me, still breathing heavily. As for the other students, except for 2 who ran 7 and 6 laps, the rest of them hardly showed any signs of fatigue. I glanced at these students faintly. My eyes were a bit cold. Line up. The students slowly formed a line. They looked at me calmly, as if looking at a jumping clown. I am not an instructor, just a student. What are they afraid of me for? I spoke coldly. Those who ran less than 5 laps. Step forward. 70-something students leisurely stepped forward, with an attitude of I've stepped out. What can you do to me? He Bao held a moment of silence for them in his heart. I looked at their attitude. my face showing no surprise or anger. I raised my hand, showing the object in my hand to everyone. All the students' faces changed at the same time. It was a War Department secret box. A student suddenly stepped forward, looking at me with a puzzled expression, and asked, "How do you have this?" The War Department's secret box is used to store extremely important items. Only the owner's fingerprint can open it. If a non-owner forces the box open, the items inside will be automatically destroyed. These War Department secret boxes are extremely rare. They are almost all in the hands of a few high-level War Department officials. They didn't understand. How could I have such an important item from the War Department? I ignored that student's question and directly used my fingerprint to open the box. Rows of black pills were exposed to the air. I handed the pills to Hey Bao. "Give them one each." Hey Bao nodded in acknowledgement and quickly ran in front of me. He took the pills and distributed them to the students. Everyone couldn't help but frown looking at the pills. They instinctively felt that this was not a good thing. I looked at everyone and ordered, "Swallow it." Everyone looked at each other. No one moved. Xiao Ran sneered and said, "Friend Gu, these people are basically all from the noble families of the imperial city. They are not comparable to a commoner from a small place like you. If their bodies are ruined from eating something you gave them, you can't bear those consequences." The students all nodded in agreement. I looked at 3 of the students among them. My gaze suddenly turned cold. "Then today I'll tell you, your background is your good fortune, not the capital for you to look down on others." The students couldn't help but flinch, but they quickly realized what they were afraid of. It's beneath them. They, the peasants, showed regret on their faces. "So what if it's lucky? We were born well. That's our skill. If you know what's good for you, get out of class 6. Our class doesn't welcome a lowly piece of trash like you." Hearing this, my gaze grew colder. I turned to look at Hai Bao. "Hey Bao, I don't care what method you use. Make them take the pills. If anyone doesn't, you take it for them." Hai Bao's heart tightened. The students were stunned to hear this. They quickly opened their mouths to persuade him. "Instructor Hey Bao, remove him as class monitor. You are our instructor." When did it become this guy's turn to walk all over you? None of them thought that upon hearing their advice, Hey Bao's expression would become extremely ugly. "All of you, shut up." The students looked at Hai Bao in astonishment. As long as Hai Bao isn't an idiot, he should know they're all doing this for his own good. Furthermore, they saw fear in Hai Bao's eyes. It seemed to be fear of me. Everyone's expression changed at once. Before everyone could figure it out, Hai Bao's cold, commanding voice rang out again. "Now, swallow the pills in your hands for me. Otherwise, I don't mind helping you personally." Everyone was stunned again to hear this. They didn't understand why Hai Bao was listening to me. Hai Bao didn't want to waste time. He directly started counting down. 3, 2, 1. Hai Bao shouted. In an instant, except for 2 people, everyone else put the pills in their mouths. Hai Bao's gaze locked onto the 2 people. Those 2 male students felt Hai Bao's gaze and their breath hitched. One of them quickly swallowed the pill. Seeing this, the other person also immediately swallowed his pill. A painful groan suddenly came out. Next, the student who made the sound suddenly fell to the ground. A female student subconsciously wanted to help him up. "Zhang Hang, what's wrong?" Just as she reached out her hand, intense pain suddenly came from her lower abdomen, spreading throughout her body. She couldn't help but scream. The other students who took the pills also fell to the ground completely. The students who ran more than 5 laps and Xiao ran, watching everyone rolling on the ground, their hearts tightened. "What's happening?" Soon, a female student suddenly stood up. She stared at me and questioned, "What did you give them to drink?" I smiled faintly. "It might be a little uncomfortable after drinking it, but it's not harmful to the body." The student who stood up was immediately angry. Every single one of them is someone you can't afford to offend. If their bodies are ruined from drinking it, you'll be in for more than you can handle. I glanced at her faintly without saying anything. I walked in front of Xiao Ran. Then, I took out 10 pills from the War Department's secret box. "Swallow them." Xiao Ran stared at the pills in my hand for 2 seconds. She sneered and raised her head, her smile full of mockery and contempt. "Swallow them? Do you take me for an idiot?" After saying that, she raised her hand to strike my wrist, as if wanting to break my wrist. The students who were still standing nearby saw this and felt delighted. They were really fed up with me. At this moment, everyone seemed to have already seen my wrist being broken. A painful scene. Just as Xiao Ran's hand was about to touch me, I raised my hand and grabbed Xiao Ran's wrist, then twisted it lightly. The sound of a bone breaking suddenly rang out. Xiao Ran's pig-like scream also followed. The 20-odd students looked at Xiao Ran as if they had seen a ghost. How is this possible? Xiao Ran is an ultimate warrior. He only relies on a scholarship. Just a worthless student. How could he have the strength to crush Xiao Ran? Before everyone could come to their senses, I raised my hand and grabbed Xiao Ran's chin. I forced 10 pills into her mouth. 3 seconds later, a blood-curdling scream came from Xiao Ran's mouth. She screamed twice and fainted from the pain. However, not even 2 seconds later, she was woken up by the pain again. This repeated itself. Xiao Ran was in so much pain she wanted to kill herself. I bent down, then used a rope to tie her wrists. Xiao Ran's hands were restrained. Understanding that she had been deprived of even the right to commit suicide, the screams from her mouth became even more miserable. She also began to fear me. The 20-odd people nearby looked at Xiao Ran. They didn't even dare to breathe. Everyone looked at me in fear. He Bao looked at Xiao Ran with pity. I put away the War Department secret box. The 20-odd people saw my action. Although the fear in their eyes hadn't dissipated, they all breathed a sigh of relief. But they hadn't been happy for more than a few seconds. When I took out another War Department secret box, everyone's expression changed completely upon seeing me. Under everyone's shocked gazes, I opened the box again. The pills in the box were slightly larger than the ones I just took out. I took out more than 20 pills from it. Then I spoke to He Bao. Give one to each of the remaining people. The 20-odd people who were already afraid of me couldn't help but tremble at this moment. Friend Gu, I know I was wrong. From now on, whatever you say goes. I'll listen to you. Please spare me. I ignored everyone's pleas. Seeing this, He Bao hurriedly took them. He distributed the pills to everyone. They refused to take them, dead or alive. He placed them directly on the ground in front of them. After He Bao finished distributing them, I spoke faintly. Swallow them. There was a moment of silence. No one moved. I tilted my head slightly. He Bao, go help them. Just as He Bao's affirmative response ended, the female student who had questioned me before suddenly took a step forward and said, I won't drink it. Anyway, I am not participating in this military training. I declare that I am now withdrawing from D City Academy. After this student spoke, a few more students stood up. I am withdrawing too. Count me in. After a few people spoke, they prepared to just leave. However, just as they were about to take a step, I spoke coldly. You can withdraw. Withdraw after school today. I don't have a rule about stopping midway. The female student heard this. She stopped walking. She sneered and started to walk again. But she hadn't taken more than a few steps when something flashed before her eyes. I grabbed her chin with one hand. The next moment, 2 pills were forced into her mouth. I made sure she swallowed them before letting go of my control over her chin. Miu Ru was immediately freed from her restraints. She immediately started dry heaving. She desperately wanted to vomit the pills out. However, it was useless. The pills immediately dissolved into her body. Pain, like a tidal wave, flooded every corner of her body. She suddenly went limp and fell to the ground. She couldn't even move a finger. The few people who initially wanted to leave suddenly stopped, subconsciously swallowing their saliva. As for the 20-odd people who didn't move, due to the fear I brought them, their breathing became rapid. I spoke faintly. Because you are more obedient than the people on the ground. The pills I gave you. The pain they bring is not as strong as theirs. But now it seems, it's apparently unnecessary. Hearing this, the students' expressions turned grim. One of the students hurriedly said, I'll take it. I'll take it now. He quickly stuffed the pill into his mouth, his movements swift. I looked at him faintly, then tilted my head slightly. My gaze fell upon the remaining people. Everyone felt my gaze, and their hearts tightened. I'll take it. I'll take it too. Soon, they all put the pills in their mouths. A few seconds later, except for me, all the students of Class 6 had completely fallen to the ground. He Bao looked at everyone with a slight sigh. More than 10 days ago, he also suffered this devastation. Now it was finally someone else's turn. However, the next moment, he was horrified to feel me looking at him. He Bao stammered, Friend Gu, what do you want to do? Under He Bao's horrified gaze, I took out the 3rd War Department secret box. The pills in this box were a whole size larger than the gray pills. I directly took out 9 pills for He Bao. He Bao really had a slight urge to cry. If I swallow these 9 pills, even if he doesn't die, it will hurt. He'll lose half his life. I looked at He Bao. My voice was faint. Swallow them in 3 seconds. Otherwise, the quantity will double. As soon as I finished speaking, He Bao quickly took the pills and swallowed them. Despite being mentally prepared, after taking the pills, He Bao still couldn't control his screams of pain. His body also trembled uncontrollably. His strong willpower protected him, preventing him from falling. I looked at He Bao with praise. As long as He Bao accumulates 100 milky white pills and doesn't have a mental breakdown, he will definitely become a high-level warrior. Many of the surrounding students were paying attention to the commotion here and started to lose focus on their training. The instructors were afraid of getting involved. They could only shout at them. In the end, it was still Jiang Ziqi who bore the pressure and had no choice but to walk over. She looked at me. Friend Gu, this is the academy. Isn't this a bit too much? I didn't answer but asked back, do you have a walkie-talkie to contact the other 9 instructors? Jiang Ziqi was stunned. What do you want to do? I held out my hand to her. Give me the walkie-talkie. Jiang Ziqi looked troubled. She hesitated, but still gave me the walkie-talkie. At this moment, the remaining 9 instructors had all told their students to rest on the spot. While the students were discussing the commotion on my side, the 9 instructors were talking on the walkie-talkie. So when I turned on the walkie-talkie, I immediately heard the following conversation. Yesterday, He Bao was still sighing. Today, he wanted to truly feel what it's like to be proud and elated. But now, I don't know about being proud. As for elated, he's definitely breathing in more than out. Bao is our captain. After all, how can you talk about him like that? Just as they were gloating, my voice suddenly came through the walkie-talkie. I spoke faintly. A few instructors. You truly have a life and death friendship with Hey Bao. You're really good to him. As soon as my voice rang out, the 9 instructors threw the walkie-talkies in their hands at the same time. Out, as if seeing a monstrous flood. The 9 of them were still shaken. I spoke again. If in 10 days, you can still live well, the male devil you speak of will give you a reward, a barrel of chocolate beans for each of you. The 9 instructors all froze. Quickly, they picked up their walkie-talkies. A voice that thought itself self-sacrificing came into my ears. Commander Gu, you have dedicatedly trained us for 10 days. We have benefited greatly from it. How could I be so shameless as to let you spend money? Before he could finish, I sneered. Who was it that just shouted male devil? A certain warrior was as if struck by lightning, instantly freezing on the spot. Seeing that no one answered, I couldn't help but hum lightly. A slightly shorter warrior hurriedly said, What? Male devil? Commander Gu. You must have heard wrong. I spoke again. I'll ask one last time. Who? A few people who had just denied it replied at the same time. Yu Qian, Ji Lan. Yu Qian and Ji Lan were both a little speechless. But soon, Yu Qian puffed out her chest. Commander Gu, that male devil was indeed shouted by me. I raised my eyebrows. Is that so? Then, however, before I could finish, Yu Qian quickly continued. Commander Jiu, Yu Qian's voice was earnest. What male devil? It's actually our affectionate nickname for you. Seeing Yu Qian soften, Ji Lan also chimed in. That's right. Commander Gu, you are like a lighthouse in our hearts. I directly cut them off. You too. Go arrange your students. The training task for the next 2 hours. Then, within 2 hours, 100 laps each. If you don't finish, I'll let you feel what a real male devil is called. The remaining 7 people heard this. They were all a bit gloating. Before everyone could continue their secret gloating, my voice rang out again. The rest of you, 10 laps. Timing starts in 1 minute. The smiles on the 7 people's faces immediately froze. The next moment, the 9 of them rushed towards the students in their classes. Each person's assigned task was to run 10 laps. When the 1 minute was up, the 9 instructors also dashed out at the same time. The vast school grounds were filled with figures trying to run. I returned the walkie-talkie to Jiang Si Chi. The people in class 6 inches front of me gradually woke up from the intense pain. I glanced at everyone. Line up. The students all endured the pain and slowly stood up. They quickly formed a formation. I looked at the female student who had just said she wanted to withdraw from the academy. Does Mu Ru still want to withdraw from the academy? Mu Ru's body trembled. She opened her mouth. In the end, she didn't dare to nod. But in her heart, she had already made a decision. After class today, she would directly submit her withdrawal application, and at the same time, suggest that the headmaster expel me. With just one glance, I understood Mu Ru's thoughts. I smirked and glanced at her. Then I looked at all the students in the class. I don't care what reasons you have. Before the military training ends, no one is allowed to drop out of D City Academy. Otherwise, it's not just D City Academy. All of D City won't have a place for you. The 100-man troop will also have no place for you. The students were stunned to hear this. Before they could speak, Xiao Ran's venomous voice came through. What big talk. Xiao Ran was staring at me with a gloomy face, because I had bound her wrist. She couldn't move at the moment, but she looked at me furiously. She wanted me dead. I watched as Xiao Ran slowly curled the corner of her lips. Next, I slowly walked towards Xiao Ran. Xiao Ran looked at me. She clearly felt a wave of pressure. She suddenly clenched her fists. She looked straight at me and said, Was I wrong? Who do you think you are? What gives you the right to make it impossible for someone to survive in all of D City? And what ability do you have to stop anyone with talent from joining the 100-man troop? My answer to her was a kick. Xiao Ran had just struggled to sit up half a minute ago. Now she fell to the ground with a thud. Xiao Ran only felt blood and chi surging in her chest. Bright red blood trickled down from the corner of her mouth. I looked down at the suffering Xiao Ran and spoke indifferently. Rights? First, you get up. Then you can talk to me about rights. Xiao Ran clenched her uninjured left hand. She wanted to kill me. I am from the direct line of the first-rate Chen family of D City. You treat me like this. Aren't you afraid of revenge from my Chen family? Hearing this, I suddenly laughed. The Chen family? The next moment, I stepped forward and stomped on Xiao Ran's right leg. Before Xiao Ran could react, a crisp cracking sound was heard. Xiao Ran's miserable scream followed. I looked at her coldly. You should be glad I don't want to kill anyone here. Otherwise, today for you, it wouldn't just be a crippled arm and a leg. After I finished speaking, I tilted my head to look at Hai Bao beside me. He had just woken up from extreme pain. I spoke coldly. I don't want to see this kind of trash in the academy anymore. Hai Bao subconsciously nodded. Yes, yes, he scrambled up from the ground. With the fastest speed possible, he dragged Xiao Ran towards the main gate. The students of Class 6 stood frozen in place. They looked at me with even more fear. Muru also looked at me coldly. She would definitely make this commoner, me, pay for what I've done. I suddenly looked at her. She couldn't help but flinch. Before I could do anything, my phone vibrated. I took out my phone to look and saw a message from Xia Qingming, teaching, building no. 7. Room 302. I was taken aback. I quickly noticed the message I had sent earlier, but there was no reply. Do you want to come find me? From this short message, my baby was clearly still sulking. Hey, Bao through? Xiao ran out of the academy and ran back at this moment. I casually arranged things for Hey Bao and the students. The next training content. Then I walked towards the teaching area. It was class time. I walked to the bottom of teaching building no. 7. I heard whispers. I heard that Xiao Yunxi and Feng Dian are together. What a pity for Feng Dian. She's a goddess that can only be admired from afar. No one is worthy of her. I raised an eyebrow, hearing that. Xiao Yunxi is with my baby? How did I not know about this? I walked into room 302. I immediately saw Xia Qingming in the third row. Almost everyone in the class was looking at Xia Qingming. The professor had a slight headache. Too many people came to class today. All of them came to see Xia Qingming. He looked at Xia Qingming. Then he looked at me at the door. The classroom can't fit any more people. Could the person at the door please close it? A few students heard the voice and looked over. They were all taken aback when they saw me. A sudden gasp was heard. Why is it him? Someone asked curiously. You know him? Who is this? How have I never seen him before? The gasping male student looked at me. Then he sneered and said, Come on. Let me introduce you all. He seduced Her Highness Chen Weiner, and also seduced a little beauty. This morning, the little handsome guy and Her Highness Chen both came to bring him breakfast. The two of them happened to run into each other. Her Highness Chen saw that little beauty. She didn't say anything. She just turned around and left. The male student deliberately raised his voice so that everyone could hear. Xia Qingming raised an eyebrow at that. A questioning voice suddenly sounded. How is that possible? Her Highness Chen has been at the academy for a year. During that time, quite a few male students pursued her. She completely rejected them. Gu Chen is such an ordinary male student. How could he make Her Highness Chen bring him breakfast? Someone else asked. Isn't she a new student? Why is she here? The class suddenly fell silent. Everyone looked at Xia Qingming, whispering. They thought I was dumped by Chen Wanner and came to hit on Xia Qingming. They admired my courage to dare to leave military training midway. Everyone looked at me with ill intent. A new student skipping military training. Later, no matter which instructor they tell, it'll be in for a world of hurt. I heard their ridicule. With no expression, I walked towards Xia Qingming. Everyone saw. My movements suddenly went silent. No one thought that I would head straight for Xia Qingming. I directly sat down next to Xia Qingming. Seeing my action, almost all the men exploded at the same time. He actually sat next to Xia Qingming. How dare he? Everyone looked at me furiously. They wanted to kill this commoner who dared to approach Xia Qingming. Just when they thought Xia Qingming would move away from me, to everyone's surprise, Xia Qingming didn't turn and leave. She just glanced at me indifferently, then continued to read the book in front of her. Everyone froze at the same time. They thought Xia Qingming should avoid me. Some also thought that Xia Qingming was in a good mood today. That's why she didn't bother with me. Thinking of this, they looked at me furiously. A few male students also wanted to get closer to Xia Qingming. Then everyone saw me. I actually directly took the book from in front of Xia Qingming. Everyone held their breath. They couldn't help but gasp. Feng Dian might be a serious germaphobe. He's done for. He'll definitely be thrown out. They looked at me with schadenfreude. However, time passed minute by minute, second by second. Xia Qingming had no intention of chasing me away. I read the book I took from Xia Qingming. I read a few lines. I felt something was a bit off. I looked at the title on the cover. I immediately froze. I hurriedly opened the first page. The opening started with the topic of Pa Pa Pa. Descriptions flooded my vision. I looked at Xia Qingming with a complicated gaze. Dominant CEOs, hot and sweet wife. Xia Qingming was also a bit stunned. She had come in a hurry. She had casually grabbed a few of Mo Yan's books. But what was all this nonsense? She subconsciously snatched the book from my hands and quickly hid it at the bottom of the stack of books. But she discovered that the book on top of this stack, the cover just so happened to say Dominant CEO, marry one, get one free. Xia Qingming was immediately speechless. I raised an eyebrow and took the top book, looking mischievous. Xia Qingming, you like this kind of book? Xia Qingming tried to explain. These books aren't mine. I just smiled faintly at her. The content of the Dominant CEO book isn't bad. When we have time, let's try it. Hearing that, Xia Qingming, her eyes suddenly lit up. This book, Dominant CEO's hot and sweet wife. In her past life, her confidant recommended it to her. The other person guaranteed that after she finished reading it, as long as she learned the essence of the little sweet wife, it would make him like her more. At that time, she even put herself in the role of the little sweet wife. She blushed and nodded. Everyone saw that Xia Qingming and I were interacting very harmoniously. They were all a bit stunned. Isn't Feng Dian always unapproachable? What they couldn't accept the most was that I even wanted to try it with Feng Dian, although they didn't know what to try. But from the book title I mentioned, they could also guess. It wasn't anything innocent. A muscular man directly stood up. His eyes were fixed on me. Get away from Feng Dian. The people next to him chimed in. You and Feng Dian are not from the same world at all. I advise you not to waste your effort. Feng Dian is not someone you can fantasize about. I tilted my head slightly. I spoke neither fast nor slow. She's not your girlfriend. Why are you acting like you're about to be cuckolded? The muscular man spoke again. We just can't tolerate a despicable man like you, defiling our goddess. I raised an eyebrow. If talking is considered defiling, then I say. I suddenly turned my head and kissed Xie Qingning's thin lips. At that moment, everyone seemed to have taken a fatal blow. I smirked at everyone. I spoke. If talking to her is considered defiling, then what does this count as? A simple sentence, but it made everyone's mind go blank. How can there be such a shameless man? Everyone looked at me, wanting to tear me to pieces. They waited for Xia Qingming to kick me out. However, the next moment, Xia Qingming actually smiled faintly. Everyone was completely stunned. I glanced at the people around. My expression became serious. I just happen to like the woman you all think is from a different world. Even if you have objections, you better hold them in for me. From now on, if I hear anyone utter another word of nonsense, get the hell out of D-City Academy for me. As soon as I finished speaking, everyone immediately thought I was too arrogant. After a moment of silence, a muscular man rushed towards me. You're looking for death. Just as he was about to rush in front of me, Xie Qingning picked up a book and threw it. It hit the muscular man. The male student was hit by the book. He was sent flying directly. He slammed hard into the podium, frightening the old professor into taking a step back. The male student who fell to the ground didn't seem to feel any pain. He looked at Xie Qingning in shock. The goddess actually hit him. The others in the class were also stunned. An uncertain voice sounded out. Could it be that Feng Dian likes that male student? The people around looked at me with jealousy and unwillingness. In terms of background, in terms of looks, in terms of strength, most of them sitting here are much better than me. What right do I have to be with Feng Dian? After a few seconds of silence, a male student with a shaved head suddenly stood up. Feng Dian. This morning, he was seducing Her Highness Chen and another beauty. Don't be fooled by this kind of scumbag. As soon as he finished speaking, I raised my hand and threw an object. A badge hit the male student's chest. The force carried by that badge caused the male student's body to crash into a desk. The desk fell directly to the ground. Everyone was stunned on the spot. It took them a long time to come to their senses. They looked at me in surprise. It requires at least the strength of an intermediate-level warrior or higher to have such great power. But I am someone who comes from a small city. How can I have such strong talent and power? Before everyone could think clearly, a shocked voice sounded out. This is the headmaster's badge. Everyone heard the voice and looked over. They saw the badge immediately. Everyone was in disbelief. They didn't understand. How could I have the headmaster's badge? I looked at the muscular man who had fallen onto the podium. I spoke indifferently. I just said, if anyone says another word of nonsense to me, get the hell out of D-City Academy. Now you can go back and pack your things. Get ready to leave. The muscular man, just recovering from the fact that his goddess hit him for another man, woke up from his sense of defeat, then heard my words. He was completely stunned. And the male student who was knocked down by the badge initially wanted to get angry at me. He was also stunned when he heard my words. The atmosphere in the classroom froze. The old professor finally couldn't help but speak up. It's class time now. If the visiting student has something to take care of, please go outside. I apologized to the old professor with a nod. I took out the book, Dominant CEOs, Hot and Sweet Wife. With my other hand, I held Xie Qingning's and walked directly out of the classroom. Everyone still didn't understand. In their eyes, I dared to show off the headmaster's badge. It was because the headmaster had given me this badge. What virtue or talent do I have? With doubt and jealousy, everyone stood up and followed. The two male students who fell to the ground got up. The muscular man took a deep breath and said to the male student who was knocked down by the badge, let's go to the field. Whether his badge is real or fake, his identity now is just a student. As long as he's a student, he must abide by the academy's regulations. Leaving the field without permission during military training, this is a major offense. As long as we tell the instructor about this, even if he isn't expelled, he definitely won't have a good ending. At that time, we will go find the headmaster and ask the headmaster to take back his badge. We will also be fine. The two male students helped each other to the field, but when the two saw the situation on the field, they both froze on the spot. Nearly 900 people were going wild on the field, running. The 9 people in instructor uniforms were running for their lives. The two were stunned. They walked towards He Bao. The muscular man said frankly, Instructor, if a new student, in order to seduce the opposite sex, arbitrarily terminates military training and leaves the field, how should they be punished? He Bao was stunned to hear that. He directly opened his mouth and asked, Punish? Does this kind of person even need to be punished? Imperial Capital Academy doesn't need this kind of trash. Just tell him to get lost. The two male students' faces lit up with joy upon hearing this, just as they wanted to pull Hey Bao to find me. The muscular man noticed. A crowd was pouring in from the teaching area. He saw me at the head of the crowd. He hurriedly raised his hand and pointed at me, and said to Hey Bao, "Instructor." It's the male student at the very front. Hai Bao heard the voice and looked over. His whole body froze on the spot. He didn't think I would do something like seducing the opposite sex. Hey Bao's gaze suddenly fell on my hand and Xie Qingning's hand, holding each other. His whole body felt like it had been struck by lightning. Many people from Class 6 looked at Xie Qingning, praising her beauty. Soon, they gasped again. Xie Qingning is holding hands with that guy named Gu Chen. Aren't they boyfriend and girlfriend? Everyone suddenly fell silent. They looked at me with jealousy and sighed. Not only is his strength especially strong, he is also liked by such a woman. This man is too happy. Seeing that Hai Bao was a bit out of it, the muscular man carefully asked, "Instructor, what you just told me, can you say it to him again later?" Hai Bao snapped back to his senses. He looked at the muscular man with confusion. "Say it again." "Say what?" The muscular man was stunned. A bad feeling arose in his heart. But before the two could snap out of it, I stopped, not far away. I looked at these two male students and frowned. "You didn't listen to what I said before." The student who was knocked down by my badge heard this and hurriedly ran over. He looked at me with schadenfreude. "No matter what badge you have in your hand, your identity is just a student. As a student, you didn't train properly during military training, but ran around the school. This has an extremely negative impact on the academy," the instructor just said. "You arbitrarily terminated your military training and left the academy's field. You can be directly kicked out of the academy." The students of Class 6 saw this and looked at Hai Bao's face, all with an expression of "you are on your own." Unexpectedly, this most cowardly instructor in history, Hai Bao, even if he doesn't die, he'll be skinned alive. On the other hand, the male students following me heard the student's words. Their eyes lit up. They thought I was about to be in trouble. So they looked at Hai Bao expectantly, under everyone's gaze. Hai Bao's expression turned cold. He looked at the arrogant male student and questioned in a chilly voice, "When did you hear me say such words?" The male student stiffened. He turned to look at the students of Class 6. "Your instructor just said it. You all heard it." However, what answered him was a wave of silence. All the students of Class 6 lowered their heads at the same time, with no intention of speaking. Otherwise, whether they offend Hai Bao or me, they won't have a good ending. The male student saw the demeanor of the Class 6 students. He looked at Hai Bao with a sense of panic. "You clearly just said..." Before he could continue, Hai Bao directly interrupted. "You told me that he, in order to seduce the opposite sex, arbitrarily left the field. So, tell me, which member of the opposite sex did he seduce?" The male student answered in a panic. "He seduced Fang Dian," the female student holding hands with him. Hai Bao's expression grew colder. "Where's the proof?" The male student noticed that Hai Bao's attitude was not right. He tried his best to explain. Fang Dian had just sat in the classroom for a short while. He appeared in the classroom and did something filthy. The whole class saw it. They are all witnesses. Hai Bao suddenly laughed. Then he looked at the male student and spoke. "Student Yu asked me for leave. He did not arbitrarily terminate training. Secondly, the evidence you mentioned. In my eyes, it's just normal interaction between lovers, not seduction. Finally, you slandered a fellow student. I will report this to the academy and let the academy deal with you according to the regulations." After Hai Bao finished speaking, the scene fell silent. The muscular man and the student knocked down by the badge were stunned. Clearly, when they just arrived. This instructor didn't say that. Why, as soon as I appeared, he not only denied his own words, but also started targeting them. And those behind me who were waiting to see me embarrassed also looked at me strangely. They thought this instructor Hai Bao was protecting me. Not only do I have the headmaster's badge, even the military training instructor is especially kind to me. They guessed who I was. And the two male students who had initially come were now in despair. They had originally thought these instructors were their last hope. But now, their hope was shattered. Just when the two were becoming more panicked and at a loss, the military training instructors had been running for 2 hours. They all fell to the ground, not far away. The muscular man saw this. A glint flashed in his eyes. He rushed to the instructor's side with the fastest speed. Then he scanned them and finally chose a target. He asked Gu Muye, this instructor, "I want to ask, if a student, during military training, asks for leave to go to the teaching area to date, does that violate the military training regulations?" Gu Muye was panting. She directly ignored him. The muscular man stiffened. Then he walked over to Gu Muye and bent down. He spoke in a voice only the two of them could hear. 100,000. Instructor, you answer this question. I'll give you 100,000 XI, a country currency. Jiu Mui looked at him. First, during military training, unless there's a physical problem, and it has been diagnosed by the academy's doctor, otherwise, it's impossible to ask for leave. If someone really dares to fake an illness to ask for leave to date, Gumoy suddenly changed the subject. She looked at the muscular man with confusion and asked, "There's still such trash in City Academy." However, just as she finished speaking, a pair of high-end black leather boots stopped beside her. Seeing the boots immediately, Gumoye stiffened. Next, she subconsciously flipped over and got up from the ground, and a few instructors, lying next to her, panting, also scrambled up. Several people stood up straight at the same time and looked at me in horror. Hey Bao took 2 steps forward and looked at Gu Mui. "Instructor Gu, who did you just say was trash?" Go Muye was terrified. She thought she was done for. At this moment, Hey Bao looked at her expression. He almost wanted to look up at the sky and scream a few times to pay respect to the brave warrior Gu Muye. Gu Mui saw that Hey Bao's expression was not right. She quickly thought of a possibility. She asked. This male student said, "The piece of trash who went dating during military training is a student from your class?" Hey Bao was stunned. The next moment, the corner of his mouth twitched uncontrollably. The piece of trash who went dating midway. At first, he was worried that Gu Muye hadn't drawn enough hatred from me and that I would remember him. But now he was completely at ease. But he was a little afraid that Gu Muye would lose her life. Immediately after, Hey Bao carefully looked at me. He saw my cold, grim expression. He thought that as the team captain, out of humanitarian spirit, he shouldn't just watch someone die. He looked at Gu Muye. "Instructor Gu, isn't using the word trash a bit too harsh?" Gu Muye suddenly laughed. "That piece of trash is really from your class." Hai Bao sighed. He thought to himself, "You're asking for death. I can't do anything about it." Then he stepped forward and patted Gu Muye's shoulder, giving Gu Muye a take-care look, then quickly stepped back to one side. Gu Muye didn't understand. I looked at her coldly and asked indifferently, "What kind of trash did you just say I was?" As soon as I finished speaking, Gu Muye's brain immediately stopped working. She didn't think that the new student the male student was talking about was actually me. She never thought that this devilish man, me, could actually be in a relationship, driven by a strong will to live. She quickly stood up straight. With a righteous back, she sternly said, "Hello, student Gu. I just said those who are carried to the hospital during military training are all trash. But to still have the energy to be in a relationship, you will definitely have great achievements in the future." The surrounding students who were watching the show were stunned. At this moment, they suddenly lost their faith in the integrity of the instructors. They developed deep suspicions. Suddenly, an icy voice came through. "Instructor Gu, you're twisting black and white for a man. That's probably not appropriate." And Chen walked over. The muscular man and the others saw in Chen and seemed to see hope again. I was already a bit annoyed. Now seeing in Chen jump out again, my expression turned completely cold. "Disappear from my sight in 3 seconds. Otherwise, I guarantee you won't be able to walk out of here standing." And Chen was stunned by my words. The next moment, he laughed. "What? Are you afraid it'll expose the relationship between you and Instructor Gu? Afraid it can't see the light of day? So you're angry?" I slowly walked in front of him. He felt a heavy pressure attacking him and was immediately frightened. But thinking that I was just a country bumpkin from a small city, he suddenly regained his confidence. He took out his phone and pretended to want to open a video. He shouted at me coldly, "Stop right there for me. Otherwise, it'll make you know what regret is." I smirked and continued walking. And Chen saw that I didn't stop. He immediately got angry. "You forced me." After speaking, he raised his hand to open the video. However, just as he raised his hand, I had already walked in front of him. I raised my leg and kicked him hard in the stomach, under intense pain. And Chen screamed miserably. His body flew directly 3 to 4 meters away. Immediately, the surroundings fell silent. Everyone held their breath. Many people looked at me in fear. I tilted my head slightly. I looked at everyone and spoke. "I've said it. I don't want to hear any more nonsense. Anyone who dares to act up in front of me again." Saying that, I pointed to Chen groaning on the ground. "He is your predecessor." Everyone didn't even dare to breathe out. At this moment, in their hearts, there was only one thought. I can't afford to offend him. Suddenly, 2 figures walked over. It was Yang Li, who had been taught a lesson by Tang Ba Shen this morning, and the one who came with Yang Li was the headmaster's grandson, Chu Langsing, who had lost 3 teeth because of me before. Yang Li was stunned to see In Chen's miserable state. Then she quickly ran to In Chen's side and bent down. "And Chen, how are you?" At this moment, In Chen had woken up. He endured the pain and said, "He seduced the instructor. All the instructors are biased towards him. My phone has evidence of Gomuye's bias towards him." Saying that, he looked at Chu Langsing. "Chu Langsing, as a member of the academy, you absolutely cannot tolerate this kind of behavior." Chu Langsing opened his mouth, knowing what to say. He had only heard that Xia Qingming was here, so he came. If he had known I was also here, he wouldn't have come no matter what. After all, the 3 teeth I knocked out had just been implanted. He didn't want to lose a few more. Moreover, his grandfather had warned him that I was an existence he couldn't afford to provoke. So even though he hated me, he didn't dare to confront me. However, Yang Li didn't notice Chu Langsing's odd behavior. She heard in Chen's words, looked around, and suddenly stood up. She quickly walked to where the phone had fallen and picked it up. She sneered at me and said, "How dare you seduce an instructor? You've got some nerve." I didn't even look at her. I directly looked at He Bao and a few instructors. Everyone here who spoke nonsense to me. Throw them all out of Imperial Capital Academy for me, and they will never have the right to enter the academy again. Yang Li sneered. You say we can't enter the academy, so we can't enter? Who do you think you are? Can you also order around the instructors of Imperial Capital Academy as you please? However, just as she finished speaking, He Bao grabbed her wrist. Soon, a few more miserable screams were heard. The muscular man, the student knocked down by the badge, and Chen and Yang Li were completely subdued. Yang Li was stunned. Aren't you guys instructors? This show-off is just a student. Why do you have to listen to him? As soon as she finished speaking, a crisp slap was heard. Yang Li turned her head. A stream of fresh blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. I slowly lowered my hand. Chu Langsing subconsciously took a few steps back, not daring to speak. The surrounding students who knew Chu Langsing were dumbfounded to see him retreat. They didn't think that the usually domineering young master also had someone he was afraid of. Just when the surrounding atmosphere became even weirder, Mu Shang from Class 6, who had sworn to make me look good, quickly pushed the headmaster in his wheelchair over. She pointed at me. Headmaster, it's this man. He's been running rampant in the academy. He is a scourge. If we don't expel him according to the academy's rules, the academy will be in chaos. Everyone saw the headmaster in the wheelchair and thought my doom was coming. After all, as a student, publicly beating up a fellow student, and the circumstances were extremely severe. According to the academy's regulations, he should be expelled. However, just when everyone was waiting for the headmaster to punish me, he frowned at Mu Sheng. Next, what he said made all the students feel like their worldview was collapsing. I think everyone knows that I am about to retire. Now, I will seriously tell you, the acting headmaster who will replace me has already arrived at the academy and has gone deep among you. To understand the basic situation of the academy, saying that, the headmaster smiled and turned to look at me. He continued, "Now, let me introduce you. This person is the one who will be replacing my position, Headmaster Sia." As soon as the headmaster finished speaking, the surroundings were deathly silent. No one thought that I, who came from a small city, would become the acting headmaster. Before everyone could react, I looked at the few people who were being restrained. I said coldly, "Throw them out." And Chen, who was being held down, stared at me in disbelief. Gritting his teeth, "Why are you the acting headmaster?" "I am going to the War Department to demand an explanation." I frowned. A silver glint flashed at my fingertip. A silver needle pierced his neck. "Since you don't know how to speak, don't speak ever again." And Shen's eyes widened in horror. He wanted to scream, but no sound came out. Yang Le and the other three trembled in fear. They were dragged out by the instructor. They were green with regret. Everyone looked at me with complicated expressions. Mu Ru froze on the spot, as if she'd seen a ghost. I glanced at her coldly. "Roll out on your own, or should I help you?" Mu Ru clenched her fists. "Do you know who you've offended?" I grabbed her by the neck. "Who?" Mu Ru trembled in fear. She didn't dare to scream. "Idiot." I carelessly threw her to the ground. I turned and scanned the crowd. "Any more opinions?" The students shook their heads in unison. I said coldly, "Then get back to training." The crowd immediately dispersed. They lined up for formation. The former headmaster approached. "Headmaster Gu, the great families want to hold a selection for the 100-man troop. Would you like to watch?" I raised an eyebrow. "Selling spots?" The former headmaster shook his head. "Not entirely." "I'll take you there tonight." After the military training ended, I waved the book and gave Xia Qingming a wicked smile. "Let's find a quiet place to play the overbearing CEO game." Xia Qingming's eyes lit up. She pulled me away. Inside a bookstore, I pinned her against the wall, smirking, trying so hard to seduce me. "What do you want?" Xia Qingming was flustered. Then, she smiled charmingly. "Whatever I want. You'll give it to me?" My face turned cold. "You're not qualified to negotiate terms. 100 to buy you a bowl." Seeing her unsightly expression, I reluctantly said, 120. Can't go any higher. I was about to kiss her. Suddenly, a chilling intent attacked. Snowflakes fluttered down. I snapped my head up. Killing intent flashed in my eyes. I raised my hand, and an Earth character star card appeared at my fingertips. A heavy aura spread out. The snowflakes began to melt in midair. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps rang out. A moment later, a figure appeared before us. I saw the newcomer, and a hint of surprise flashed in my eyes. A moment later, a young woman appeared before me, both demonic and pure. I looked at her, full of killing intent. "Speak. How do you want to die?" The young woman looked at me. An arrogant smile appeared in her eyes. "You are very lucky. Congratulations. You have the honor of becoming my companion. Form a pact with me. I will help you become the strongest, standing at the very peak." Hearing this, I sneered. Companion. I am afraid you're not qualified for that. After speaking, my expression suddenly turned cold. At the same time, my fingers moved again. Next to the Earth character star card, a Wood character star card appeared. The young woman raised an eyebrow slightly. 2 star cards, but then she shook her head. People from our world, even with 2 star cards, cannot use them at the same time. It's not very effective. The moment she finished speaking, a streak of light flashed. In an instant, the 2 star cards merged into one. Waves surged in the young woman's eyes. It felt like a slap across her face. Those who can complete a star card fusion are all geniuses. She had never imagined. In this mid to low tier world, there would be a genius who could fuse 2 star cards. Before the young woman could react, a vine extended from the star card. It grew right in front of the young woman. From its tip, countless smaller vines suddenly sprouted, instantly surrounding the young woman. At that moment, a sword suddenly appeared in the young woman's hand. She waved the longsword. The vines were chopped into countless pieces. The young woman looked at me. Her initial disdain was gone. Even if you have 2 star cards, you still can't hurt me. Become my companion. I will help you get everything you want. Hearing that, I suddenly laughed. Can't hurt you? How about this? The moment I spoke, a metal character star card appeared at my fingertip. The young woman's face completely changed. 3 star cards. What kind of person are you? She had investigated before coming here. This world has very few star cards. There are almost no families that possess 2 star cards, but I had 3 star cards. The young woman was still in shock. The 3 star cards completed their fusion. At the same time, the vines wrapped around her again. Only this time, the vines had a metallic sheen and grew countless metal thorns. The young woman swung her sword again. However, this time she couldn't cut through the vines. It only left a small mark. The young woman shouted without hesitation. I surrender. She still wanted to win me over as a companion. There was no need for a lose-lose situation. The young woman looked at me ardently. I just looked at her blandly. I said, I want you to choose how to die. The young woman hesitated. Then, an ancient book appeared in her hand. The ancient book appeared, emitting a heavy aura. This book was no ordinary object. Become my companion. The young woman's voice was tinged with an ancient, bewitching quality. This book will be yours. I was not swayed. I just looked at the young woman and asked, what is this book? The young woman continued. The Book of Stars, an ancient book passed down from antiquity. It was once prophesied that the one who can make this book acknowledge them as its master is the destined emperor of all heavens and realms. I chuckled. That powerful? What does it do? Specifically, the young woman focused on me. Form a companion pact with me, and I will tell you. I shook my head again, but I am not interested in becoming a companion to a fox. Hearing this, the young woman was flustered. Her disguise was very good. How did I find out? Before she could speak, I continued. A companion is definitely out of the question, but a pet can be considered. The young woman's expression turned cold. You are insolent. However, the moment the young woman finished speaking, I grabbed her by the neck. The young woman clearly felt a sense of suffocation. Before she could react, a drop of fresh blood suddenly flew from my finger and entered her forehead. The next moment, the young woman's mind was branded with a seal. The young woman froze completely. At this moment, Xia Qingming spoke coldly. What? Is being a pet not good enough? The young woman stiffly turned her head. She met Xia Qingming's eyes and couldn't help but shrink back. Xia Qingming suddenly raised her hand and grabbed her by the collar. The next moment, a white light flashed. A silver-white snow fox appeared in Xia Qingming's hands. Bewilderment lingered in the snow fox's eyes. Xia Qingming placed the fox on my shoulder. Her voice was cold. If you dare to seduce him, it'll make sure you lose the ability to find a male fox forever. The little fox's heart fluttered under her gaze. It quickly nodded. I smiled gently at Xia Qingming. I stroked the little fox on my shoulder. Your name is Shu Wei Yu. The little fox nodded. I spoke to it through our pact. Call me master. Let me hear it. The little fox fur bristled immediately. Don't bully a fox too much. I laughed and stopped teasing it. I bent down to pick up the Book of Stars from the ground. I tried to open this book, but it wouldn't open no matter what. I quickly gave up. Tilting my head, I looked at the little fox on my shoulder. Now you can tell me what this book does. The little fox hesitated. It replied in my mind. Actually, I came to this world to find the star essence, to open this ancient book, but I ran into enemies who were chasing me. They seriously injured me, although I got some clues about the star essence, but because I can't maintain my human form for long, I haven't had a chance to continue the search. I raised an eyebrow. Star essence, I said. The initial, half of the star essence that the Gu family head gave me appeared in my hand. I have half of it here. Do you have clues about the other half? The little fox's eyes immediately lit up. I know where the other half is. The little fox named a location. Hearing this, I smiled. Originally, I just wanted to watch the excitement tonight, but now it seems I have to make the trip. I collected my thoughts. I looked at Xia Qingming again and stepped forward. Xia Qingming subconsciously took a few steps back. I directly pushed her against the wall. and my words came out, making Shy Qingming's breathing quicken. I said with a smile, "Darling, let's continue." With that, I wrapped my arm around Shy Qingming's waist, kissing Sha Qingming's thin lips. My hand also slid down from her waist. The little fox subconsciously covered its eyes. But the hall door was suddenly pushed open. The headmaster was in a wheelchair. He appeared at the main door. Behind him were many students. Everyone saw Shy Qingming being pushed against the wall and kissed. They all froze. I heard the commotion and pulled away from Xie Qingming. The murderous glare in my eyes could not be hidden at all. The former headmaster cried out inwardly. Without hesitation, he started explaining. That is, some students disappeared here. I was worried something happened to you. Hearing this, my expression softened slightly. I picked up the little fox. Where are those missing students? The former headmaster and the students, hearing me talk to a fox, they all thought I was possessed. The little fox's resentful voice echoed in my mind. They're all alive. Ill, let them go. I nodded, and the next moment, a light flashed at the top of the bookstore. The sound of several footsteps came from upstairs. Everyone felt awkward hearing the commotion. A few students came down the stairs. Their faces were haggard. Many people looked at me in shock. A student who came down greeted the headmaster. The headmaster looked at the only male student among them. This male student looked to be in his 20s. He was the only other male god besides Xiao Yunqi, Rong Jingyan. The headmaster sighed in relief. Follow me, about what happened during this time. I need to understand it thoroughly. He greeted me a little uneasily. Seeing that I didn't object, he then led them away. Before leaving with the headmaster, Rong Jingyan turned his head to look at Xia Qingming and smiled faintly. Xia Qingming? Thank you. Although he couldn't see the situation here clearly, he felt that Xia Qingming had saved him. Seeing this, the four people beside him also thanked Xia Qingming. The headmaster then left the hall. However, a few students had no sense of not disturbing others. They had no intention of leaving. I secretly memorized their faces, leaving the hall. During the afternoon training, the students I had memorized received my full and special attention. Some of them almost ended up in the hospital. During that time, Xia Qingming's little assistant came once to take Xia Qingming to handle some matters. Soon, it was time for school to end. I went directly to the hall in front of the headmaster's office. However, as soon as I entered the hall, I ran into Director Chen. Director Chen saw me. A flash of killing intent appeared in his eyes. He said, "Should I say you have courage? Or should I say you're not afraid of death?" It was just after school. Many passing students noticed the commotion here. Because of my status as the acting headmaster, no one dared to step forward. Looking at Director Chen, as if looking at an idiot, Director Chen still dares to cause trouble for me now. Isn't this just asking for it? I glanced blandly at Director Chen. I am not interested in wasting time with you here right now. After speaking, I looked directly at the people around. I need 10 people, as long as you can throw him out of the academy. Each person will be rewarded with 1 academic credit. Director Chen was disdainful. He snorted coldly. Academic credit? Who do you think you are? A student's academic credit. But before Director Chen could finish, several students rushed forward and restrained him. Director Chen was bewildered. Just as he was about to be thrown out of the academy, the former headmaster happened to walk out of the hall. Director Chen saw the former headmaster. His eyes lit up. However, when he saw the person next to the former headmaster, his expression suddenly changed. Not just Director Chen. The students who saw that person also stopped in their tracks. It was a middle-aged woman. She wore a War Department badge on her chest, a 4-star high-ranking commander. Just 1 step away from being a Grand Commander. Why would such an important figure appear in the academy? The middle-aged woman saw the chaotic scene before her. She couldn't help but frown. She looked at the headmaster and asked, "Headmaster, what is going on here?" Before the former headmaster could speak, Director Chen quickly said, "Headmaster, this student has disrespected his superior. Not only did he break my arm, he even conspired with these students to throw me out of the academy. I asked the headmaster to expel this student according to the academy's regulations, and to deal with these students as well." The middle-aged woman, that is, Cheng Minjing, heard this and looked over. Seeing my calm and composed attitude, a hint of surprise flashed in her eyes. It was the first time she had seen a student who, after beating up a high-level academy staff member, could still be so calm and composed. The moment Director Chen finished speaking, the students looked at Director Chen. As if looking at an idiot, Cheng Minjing was flustered. The headmaster spoke icily. "Chen Niansheng, this Imperial City Academy has no place for you. Go pack your things and prepare to leave." Director Chen was stunned, but in his eyes. Even if the headmaster wanted to protect me, he had to at least put on a show. Even if I wasn't directly expelled, I definitely wouldn't have a good outcome. But he didn't expect. Not only did the headmaster not punish me, he even wanted to expel him. Cheng Minjing also looked at the headmaster with suspicion. She quite liked thorny little characters like me. The first time she saw me, she wanted to pull me into the War Department, but rules are rules. If the headmaster, because of my mistake, arbitrarily dealt with a high-level academy staff member, she couldn't agree to that either. Director Chen came to his senses. He took a deep breath and questioned the headmaster. Headmaster, even if I have to die, shouldn't you let me die with a clear reason? The former headmaster frowned at this. What is unclear to you? Hearing this, Director Chen's face grew uglier. I want to know, that lowly student from a small city, what right does he have to your headmaster's badge? The former headmaster's face turned cold. You said, who was the lowly student from a small city? Director Chen sneered. He wasn't interested in continuing this nonsense with the headmaster. He turned his head to look at Cheng Minjing. Commander, this person across from me is just a newly enrolled freshman, but on his first day, he received the headmaster's badge, and he's used the badge to wreak havoc in the academy. I implore you to report this to the War Department, to dismiss the headmaster, and expel this student. Cheng Minjing frowned at this. Before she could speak, the headmaster laughed. Disrespecting teachers. Not understanding hierarchy, he, as the acting headmaster, needs your respect. What student? What teacher? Understand what student hierarchy. The moment the headmaster finished speaking, Director Chen froze on the spot. He looked at the former headmaster in disbelief. Acting headmaster? Cheng Minjing also froze upon hearing this, but she quickly understood and nodded. So I really am, from the War Department. In that case, he wants to recruit me under his command. It should be much easier. Director Chen came to his senses. He sneered disdainfully. Headmaster, even if you want to defend him, you don't need to make up such an absurd reason. The War Department would send such a smelly brat to be the headmaster? Do you take me for a fool? The headmaster took a letter from his briefcase and slapped it onto Director Chen's chest. This is the appointment letter for the acting headmaster just issued by the War Department. See for yourself. Director Chen stiffly lowered his head, looking at the letter that fell to the ground. But he didn't dare to bend down and pick it up. He knew clearly in his heart, the headmaster would absolutely not dare to forge a War Department document. So he isn't a student. Director Chen's face turned pale. His lips trembled. He's the new headmaster. Just as she was hesitating whether to beg for mercy, a furious shout suddenly came from the distance. Who dares to touch my mother? Director Chen looked up. A look of joy immediately appeared on his face. Her daughter, Chen Feiyu, was running over quickly. This ultimate commander from the War Department had just arrived. She immediately saluted Cheng Minjing respectfully. Mom, your hand. Chen Feiyu looked sorrowfully at her mother's swollen red wrist. Mom is fine. Go back quickly. Director Chen was afraid her daughter would offend Cheng Minjing. She waved her hands repeatedly. But Chen Feiyu followed her mother's gaze and locked onto me. You're the one who hurt my mother. It was me. I nodded calmly. Is there a problem? A problem. Chen Feiyu sneered. Once I break your arm, there will be no problem. She charged towards me fiercely. The former headmaster was about to stop her, but was stopped by Cheng Minjing. Cheng Minjing wanted to use this opportunity to probe my strength. Bam! I slapped her in the chest. Chen Feiyu. She staggered back a few steps. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. Cheng Minjing's eyes lit up. A good seedling. This is definitely the most talented warrior she has ever met. Comrade, Cheng Minjing took a step forward and said seriously, the new Grand Commander is organizing the 100-man troop. If you are willing to become my direct subordinate, I can directly give you an official spot. The entire field was in an uproar. The students looked at me with envy. The former headmaster's eyes also widened in surprise. I remained calm. I didn't know spots in the 100-man troop could be internally decided. The moment I finished speaking, the surroundings suddenly fell silent. At this moment, everyone looked at me, stunned. I didn't just immediately. He even dares to question Cheng Minjing's authority. You should agree first and then talk. The former headmaster was afraid I would anger Cheng Minjing and lose this spot. He quickly reminded me, Headmaster Gu, now is not the time to ask about this. I acted as if I didn't hear, silently looking at Cheng Minjing. Cheng Minjing's face grew even colder. The former headmaster became even more worried. Headmaster Jiu. Before the former headmaster could continue, Cheng Minjing suddenly raised her hand to interrupt him. She looked at me with a cold face. This comrade, are you disbelieving my words, or questioning my ability? Cheng Minjing's gaze was extremely aggressive. My expression remained calm. I simply want to ask. Internally, deciding a spot in the 100-man troop. Did it get Feng Shen's permission? This sentence of mine shocked everyone. They were sure I was crazy, angering Cheng Minjing. What benefit is there for me? Cheng Minjing said coldly. Right. I didn't think that I, Cheng Minjing, would also misjudge someone. Consider what I just said as unsaid. After saying that, she walked directly towards the academy's main gate. The headmaster couldn't stop her. He could only sigh. I looked at Cheng Minjing's retreating back thoughtfully. The former headmaster sighed with regret. An official spot in the 100-man troop. Such a good thing. And it was lost. Just like that. The students looked at me as if I were a freak. They suspected there was something wrong with my head. Any normal person would agree to join the 100-man troop. I turned my head to look at the former headmaster. Let's go. The former headmaster said awkwardly. Go where? I frowned. To the activity location you mentioned this morning. Hearing this, the former headmaster looked at me with an even more complicated expression. My purpose in wanting to take you there. Was hoping you could get a spot in the 100-man troop, but that spot was just delivered to your hands. And you didn't take it. What's the point of going now? I retorted. When did I say that I am going in order to join the 100-man troop? The headmaster was flustered again. He felt completely unable to understand me. I wasn't interested in wasting words with him either. I started walking towards the main gate. The headmaster hesitated, but finally followed. Everyone else also quickened their pace to follow. They wanted to see if I would do something earth-shattering. Cheng Minjing took a car to the Xie family's luxurious mansion. Her expression was still gloomy. Just as she was about to enter the Xie family's main gate, a car stopped beside her. Gumunya stepped out of the car. Cheng Minjing felt the powerful aura around her and stopped in her tracks. Gumunya saw the War Department badge on Cheng Minjing's chest. She was flustered at first. She quickly stepped forward to greet Cheng Minjing. Hello. Cheng Minjing nodded. Seeing this, Gumunya prepared to leave. Cheng Minjing suddenly pressed her shoulder. Gumunya instinctively leaned to the side, and in a counter move, controlled Cheng Minjing's hand. But she quickly realized what she had done. Gumunya quickly took a step back, preparing to apologize. Cheng Minjing raised her hand to stop her. To have such strength and reaction speed at such a young age, your future is promising. Gumunya quickly opened her mouth. Thank you for your praise, Commander. Cheng Minjing smiled and asked, What's your name, comrade? Gumunya replied, My name is Gumunya. Cheng Minjing nodded. Comrade Munya, are you here today for the recommendation spot for the 100-man troop? Gumunya nodded. Yes, to be precise. A comrade in arms told her that a spot was given from above. She wanted to come and try her luck. Cheng Minjing immediately smiled and said, Work under me from now on. I will fight for one for you. An internally decided spot in the 100-man troop. Internally decided? Gumunya was flustered. There's such a good thing. Cheng Minjing saw Gumunya's reaction and frowned. You don't believe I have this ability? Having the recent experience with me, Gumunya quickly said, Of course. I believe her. After speaking, she saluted Cheng Minjing again. To be appreciated by you is my honor. I will definitely not disappoint you, Commander. Hearing this, Cheng Minjing showed a satisfied expression. This is the reaction one should have upon hearing her words. It seems my luck isn't bad. I hope you can make me proud. Let that person who just questioned me understand what he has lost. Gumunya didn't understand. Questioned? Cheng Minjing smiled and nodded. Yes, I just met a warrior who is not as good as you. He questioned whether I could provide an internally decided spot. Cheng Minjing was a little glad at this moment. If I had just decided, I would have missed out on Gumunya. Gumunya was flustered upon hearing this. You gave him such a good opportunity. Not only was he ungrateful, he even questioned your words. Cheng Minjing sighed. Yes. Gumunya's face turned cold. She was immediately filled with righteous indignation. I can't believe the War Department still has such an ungrateful person. Rest assured, when I enter the 100-man troop, I will definitely strive to improve my strength. If I meet him in the future, I will make him regret coming into this world. The moment she finished speaking, she saw me walking over. The moment she saw me, Gumunya stiffened slightly. Why is this male devil appearing here? Cheng Minjing looked at me. The smile on her face immediately faded. I walked up to Gumunya and sized her up. I didn't realize before that you had such lofty ambitions, but your current strength is not enough to support your ambition. After speaking, I raised my hand and patted Gumunya's shoulder. You must start doubling your efforts tomorrow. Gumunya froze. What ambition did she have? She just wanted to enter the 100-man troop. Could it be that I think she should rely on her own strength to get into the 100-man troop? At this point, Gumunya's expression became serious. She quickly turned to look at Cheng Minjing and said, Commander, it is my honor to be appreciated by you. But, I think, I should rely on my own ability to enter the 100-man troop. If my own strength is not enough, and I take someone else's spot, not only is it unfair to others, it's also irresponsible to myself. Cheng Minjing froze upon hearing this. She had been rejected once again. But thinking that Gumunya had agreed to work under her, she thought it was acceptable. She looked at Gumunya with appreciation, a young lady with a future. This time, it seemed she had really found a treasure. Gumunya not only has strong strength and reaction ability, she also has such a heart and spirit. Such a person decided to follow her. Thinking of this, Cheng Minjing revealed a proud smile. She hesitated and took out a silver ring from her pocket. Munya, consider this a greeting gift from me. Wear this ring. People in the war zone will understand that you are my person. Your future work will be much more convenient. Hearing this, Gumunya looked at my expression. It was certain it hadn't changed much. Only then did she sigh in relief. Then she looked at the ring in Cheng Minjing's hand. If she got this ring, it was basically equivalent to being able to walk sideways in the war zone. Gumunya took a deep breath. She looked at Cheng Minjing and spoke respectfully. Thank you, Commander Cheng. If there's anything in the future, just give the order. I will definitely do my best to complete it. Cheng Minjing smiled and patted her shoulder again. Get first place in today's activity. Let that brat, who dared to question my authority, understand clearly that there are many people stronger than him. Without him, I will only find more outstanding talents than him. Gu Munya looked at the ring and immediately said with a serious face, "In the activity later, if he takes the stage on his own initiative, I will openly and honorably exchange blows with him. If he doesn't dare to go up, I'll force him onto the stage even if I have to drag him." Hearing this, Cheng Minjing immediately laughed out loud. "Good girl. You have a future." After Cheng Minjing finished speaking, she wanted to pull Gu Munya into the Xie family's main gate. Rong Jingyan's voice suddenly came. "Auntie Cheng." Cheng Minjing tilted her head slightly and saw Rong Jingyan getting out of a car. Cheng Minjing immediately stood up straight, then bowed slightly. "Your Highness." Rong Jingyan quickly stepped forward and supported Cheng Minjing's arm. "Auntie Cheng, you don't need to mind these empty formalities when you see me." Gu Munya was flustered. She quickly spoke, respectfully. "Your Highness." Although she didn't know Rong Jingyan's identity, from Cheng Minjing's reaction, she could guess a little. Rong Jingyan smiled at Gu Munya. "No need for formalities." After speaking, he tilted his head slightly to look at me standing beside them. Cheng Minjing also looked at me. Seeing I had no intention of greeting him, her face turned completely cold. "You don't even greet His Highness when you see him." I had already guessed Rong Jingyan's identity. I still had no intention of greeting him. Seeing me not move, Cheng Minjing's face became even uglier. Just as she was about to strike me in anger, Rong Jingyan suddenly raised his hand. "Auntie Cheng. He's just a commoner. It's normal that he hasn't met me. I don't mind this small matter. Let's go in." After speaking, he didn't look at me again. The main gate of the Xie family, Cheng Minjing glanced at me, and also followed them into the Xie family's main gate. Glad I didn't give me the spot. Otherwise, it would have just been a waste of a good opportunity. The Xie family head quickly came to welcome them, his face full of smiles. "Prince Rong, Commander Chen, my apologies for not welcoming you." Rong Jingyan chuckled lightly. "Auntie Xia." The Xia family head quickly waved his hand. "Your Highness, you'll be the death of me. Where is Xia Qingming?" Rong Jingyan got straight to the point. "Your Highness knows my daughter." The Xia family head was surprised. "She saved my life." Rong Jingyan explained simply. The Xia family head's eyes lit up. "This is fate. I will definitely tell her to seize this well." Before he finished speaking, I pushed the door open. "Auntie Xia, we meet again." Rong Jingyan frowned. Cheng Minjing sneered. "A mere mid-level commander dares to claim a connection. Who would have thought the Xia family head would immediately say respectfully, 'Commander Gu, you've arrived. Please come in.'" Cheng Minjing froze. Her gaze became complicated. She secretly guessed, this person must have a powerful backer. Entering the backyard, I casually took a piece of cake. Rong Jingyan observed me and asked probingly, "Is it good? If you want some, get it yourself." I didn't even raise my head. Rong Jingyan didn't give up. "You didn't often eat this kind of cake before." "None of your business." My one sentence made him choke. Just as the atmosphere became awkward, a middle-aged woman took the stage. "Everyone, please be quiet." The courtyard immediately fell silent. The middle-aged woman nodded to everyone. "Welcome everyone to tonight's activity. I am here to briefly introduce to everyone who participated in the Grand Leader Feng Xian's family banquet last night has received 3 recommendation slots for the 100-man troop. In order not to waste those few slots, the family heads have decided that all slots will be given to the capable. Now, each family with a slot has chosen 3 candidates, and will have the 3 candidates ranked by strength. After she finished speaking, she stepped to the side of the stone stage. She pointed a hand at the screen behind the stone stage. "Please look at the screen." As soon as she finished speaking, the screen displayed the names of the great families of the Imperial City, the names of the 3 candidates, and the corresponding warrior level of the candidates. I took a quick look. Most of the candidates are intermediate-level warriors. There are also a few junior-level and high-level warriors, but only 3 people. The host spoke again. "Powerful individuals in the academy who did not get a recommendation slot can still challenge the family candidates. As long as you win, you can replace the original family candidate and get the slot. In the future, when that family faces a crisis, you should lend a helping hand." As soon as the host's words fell, many people's eyes revealed a feverish excitement. To them, as long as they could defeat the corresponding family member, they could get a recommendation slot for the 100-man troop. This activity was like a godsend to them. The host spoke again. "Additionally, candidates can also challenge each other. In the end, the strongest candidate will be chosen and receive the supreme honor along with their family. If anyone wants to challenge, you may begin." After the host finished speaking, Rong Jingyan across from me tilted his head and gave a faint smile. "Hearing how the head of the Xia family addresses you, I think you must be a warrior. Want to go up and give it a try?" I looked at him faintly, not interested. The smile on the corner of Rong Jingyan's lips faded. "Not interested? Or can't win?" Before I could answer, a voice suddenly came out. "Ill, go first." Everyone looked towards the voice. Gu Mue stepped out, a peak-level intermediate warrior. At this age, her strength is considered the best among her peers. Gu Mue went up to the stone stage. She scanned the screen. She randomly chose a peak-level junior warrior. That junior warrior went up to the stone stage trembling. However, in just a few seconds, he was kicked off by Gumui. Everyone looked at Gumui with adoration, gasped. So strong. The host's voice came out in a timely manner. Su Tianju of the XU family is defeated. Gumui heard this. She felt a sense of satisfaction. At this moment, she saw Chang Minjing below. She immediately thought of her promise to Chang Minjing. Plus, she was enjoying the pleasure of tormenting people. She wanted to feel it again. She immediately looked down and said, Commander Chang has shown me great favor. She is the person I, Gumui, will strive to follow. She was kind enough to give you a chance. Not only were you ungrateful, you even spoke ill of her. If I, Gumui, didn't know about this, it would be one thing. But since I know, I can't just sit and watch. As soon as Gumui's words fell, the surroundings fell into a dead silence. I looked at Gumui. I was also a little surprised. Why didn't I know Gumui had such a temper? Everyone heard this. They looked at Chang Minjing, who was so bold to dare provoke Commander Chang. With the strength of the person on stage, that person is definitely unlucky today. Chang Minjing looked at Gumui with even more satisfaction. Right after, she turned her head to look at me. When she saw I was still eating cake, she immediately became more disappointed. In her eyes, my calmness now either meant I didn't take Gumui seriously, or I had no intention of going on stage at all. Both proved that she had misjudged me before. Seeing no one come out, everyone was clearly getting a little impatient. Where is he? Why isn't he coming out? Anyone with a bit of backbone wouldn't cower like that. Gumui heard the voices speaking up for her. She immediately felt more confident. Say it again now. If you're a man, stand up for me. I stood up from my chair. I spoke unhurriedly. So a woman is the one who has to stand up. Didn't Commander Chang tell you I am not a woman? Gumui froze on the spot. Her mind fell into chaos. Heaven can't play like this. She's going to get someone killed. Just as Gumui was stunned, gasps of surprise rose from the crowd. Commander Gu. Commander Gu is here again. Actually, I just saw him, but I didn't dare to greet Commander Go. Chang Minjing saw the reactions of the family heads. She was certain I came from some great family, but then a trace of doubt flashed in her eyes. Someone who is so well known by these family heads. Why does she have no impression of him? Gumui looked at me. Commander Ju? What? I wasn't talking about you. Quickly sit down. Gumui's legs were clearly trembling slightly. I looked at her and smiled. Is that so? Well, no, if I asked that Commander Cheng. Gumui's face stiffened. Seeing Cheng Minjing nod at her, she suddenly felt like the sky was falling. I walked onto the stone stage to face Gumui in a fight. Gumui looked at me. She wanted to beat herself to death. Everyone watched us face off on the stage. They all sighed with emotion. I really didn't expect. The one conflicting with Commander Cheng is actually Commander Gu. This time, there's a good show to watch. I looked at Gumui. Go on. How do you want to teach me to be a better person? Gumui really wanted to cry. Teach a male demon to be a better person. Isn't this trying to get her killed? Seeing Gumui didn't answer, I raised an eyebrow and hummed lightly. Gumui heard it. Her body trembled violently. She almost fell to the ground. She looked at me, wanting to explain. It finally came out as I was wrong. As soon as the words were spoken, the surroundings fell into a dead silence again. Soon, sounds of disbelieving discussion arose. Commander Cheng's favored subordinate is actually so afraid of Commander Gu. Commander Gus' strength is great, but it shouldn't be to the point of making Gumui lose all will to fight. Gumui hurriedly took off her ring. As if fleeing, she rushed down from the high stage. She presented the ring to Cheng Minjing. Commander Cheng, this is what you gave me. I am sorry. I am not worthy of it. I am returning it to you now. Cheng Minjing looked at the ring in front of her. She only felt an invisible slap. Slapping her old face, she calmed her surging emotions. She stared at Gumui and asked, Do you know by returning this ring to me, what you will lose? Without waiting for Gumui's reply, she looked up at me. As long as I am in the 100-man troop for a day, you can forget about entering the 100-man troop for a day. After she finished speaking, under everyone's stunned gazes, she turned to look at me. She continued, And you? I don't know what wicked trick you used to make her go against my wishes, but I can responsibly tell you, a person like you can forever forget about stepping into the 100-man troop. As soon as Cheng Minjing's words fell, the surrounding family heads froze at the same time. I am the person in charge of the 100-man troop. If even I can't get into the 100-man troop, then who else can? Just as everyone was confused, I looked at Cheng Minjing, and words came from my mouth, causing Cheng Minjing and everyone else to freeze on the spot. I smiled and said, This Commander Cheng. I can clearly tell you who gets into the 100-man troop, and who doesn't. That's my business. It's not your place to point fingers in front of me. The surroundings fell silent. Cheng Minjing heard my words. Her face was full of disbelief. Since she became a high-ranking commander, no one had ever dared to be so disrespectful to her. The surrounding family heads were also stunned. They knew everything I said was the truth. But Cheng Minjing is a 4-star high-ranking commander. My words directly offended her. Wasn't I afraid of having my authority to decide the 100-man troop slots revoked? Thinking of this, many family heads' expressions changed at the same time. If the organizer of the 100-man troop was changed, each of their families wouldn't necessarily have 3 recommendation slots. Their efforts might be in vain. Before the family heads could speak, Cheng Minjing was already provoked by me. Stinky brat, you're not old, but your tone is quite big. Today, they'll make a promise right here. If you can really get into the 100-man troop, I, Cheng Minjing, will voluntarily renounce my 4-star high-ranking commander title, and from now on, withdraw from the Aisha Kingdom's War Department. Many family heads prepared to mediate the conflict between Cheng Minjing and me. Hearing this, they were all stunned. I don't need to join that 100-man troop. Without me, the 100-man troop can't even be formed. I looked at Cheng Minjing and spoke. Where is your brain? But since you've always considered the War Department, and you don't have much real malice towards me, you don't need to withdraw from the War Department. I finished speaking and paused, then I continued. But from now on, I don't want to see you. From now on, when you see me, you take a detour. Cheng Minjing froze again upon hearing this. She had never seen a junior who dared to speak so arrogantly in front of her. Just as Cheng Minjing was about to say something, a few surrounding family heads, afraid she would commit career suicide, quickly spoke up. The family heads' voices were earnest. Commander Cheng, you worked so hard to get to this position. You can't give it up so easily. Look, Commander Jiu is so young, and he's already become the new Grand Leader's confidant, and is in charge of organizing the 100-man troop. It's unavoidable that he's a bit young and aggressive. Please be more tolerant. The last person's words had just fallen. The anger on Cheng Minjing's face froze. She couldn't quite believe her ears. A family head looked at Cheng Minjing. He immediately understood what she was thinking. He immediately smiled and spoke. Commander Cheng, at last night's banquet, Grand Leader Feng Shen personally announced Commander Gus' identity. What just happened was all a misunderstanding. Why don't you two consider this a case of not getting acquainted without a fight? Hearing this, Cheng Minjing couldn't help but believe it. Her expression changed unpredictably. Thinking about what she had just done, she felt like she wanted to find a hole in the ground to crawl into. I looked at her with a half smile. Since this family head has said so, I naturally have to give him face. I remember Commander Cheng at the entrance thought very highly of Gu Muye. He wanted to give her a reserved spot. In that case, the first spot in the 100-man troop goes to Gu Muye. Commander Cheng, what do you think of my decision? Hearing this, Cheng Minjing only felt suffocated. The family heads heard this with complicated expressions. They had heard with their own ears Cheng Minjing say to Gu Muye, as long as she is in the War Department for a day, Gu Muye can forget about entering the 100-man troop. Wasn't I forcing Cheng Minjing into a corner? Gu Muye was also a little stunned. She never thought that one day I would acknowledge her. A feeling of being affirmed by her idol filled her heart. Cheng Minjing seemed about to faint from my angering her. I smiled. I just want Cheng Minjing to understand. You can't lose your vigilance just because you've been in a high position for a long time. And your caution, otherwise sooner or later you will cause a great disaster. Before everyone could recover, a few successive claps rang out. This family infighting drama is really good. Everyone looked towards the voice. A young woman walked out from a corner. To be honest, for the Shia Kingdom to rise to such a level in just a few years, it naturally has its unique aspects. I originally thought, although most parts of the Shia Kingdom are not as good as my Luo Ri Empire, there should be something worth learning. But I have to say, these two high-ranking commanders of the Chai Kingdom have disappointed me. As soon as the young woman's words fell, the black cloak she was wearing was opened. Inside was a long white robe. Some people around immediately recognized the clothes. They gasped, people of the Luo Ri Empire. As soon as the words fell, everyone looked at the young woman with hostility. Decades ago, the Luo Rai Empire once invaded the lands of the Shia Kingdom. Every person of the Shia Kingdom boycotts and is hostile to the Luo Ri Empire. Someone asked, not understanding, why are people from the Luo Ri Empire here? The head of the Shia family, even people from the Luo Rai Empire can sneak in. Is your security staff just eating for free? The head of the Iksha family looked at this young woman. His face was as gloomy as water. To be able to sneak in under layers of checks, you have some skill. But since you dared to come, don't bother going back. Hearing this, everyone's expressions softened a little. They looked at the young woman, full of killing intent. However, the young woman showed no signs of tension. She glanced faintly at everyone and snorted disdainfully. Your Exia Kingdom's monarch is begging to cooperate with my Luo Rai Empire. You, a mere family head, want to oppose my Luo Ri Empire. Hearing this, everyone was embarrassed. The killing intent on their faces grew stronger. The young woman seemed to not notice, but smiled and spoke. I have heard. As long as one is under 25, everyone is eligible to join the 100-man troop that the Shai Kingdom is about to form. It doesn't specify any nationality. After speaking, she looked at Gu Muye. If I didn't just hear wrong, she has already received an official spot in the 100-man troop. Then does that mean as long as I defeat her, I can join the 100-man troop? As soon as the young woman's words fell, everyone's expression changed almost at the same time. This person is clearly here to cause trouble. Gu Mui heard this. Her face turned cold. Defeat me. You? What big words. However, as soon as her words fell, the young woman suddenly grabbed her by the neck. Gu Muye instinctively grabbed the young woman's wrist, wanting to pull it away, but she soon discovered in despair. The young woman's hand was like an iron pincer. Even if she used all her strength, she still couldn't budge it an inch. As the feeling of suffocation continued to increase, she felt a sense of life-threatening crisis. Just when Gu Mui felt she was about to suffocate, the young woman suddenly raised her hand and threw. Gu Mui was immediately thrown out. She slammed heavily onto the ground. The young woman looked down at everyone as if they were ants. This kind of trash, in my Luorai Empire, doesn't even have the qualifications to join the War Department. But here, you treat her like a treasure. No wonder. When people from the Xi Kingdom go to the Outer Realm battlefield, they always exchange the greatest sacrifices for the weakest advantage. Your country is full of trash. If you didn't send so many people to their deaths, a country like yours would probably have been destroyed. I really don't understand. Why did Master have to send so many elites to the Shai Kingdom for a learning exchange? This backward, barbaric land, what is there worth us learning? Hearing this, the family heads froze. The Luorai Empire's War Department sent people to the Shai Kingdom. How is that possible? How could the High Command of the Xia Kingdom's War Department agree? A family head shouted. What nonsense are you talking about? The young woman heard this. Her expression was disdainful. Nonsense. In my Luorai Empire, strength is the truth. I'll make a statement here today. If there's anyone here under the age of 25 who can defeat me, I, Gong Tianyu, will shut up. But if there isn't, then the words I say, you can only listen obediently. However, as soon as Gong Tianyu's words fell, a strong gust of wind suddenly attacked from behind. He subconsciously leaned aside, but his cheek was still scratched, drawing a line of blood. He looked at Gu Muye. A hint of killing intent flashed in his eyes. Gong Tianyu wiped the fresh blood from his cheek. Then he put his finger to his lips and wiped it. He stared at Gu Muye, lowly peasant of the Xi Kingdom. You've successfully provoked me. After speaking, he didn't wait for Gu Muye to react. His figure flashed and immediately appeared in front of Gu Muye. Gu Muye's heart suddenly tightened, because the training from a few days ago had created muscle memory. Gu Muye subconsciously raised her hand to meet Gong Tianyu's fist. The sound of fists colliding rang out. Under that great force, Gu Muye's body flew out again. This time, she crashed directly into the central stone stage. Gu Muye spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Gong Tianyu stood in place, almost motionless. He looked at Gu Muye arrogantly. You should thank your opportunistic monarch. If he hadn't taken the initiative to show goodwill to my Luo-Ri Empire and invited the elites of the Luo-Ri Empire for an exchange, I would have directly executed this lowly person of the Xia Kingdom. As soon as Gong Tianyu's words fell, Gu Muye slowly raised her head. She stared at Gong Tianyu, word by word. You're courting death. As soon as the last word was spoken, Gu Muye found strength from somewhere and charged fiercely towards Gong Tianyu. Gong Tianyu saw Gu Muye. He frowned in annoyance. Stupid old rat of the Shai Kingdom. He unhurriedly raised his leg. Gu Muye's body was kicked away. Kicked away in an instant. She spat out a large mouthful of fresh blood. She seemed to feel no pain. The moment her body hit the ground, she charged towards Gong Tianyu again. This time, before Gong Tianyu could act, she pounced on his leg and held it tightly. She bit down directly. Gong Tianyu felt a sharp pain in his leg. He screamed. He looked down at Gu Muye. A sense of humiliation welled up. Damn it. Him, Gong Tianyu, was injured twice by this lowly person of the Xia Kingdom. Under extreme anger, he no longer showed mercy. He attacked Gu Muye frantically. The sound of Gu Muye's ribs breaking echoed. However, Gu Muye still had no intention of letting go. The extreme pain seemed to stimulate her nerves. She bit down even harder. At this moment, a madness was revealed in Gu Muye's eyes. If she doesn't make it today, Gong Tianyu can also forget about leaving here in one piece. I looked at Gu Muye and nodded with satisfaction. In previous training, Gu Muye lacked a certain fierceness. If she didn't overcome this hurdle, she would never be able to become a high-level warrior in a short time. But now, Gong Tianyu has triggered her spirit. It wasn't in vain that I deliberately said I'd give Gu Muye the first spot to draw him out and have Gong Tianyu aim his spearhead at her. Gong Tianyu faintly felt a large piece of flesh was about to leave his body. His attacks also gradually fell into a frenzy. The sound of breaking bones came from all over Gu Muye's body. Her body was already a bloody mess. Her breathing also gradually weakened. However, even so, the force of her bite did not loosen. The family heads were all fired up. Save her. Beat him to death. In my Xia Kingdom's land, it's not the turn for someone from the small Luo-Rai country to cause trouble. Just as everyone was about to rush forward, an ice-cold shout came. Everyone, stop for me. Everyone in Gong Tianyu stopped their actions almost at the same time. They looked towards the voice. A line of more than 10 people slowly walked over. Leading them were two middle-aged women. One of them was wearing the uniform of the Luo Rai Empire's War Department. His title was equivalent to a Grand Leader of the War Department, but everyone's gaze only swept past him and fell on the woman next to him. They gasped. Leader Rong saw the woman immediately. This person is one of the 4 great leaders of the Shai Kingdom's War Department, the 3rd leader. Rong Jingxuan, also the only younger sister of the supreme ruler of the Shai Kingdom. No exaggeration. Rong Jingyan saw Rong Jingxuan immediately and subconsciously stood up. Rong Jingxuan's gaze swept over Gong Tianyu and Go Muye. She looked at Gong Tianyu. Her tone allowed no doubt. Let her go for me. Gong Tianyu only looked at her faintly. He had no intention of letting go. The leader of the Luo Ri Empire stepped forward and spoke with a smile. Leader Rong, your Xi kingdom has always claimed to be a nation of etiquette. You're telling my person to let go first. Shouldn't this CA kingdom warrior first, for her lack of etiquette, kneel down and apologize to my warrior? Rong Jingxuan's face immediately turned cold, without even asking for the cause of the matter. Leader Gong tells my XIA kingdom person to kneel and apologize. Don't people from the Luo Ri Empire use their brains when they do things? The smile on the Luo Ri Empire leader's face froze. He turned his head to look at Gong Tianyu. Gong Tianyu endured the pain and spoke to explain. I just wanted to challenge this person who was internally selected as the first member of the 100-man troop, but unfortunately, in my eyes, she is just trash. All the lowly peasants of the Xia Kingdom under 25 here are trash. Hearing this, the Luo Rai Empire leader said to Rong Jingxuan, Leader Rong, you heard that. This warrior of mine invited your Xia Kingdom people to a friendly spar. This person from your Xia Kingdom lost, but used such unruly methods to retaliate against my countrymen. Such actions are truly despicable. If this matter cannot be resolved satisfactorily today, then the elite delegation my Luo Ri Empire brought will have no reason to stay for this learning exchange. Gong Tianyu heard this and spoke disdainfully. This person at my feet is the first member of the soon-to-be-established 100-man troop of the Shia Kingdom. The most important first member has such lowly strength. I think we are completely wasting our time here. Hearing this, the Luo Rai Empire leader looked at Rong Jingxuan and asked, Leader Rong, is the strength of your Xia Kingdom's people really all so become unbearable, unworthy? Rong Jingxuan's face immediately darkened. She had to admit a truth. Except for the ones I personally trained, the strength of the Sky Wolf Troop is still decent. The remaining young people in the Xia Kingdom's War Department are truly not a match for the warriors of the Luo Ri Empire. Seeing this, the Luo Rai Empire leader's expression also gradually turned cold. Leader Rong, initially, because of the existence of the Sky Wolf Troop, I had high hopes for your Ixai Kingdom. But if your Xia Kingdom's younger generation only has this much strength, we, the Luo Rai Empire, really don't need to stay here for a bunch of trash. Rong Jingxuan's expression immediately became uglier regarding the words of the Luo Rai Empire leader. She really didn't know how to refute them. Just as the atmosphere was getting tense, I stepped out unhurriedly. The family heads were all a little stunned to see me. Gong Tianyu looked at me playfully. I walked over to Gu Muye. I bent down and fed Gu Muye a pill. Gu Muye, with her fading consciousness, opened her mouth. The pill entered her mouth and dissolved into her body. The medicinal power spread through her body. Gu Muye tried hard to open her eyes. Seeing my face, she opened her mouth. She spoke with difficulty. Boss, I am sorry. I have embarrassed you. I looked at her faintly. Train well from now on. Gu Muye immediately replied. Yes. I curled the corner of my lips. Then I stood up and looked at the leader of the Luo Ri Empire. An extremely powerful aura spread out from around me. Everyone around held their breath at the same time. Whispers came from the crowd. Commander Gu is under 25. Is he capable of defeating that Gong Tianyu? Probably not. If Commander Gu was confident, he would have acted sooner. The Luo Rai Empire leader felt my gaze. His face immediately turned cold. Gong Tianyu suddenly laughed disdainfully. He stared at me. What? You want to stand up for the women of your country? I didn't even give him a glance. I kept looking straight at the Luo Ri Empire leader and spoke faintly. 10 days. Hearing this, the Luo Ri Empire leader frowned. What, 10 days? I raised an eyebrow. In 10 days, the 100-man troop of the Sai Kingdom will be officially formed. It will compete with the elite delegation of your Luo Ri Empire that came to the Xi Kingdom to conduct a friendly exchange between our two countries. Do you dare? As soon as my words fell, everyone gasped. They looked at me like I was a madman. The 100-man troop hasn't even been formed yet. Besides, even in 10 months, the younger generation of the Shai Kingdom would not be a match for the young elites of the Luo Ri Empire. The Luo Rai Empire leader's face also turned cold. His expression was unfriendly. Even if you want to challenge my Luo Ri Empire's elite delegation, it should be Leader Rong who tells me. Who are you? This is not your place to speak. At this moment, the head of the Xi family hurriedly stood up and introduced. This is Commander Gu, in charge of organizing the Shai Kingdom's 100-man troop. The Luo Ri Empire leader and Gong Tianyu were both embarrassed. The next moment, Gong Tianyu suddenly burst out laughing. A few seconds later, he pointed at my nose. The commander organizing the 100-man troop, your Xi kingdom, has fallen so low that it needs to rely on this kind of person for protection. Hearing this, Rong Jingxuan's face grew colder. Step back, she was certain. Forming a team in 10 days that can challenge the elite delegation of the Luo Ri Empire is a fool's dream. Seeing this, Gong Tianyu became even more arrogant. At first, I thought how formidable the upcoming 100-man troop of the Shai Kingdom would be. I didn't think it would just be a motley crew organized by a lowly person. My lord leader, let's go. There's no need for us to be here, wasting time with these trash from the Xia Kingdom. Gu Muye heard this. She felt that Gong Tianyu was committing suicide. After Gong Tianyu finished speaking, I finally stopped ignoring him. Finished speaking. Gong Tianyu looked at me with disdain. What? You have an opinion on my words? Then today I will teach you. In the War Department, strength is the truth. As a weakling, you can only unconditionally accept and obey, Gong Tianyu said, suddenly taking a step forward. The distance between him and me closed. He looked up at me. I smiled viciously. Because I am stronger than you, so even if I tell you to die, you can only die. Understand? I looked at him and smiled faintly. Understood. Gong Tianyu raised an eyebrow. He didn't think I would be so sensible. Just as he was about to lecture me again, I raised my leg and kicked his lower abdomen. Gong Tianyu sneered. He immediately raised his hand, wanting to grab my ankle, but the moment he touched me, the sound of breaking bones rang out. An excruciating pain shot from his palm to his brain. Gong Tianyu groaned in pain. I kicked him in the lower abdomen. Gong Tianyu screamed miserably. His knees gave way, and he knelt before me. I tilted my head slightly. Looking down at Gong Tianyu, I spoke with a faint expression. I didn't touch you just now, because you weren't worthy of me acting personally. But since you were kind enough to teach me the principle of the strong, if I don't repay you with action, it would probably be a disservice to your kind intentions. I spoke under everyone's stunned gazes. I spoke to Gong Tianyu with no room for doubt. As a strong person, how can you kneel before me? Stand up for me. My voice clearly entered his ears. He felt extremely humiliated, but he could only stare at me, letting out agonized roars. Everyone was shocked. They didn't think my strength was so great. The Luo Rai Empire leader looked at Rong Jingxuan and questioned, I just heard. He is already a high-ranking commander. Gong Tianyu is only an intermediate commander. A high-ranking commander takes action to deal with someone of a much lower rank. Don't you feel ashamed? Hearing this, Rong Jingxuan frowned. Before she could say anything, I looked at the Luo Rai Empire leader. According to you, I am equivalent to his superior. So if your Luo Rai Empire didn't teach him how to behave, I'll help you teach him. Is there a problem with that? The aura around the Luo Rai Empire leader grew colder. A warrior of my Luo Rai Empire. It's not your turn to teach him. After he finished speaking, he released a powerful aura. Everyone looked at the leader of the Luo Rai Empire in shock. This leader of the Luo Rai Empire is actually a war king-level powerhouse. Rong Jingxuan's face was also shocked, but I just smiled lightly. I opened my mouth unhurriedly. Since it's not my turn to teach, then please keep your dogs in check. Don't let them run loose and bite people. The leader of the Luo Rai Empire looked at me coldly. Do you think that because Commander Rong is here, I wouldn't dare to touch you? With that, he took another step forward. Immediately, an even more powerful aura radiated out. The killing intent from the leader of the Luo Rai Empire towards me became more obvious. At this moment, everyone was worried about me. They advised me to soften up and apologize to the other party. I looked at the people around me. I smiled faintly. Thanks for the reminder. Every family head breathed a sigh of relief. However, in the next moment, I turned my head and looked coldly at the leader of the Luo Rai Empire. 10 days from now, the Xia Kingdom's 100-man troop and the Luo Rai Empire's elite troop will have a life-and-death battle. At that time, I will kill a war king of the Luo Rai Empire as a sacrifice to the heavens. Everyone was completely stunned. They couldn't believe their ears. Kill a war king as a sacrifice to the heavens. Rong Jingxuan shouted. Shut up. Do you want to implicate the entire city? The leader smiled gloomily. Why wait 10 days? I can take your life right now. Rong Jingxuan immediately gave an order. Intentional murder of a superior. According to the law, that's punishable by death. Kneel down and apologize now. I suddenly laughed. I finally understand why the Xia Kingdom is holy but not respected. It's precisely because of trash like you who bows and scrapes before the enemy. It was dead silent. Everyone looked at me as if I were a dead man. The leader added fuel to the fire. It seems your subordinate doesn't respect you at all. Rong Jingxuan angrily shouted. Men, execute this traitor. I coldly retorted. A piece of trash who got her position, thanks to her brother, is also worthy of being called a great commander? Want to execute me? You're not qualified. Everyone around was frozen. Jingxuan's expression changed drastically. A flash of killing intent appeared in her eyes. Knowing that his crime is inescapable, he simply decided to go all out. Someone suddenly thought of something. Yesterday, Great Commander Feng Shen clearly said you were the new commander's confidant. Now you're saying you're the commander. Do you take us for fools? Just then, Feng Shen's voice came from the door. What's going on? Everyone hurriedly stood up. Rong Jingshuan said, seriously, Great Commander Feng. This Commander Jiu is impersonating the new Great Commander. Feng Shen nodded at me as a signal. She turned to everyone and said, initially, to protect Commander Gus' identity. I lied and said he was a confidant. Since he has already admitted it, I don't need to hide it anymore. She looked around. She announced seriously. This person is the new Great Commander of the Exia Kingdom's War Department. The entire hall was deathly silent. Feng Shen continued. Commander Gu, the foreign nations took advantage of your departure to launch a major offensive. Only the Tianlang troop you trained is still struggling to hold on. The front line is about to collapse. Please return to the battlefield immediately. Everyone looked at me in shock. I laughed coldly. Tell the Tianlang troop to retreat. They can join the 100-man troop I am training. As for Rong Jingshuan, as a great commander, but she has never been to the battlefield. It's time for her to serve the country. Feng Shen looked troubled. But she has no actual combat experience. I cut her off directly. From today onwards, either go to the battlefield or withdraw from the War Department, or go to the front lines. The Exia Kingdoms. The War Department doesn't support idlers. The entire hall was dead silent. Everyone looked at me in shock. Rong Jingshuan questioned me with a cold face. How did you become a great commander? Don't you know that the rear guard personnel are more important than the frontline soldiers? My eyes were cold. In your eyes, the soldiers protecting the country are all just brutes, while the talented people in the rear use their wisdom to solve problems, she said arrogantly. This is true contribution. I laughed coldly. The 4 million rear guard personnel all use their wisdom. What contribution does a commander like you make? I have no obligation to report to you. Her face became uglier. Since the frontline soldiers aren't important, I took out my phone and operated it. Then, just tell them all to come back. Rong Jingshuan was worried. Wait. I cut her off. We are of the same rank. I don't need your approval. Feng Shen hurriedly advised. Stopping Commander Jiu from withdrawing the Tianlang troop will endanger the border. Tell Commander Rong to take her 4 million people to defend it, I said with a smile. If you can't hold it, then come and beg me. Rong Jingshuan snorted coldly. Beg you? In your dreams. After sending the order, I said to Feng Shen, the Tianlang troop will return to the country tomorrow. Please arrange for their passage. The leader of the Luo Ri Empire interjected. Is the life and death battle in 10 days still on? Of course, I said, staring at him intently. I will definitely kill you as a sacrifice to the heavens. After everyone had left, I told the head of the Xi family to take me to the rear residence. As soon as I entered, the little fox suddenly shouted in my mind. A star core. That person has a star core. I immediately chased after the fleeting afterimage, leaving the head of the Xia family gaping in astonishment. This speed. Could he be a war emperor? Half an hour later, I returned to Xia Qingning's villa. The little fox was still muttering, almost caught up. How did he suddenly disappear? I glanced at it. Didn't you see? His clothes were similar to Gong Tianyu's. In a few days, the Luo Rai Empire's elite troop will arrive. Well, find him then. You think about it first. I am going to take a shower. After speaking, I picked up the little fox and casually tossed it onto the sofa. The little fox stared intently at the bathroom door. A mischievous glint flashed in its eyes. After I finished showering and came out, I found a human figure had been added to the bed. The little fox was lying on her side, one hand propped up her head. Her body was only covered by a thin blanket, vaguely visible. Master. Her eyes were seductive. The bed is warm. I raised an eyebrow. Seducing me? The blanket slipped down with her movement. I just want to do something for you. Master. I slowly approached. I stopped by the bed. You've got some nerve. Why are your hands trembling? Who's trembling? The little fox was being stubborn. Her hands gripped the bedsheet tightly. I smiled lightly and stroked her hair. It must be hard to hold back. I'll buy you a male fox tomorrow. The little fox fur stood on end. I am a divine fox. Mating with a human is more than enough, the way it is now. I'll make do. The little fox angrily reverted to her original form. In a puff of smoke, she ran to the corner of the wall, pointing her butt at me. The next day, I first went to D-City Academy. I let Hai Bao and the others arrange the training. Now, I am at the entrance to the war zone. As soon as I entered, a female commander stopped me. You're late and still so slow. The Tianlang troop is about to arrive. The whole team is waiting for you from the arts troop. I was about to explain. She cut me off directly. Less nonsense. Follow me. Quickly. Looking at her back, I smiled playfully, just in time to meet an old subordinate. A moment later, the woman brought me to the training ground. At this time, thousands of soldiers stood on the training ground. They stood in a square formation, looking straight ahead, waiting for the Tianlang troop to arrive. The woman arranged for me to stand at the front of the formation. The woman who brought me was named Chu Jin. She spoke seriously to everyone in the formation. All of you, stand properly from me. Don't move, and be a bit smarter later. None of you can afford to offend the person arriving today. If any of you accidentally offend them, It won't just be you who's unlucky. Everyone around might have to suffer with you. The corner of my mouth twitched. Are the people from the Tian Lang troop that scary? Chu Zhen coldly warned me. In the Tian Lang troop, every single one of them has at least 100 lives on their hands, especially their troop leader. He's a devil who kills without batting an eye. So you better pull yourself together for me. Otherwise, you won't even know how you died later. If it weren't for the fact that I myself am the very devil who kills without batting an eye that she's talking about, I might have believed it. However, before I could say anything, Chu Zhen had already turned and walked away. The soldier next to me suddenly gasped. Gu Cheng, what are you doing here? I looked over. I was also shocked. This young man was none other than the one from the Chen family's party in Yun City, the same young man who said he wanted to kneel and call me father. I didn't think I'd meet him again so soon. I frowned and asked him, "Are you in the arts troupe now?" The muscular guy nodded. He smiled bitterly and said, "I used the gold coin you gave me to enter the Yun City War Department. They assigned me to the arts troupe. At first, I was a bit unwilling, but now, seeing how powerful you are, and yet you're treated like this by them, I suddenly feel that perhaps people like us with no backing in the War Department really have no future. Tonight, I will submit my resignation to the higher-ups. Before I go, I can still meet the members of the Tian Lang troop, whom I admire the most. It's worth it." I looked at him faintly and opened my mouth to ask, "The 100-man troop is about to be formed. Don't you want to try?" The muscular guy smiled bitterly. The trial spots for the 100-man troop are all allocated by the higher-ups. The people they allocate them to are all powerful high-ranking officials from the Imperial City, let alone a commoner like me with unremarkable strength. Even soldiers with exceptional talent and strength, if they don't have powerful backing, they won't get the qualification to try out for the 100-man troop either. I was stunned, and the aura around me turned cold. I only knew before that the War Department had nearly half a share of maggots, but I didn't think it was completely rotten. It seems it's time for the Xia Kingdom's War Department to undergo a major blood transfusion. This thought appeared in my mind. A large fighter jet suddenly flew in from the sky. The soldiers stood straight, wanting to watch in admiration. They watched the plane slowly land. The cabin door slowly opened. First, Commander Chu Zhen saluted the plane. At the same time, thousands of soldiers raised their hands together. Their movements were synchronized. Suddenly, an anxious voice came from the cabin door. "The War Zone Hospital. Where is it? Take us there quickly." Everyone was stunned. Next, Commander Chu Zhen was shocked. "A member of the Tian Lang troop is injured?" The other person said coldly. "What Tian Lang troop? We are Commander Zaya's men. Commander Zaya was seriously injured on the battlefield. His life is in danger now. Quickly take us to the War Zone Hospital." As soon as the words fell, a stretcher was unloaded from the plane. I saw the person lying on the stretcher at a glance, a man in his late 20s. Right now, his face was completely drained of color. Chu Zhen said seriously, "Follow me." Quickly. After speaking, she immediately led a few people to the War Department's off-road vehicle parked not far away. I followed them. However, Chu Zhen saw me and immediately shouted coldly, "What are you following for? Get back from me." I didn't waste words. I directly lifted my leg and kicked her. She staggered a few steps and fell to the ground. I said coldly, "I don't have time to waste words with you right now. Don't be an eyesore in front of me." After speaking, I quickly walked to the stretcher. I lifted the blanket on the man. At this moment, half of his combat uniform was already dyed red with fresh blood. Several wounds were still bleeding. I scanned them. My large hand waved lightly. The sound of several silver needles breaking through the air suddenly rang out. In an instant, 9 silver needles accurately pierced the man's acupuncture points. The soldier carrying the stretcher saw my action and asked nervously, "What are you doing?" I threw another 9 silver needles. The bleeding was definitely stopped. I looked at the soldier. I can save him, but I lack surgical tools. Put him in the car first. Let's go to the hospital immediately. The soldier looked at me doubtfully. "You can save me?" My expression immediately turned cold. "What are you standing there for?" "To the hospital." The soldier felt the cold aura around me. His breathing hitched. He nodded unconsciously and prepared to drive. Chu Zhen suddenly shouted, "He doesn't know anything about saving people. Quickly, pull out the silver needles he randomly stuck into Commander Xia. Otherwise, Commander Xia might die before he even reaches the hospital." The soldier, who was already suspicious of me, immediately turned to look at me. Is she telling the truth? I looked at Chu Zhen. A cold light flashed in my eyes. I turned back to look at the soldier and ordered, "Drive to the hospital immediately. He'll take responsibility for anything that happens." The soldier heard me. He nodded. He moved to the driver's seat at the fastest speed and started the off-road vehicle. Chu Zhen's eyes widened. She screamed, "Are you guys crazy? The silver needles are still in Commander Zaya's body. Quick, pull him out. He's just a useless person from the arts troupe. If something happens to Commander Xia, you'll all be in trouble." However, the 2 soldiers remained silent. Chu Zhen wanted to say more. The off-road vehicle had already started. In an instant, it drove dozens of meters away. Chu Zhen endured the pain and drove another off-road vehicle to chase after them. Half an hour later, the vehicle arrived in front of the war zone hospital. The soldier jumped out of the car, shouting towards the hospital, "Doctor, nurse?" However, there was no response at all. I frowned, then said to the two, "Carry him inside first." They nodded, immediately carried the stretcher, and quickly walked into the hospital. At this time, in the hospital lobby, besides the information desk, other than a dozing nurse, there was no one else around. The soldiers shouted anxiously, "Doctor! Nurse!" The nurse was woken by the noise. She opened her mouth unhappily. "What's with all the shouting? If you want to see a doctor, go line up over there first. A big shot is here for an inspection. You guys wait first. Wait until that's over. They'll be back." The soldier said anxiously, "But our commander is seriously injured. We can't wait." The nurse suddenly stood up. "Commander? What rank of commander?" The soldier quickly replied, "A 2-star mid-rank commander." The nurse glanced at the soldier. "I thought it was a high-ranking commander, just a mid-rank commander. What's the hurry? Go over there and wait in line first." The soldier